Chapter 701 Rank 3 Airsack Gu. 8 desolate beasts encircled closer to He Feng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu. They are all real. Fairy Kang Yu had extremely outstanding investigative methods to check the situation, but the result caused her pretty face to blanch further. He Feng Yang looked around him and saw. To the east was an ice-spiked divine ape whose bulk was only somewhat inferior to Dang Hun Mountain. A tyrannical aura spread out from it, and as it moved, it left behind a pure white icy trail. The fur on its whole body were like ice cones which brought a stifling pressure upon the two immortals. The sclera of its eyes were jade green, while its pupils had a frost blue luster. This represented the dense bloodline in this ice-spiked divine ape. If the eyeballs were completely frost blue in color, that would be the ancient desolate beast, Icefall divine ape, whose battle strength was comparable to a rank 7 GU immortal. To the west floated a phoenix feather lava crocodile. This crocodile was 2 to 3 times the size of ordinary crocodiles and could not compare to the enormously huge ice-spiked divine ape, yet its aura surged mightily. Its every breath brought a scalding hot heat wave. Its brownish-red scale armor was thick and robust, and its slender tail was over 6 meters long. It did not have any scales on its back but instead had colorful phoenix feathers that resembled blazing lava. To the north stood a proud golden sand dark stallion. This horse was huge, its size reaching the chest of the ice-spiked divine ape. It had 6 legs that looked like they were cast from metal, its muscles were bulging, its posture was proud and aloof like a dragon, and its whole body shone with a golden luster. Only the 6 hooves were pitch black. The south side was entrenched by an azure dragon vine. This vine was not a wild beast, strictly speaking, but a plant. The vines had condensed into a dragon shape, and when its roots were pierced into the soil, its defensive and regenerative powers were extremely terrifying, thus it specialized in battles of attrition. If it pulled out the roots, it could soar in the sky like an azure dragon. On the southeast side was a swamp crab. It was the king of swampy terrain. Its broad, mountain-like body could reach up to a quarter of Dang Hun Mountain's height when standing. Its eyes had degenerated till they were non-existent, and its shell was so thick that He Feng Yang felt a powerless sensation, like he was facing a tortoise shell. It had altogether 19 pairs of legs, and its front pair of pincers could easily crush boulders and cut dragons. Even Fang Yuan with his immortal zombie body did not dare to test the might of this pair of pincers. A peach wolf was crouching down on the northeast. This wolf had the smallest size, the same as that of a newborn puppy. It looked extremely good-natured and cute with its round body, plump claws, pink tongue and round dark eyes. Judging from appearance, it seemed to be harmless to both man and beast. However, He Feng Yang's pupils shrunk, and if he had to choose a direction to break through, he would avoid this one outright. An iron crown eagle circled over the northwest side. This eagle gave off a valiant and imposing aura as it hovered in the air, its eyes locked onto He Feng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu. Its wings were broad and thick, and each of its feathers could be shot out like sharp arrows. Its claws were firm and savage, able to crush boulders and rip apart dragons and tigers. Finally, on the southwest side stood an earth chief desolate beast. It had a humanoid body with a snake tail, its face resembled a bat's and its nose was pointed up. It had large ears and was black all over, with armor made of flesh covering it. Around its chest were 50 to 60 fleshy whips, each over 20 meters in length. There were suction organs on the surface of the fleshy whips. It would be hard to free oneself if someone was entangled by them. At the front of each fleshy whip was a chrysanthemum-like orifice which could shoot out a white milky fluid at the crucial moment. The fluid had very high corrosiveness and contained extremely large numbers of parasitic worms, which could drill into the pores of people and wreak havoc from inside the body. Fang Yuan had borrowed these 8 desolate beasts from Langya Land Spirit. More accurately, it should be said that Fang Yuan borrowed Langya Land Spirit's rank 7 beast enslavement GU. This immortal GU could subdue all kinds of wild beasts, including mutated beasts, myriad beast kings, beast emperors, even desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts. Desolate beasts had the power of a rank 6 GU immortal and could be very difficult to deal with when the wild GU residing on them were unknown. 8 desolate beasts encircled He Feng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu, eyeing them with greed. The two sank into silence with no signs of a leisurely attitude like before. He Feng Yang turned his heavy gaze towards the peak of Dang Hun Mountain. Compared to the 8 desolate beasts, the true threat was still Fang Yuan and the other 3 immortals. Almost no desolate beasts could use killer moves, but GU immortals had ample wisdom to use and research killer moves. He Feng Yang's heart had sunk into rock bottom. He forcibly calmed down and shouted towards Fang Yuan, "Who are all of you?" Except Fang Yuan, the other 3 immortals were wearing masks. He Lu Lan wore a black bear mask, Fairy Li Shan wore a blue bird mask, while Tai Bai Yun Sheng wore a deer mask. The three were also shrouded in a layer of light that concealed their true appearance, hiding it from the investigative methods of He Fengyang and Fairy Kang Yu. Fang Yuan chuckled. Before asking us of our identities, shouldn't you two introduce yourselves first? He Fengyang and Fairy Kang Yu silently glanced at each other, and saw the bitter look in each other's eyes. They had thought this trip would be simple, and at worst, they thought the other side would possess a GU Immortal's battle strength. However, they absolutely had not anticipated the enemy force would be this strong. Thus, they had been arrogant and directly requested Fang Yuan to surrender without giving self-introductions. My name is He Fengyang, a rank 6 enslavement path GU Immortal of Immortal Crane Sect. I am Kang Yu, a rank 6 water path GU Immortal of Immortal Crane Sect. The two introduced themselves one after the other. Their attitude was no longer as overbearing as earlier, they were behaving very humbly at the moment. A wise man submits to circumstances. Those who could become GU Immortals were outstanding people. At present, Fang Yuan had an imposing force. He Fengyang and Kang Yu decisively lowered their high heads. It might be easy to defeat GU Immortals, but killing them was difficult. He Fengyang could use Expand Space Immortal GU to tear a hole in Hu Immortal Blessed Land's space and escape. However, they did not know Fang Yuan's abilities. If Fang Yuan had an Immortal GU that could prevent their escape, the situation would become dangerous. So it is brother He and Fairy Kang Yu. Fang Yuan's tone was polite. I am Fang Yuan and I welcome you two as guests in my blessed land. These polite words felt grating when He Fengyang and Kang Yu heard them. It was full of sarcasm. He Fengyang could not help but feel stifled. What he had asked for was clearly these people's true identities, but Fang Yuan played dumb and gave an irrelevant answer by only replying with his name. Right now, who in Central Continent's 10 great sects would not know of his name? Fang Yuan intentionally avoided this topic, and He Fengyang, as the weaker side, did not dare to pursue it. I wonder what both of you are here for? Fang Yuan asked. He Fengyang was silent, but inwardly he was screaming insults. What else could we come for? It is to take Hu Immortal Blessed Land and capture Danghun Mountain. This brat, asking when he already knows. Fairy Kang Yu snorted. Why is Sir speaking in such a weird and sarcastic tone? Sir's power surpassed everyone's imagination. When did such a force appear in Central Continent? Today was our loss. Sir's planning skills are indeed excellent and have fully controlled the situation. Now what should we do? If you want to battle, then let us begin. Why waste time chit-chatting? We will battle to the end if you wish to. In the worst case, our blood will splatter all over and we will perish here. Fang Yuan could not help but take another look at Fairy Kang Yu upon hearing these words. Shortly afterwards he smiled. Fairy, you are quite brave. I am filled with admiration. I can roughly guess your intentions in coming here. It should be for Danghun Mountain's guts GU, right? You are right, He Fengyang frankly admitted. Under the circumstances, he had no choice but to admit it. The scheme which he had painstakingly devised and prepared for over a year in order to capture Hu Immortal Blessed Land had already completely failed. However, right at this time, he could not help but have some hope. If Fang Yuan wanted to battle, he should have started already. But he has been talking up to this point. It seems he is afraid of Immortal Crane Sect. As long as I use this correctly, maybe we can escape without any accidents. Fang Yuan suddenly clapped and smiled. You two came in at just the right time. I had already been thinking of selling Guts GU. What do you think of this GU? A rank 3 GU worm flew out of his hand. The GU worm slowly flew under the gazes of 6 GU immortals, 8 desolate beasts as well as the blue charm lightning shadow, and landed in He Fengyang's hand. He Fengyang was uncertain and worried of Fang Yuan's scheme as he carefully accepted this mortal GU. This rank 3 GU worm resembled a ladybug. It was the size of a large bowl. Its head was extremely small while its stomach was so big that it occupied 99% of its body. Its stomach was round like a lamp bulb and was translucent. It did not have a carapace on its back and also did not have wings. In its translucent stomach, there was a GU. A GU within a GU. Fairy Kang Yu softly mumbled. This rank 3 mortal GU was clearly a storage GU worm, particularly with the purpose of storing GU worms. These types of storage GU worms were extremely common. It included examples like Earth Treasury Flower. However, the GU worm inside the belly made He Fengyang's gaze fix on it as if it was glued. He then said with uncertain eyes, "This GU inside, could it be Guts GU?" Fang Yuan gave a bright smile. That is exactly right. What? Fairy Kang Yu's beautiful eyes widened in astonishment. She might know very little about Guts GU, but she knew Guts GU could not be taken out of Danghun Mountain. If taken out, they would dissipate. It was because of this that Fang Yuan was not willing to trade Guts GU before. Because if others wanted to use Guts Gu, they would have to personally come to Danghun Mountain. And letting so many outsiders enter Hu Immortal Blessed Land would no doubt be a huge threat to Fang Yuan's life. This was the reason Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects wanted to seize Danghun Mountain. Guts Gu could not be taken out of Danghun Mountain, thus taking control of Danghun Mountain meant being in control of Guts Gu. However, the fact right in front on them showed that Guts Gu could actually be stored and taken out of Danghun Mountain. Fairy Kang Yu soon recognized how much significance this unremarkable ladybug-like Gu worm carried. For a moment, her eyes were tightly affixed to it. This Gu worm, what is its name? He Feng Yang looked up at Fang Yuan and asked with a slightly trembling tone. Fang Yuan had in truth not thought of a name, and casually named it at this moment, Airsac Gu. He Feng Yang sank into silence. In an instant, he thought of many things. Immortal Crane sect's higher-ups had also made these attempts. Back then, many Gu immortals had participated but it ended up in failure. Now, success was in He Feng Yang's hand. He Feng Yang's hands shivered slightly. If Guts Gu could be taken out of Danghun Mountain and exported to all places, Treasure Yellow Heaven, Haishi Blessed Land, Central Continent, Southern Border, Northern Plains, how big of a profit would this be? Something that even our Immortal Crane sect could not research was successfully accomplished by the force behind Fang Yuan. What are their origins? Maybe they had planned for a long time and thought of every means to capture Hu Immortal Blessed Land, in order to engage in the business of Guts Gu. Fang Yuan did not attack. Could it be that he wants to with our Immortal Crane sect? He Feng Yang was still considering when Fang Yuan spoke. Since both guests are interested in my Guts Gu, what do you think of doing this transaction? He Feng Yang's heart wavered. Chapter 702 Accident, Assault of a Mysterious Gu Immortal. Chapter 702 Accident, Assault of a Mysterious Gu Immortal. Fang Yuan's suggestion moved He Feng Yang's heart. When Fang Yuan launched the ambush and encircled He Feng Yang, he had thought that this operation was going to end in failure. In the best-case scenario, he would use Expand Space Immortal Gu and break out of the encirclement forcefully after sustaining huge injuries. Even if he consumed a lot of immortal essence during the process of escaping, he could not care about it. After all, comparing immortal essence and his life, the latter was much more important. After returning to Immortal Crane sect, He Feng Yang's life would definitely go downhill. Immortal Crane sect placed such great expectations on him, and he had even prepared for over a year, but he ended up failing. His rival, Gu Immortal Lei Tan, would definitely seek him out to mock him personally when he hears the news. Second Supreme Elder would be utterly disappointed with him, and He Feng Yang might not be able to lift his head for several years after that. This loss could be a lifelong blemish. Solely with just this failure, he would be mocked by countless people in the dark forever. If he could establish the deal with Fang Yuan for Guts Gu, to He Feng Yang, that would be many times better than breaking through the encirclement. He Feng Yang assessed in his heart. Hu Immortal Blessed Land has 4 Gu Immortals and 8 desolate beasts. Together with the territorial advantage, they are as secure as a fortress. Even though any of the 10 great ancient sects have the capability to take this on, that is only speaking of capability. They might not be able to gather so many Gu Immortals here. Even if they could send Gu Immortals to attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land, a battle between Gu Immortals will expend a great amount of immortal essence and other resources. Even if they could get enough manpower and invest a lot into this battle, the other party also has Gu Immortals and can easily destroy Danghun Mountain. By then, even if Hu Immortal Blessed Land was obtained, it would all be for nothing. In the outside world, Great Heavenly Sword Sect had 3 Gu Immortals, and could attempt to leave one of the 10 great ancient sects, Immortal Crane Sect. This was because to deal with 3 Gu Immortals, the resources and manpower needed were something Immortal Crane Sect needed to consider. If they failed, not only would they suffer a loss in their reputation, this huge loss might also cause unrest within the sect, and trigger other problems. Gu Immortals were easy to defeat, but they were hard to kill. Why would anyone who could reach this stage not have any means or trump cards to escape? If they failed to kill him, they would utterly offend a Gu Immortal. A Gu Immortal that is holding grudges may cause trouble to mortals. With Immortal Crane Sect's huge size and wide range of assets, they would have to salvage the situation everywhere. Now that Fang Yuan has displayed such a force, Immortal Crane Sect alone could no longer attack forcefully, unless the other sects cooperated with them. But if they cooperated, there would be issues in many aspects, regarding the allocation of benefits. If He Feng Yang agrees to cooperate with Fang Yuan, they would establish trade for Guts Gu. This result was not an utter failure. That was because Immortal Crane sect's main objective in taking down who Immortal Blessed Land was for the Guts GU. Using the smallest price to obtain the biggest benefits, this was the issue that all of the Supreme Elders in Immortal Crane sect were concerned about. Before this, Immortal Crane sect had already requested for Fang Yuan to initiate the sales of Guts GU. If we could establish a trade with the other party, I would not need to force my way out and risk injury. I can save a lot of immortal essence and have a proper justification when I return to the sect. He Fengyang considered this option. Fang Yuan observed his expression. Even though He Fengyang was a shrewd man and did not show emotions on his face, he was clearly moved due to how long he was considering this for. Thus, Fang Yuan continued, 100 of my Guts GU will sell for 1 immortal essence stone in Treasure Yellow Heaven. I will sell 120 Guts GU to Immortal Crane sect for each immortal essence stone. However, in return, I want your Immortal Crane sect to acknowledge my Who Immortal Blessed Land as your sect's subsidiary force. Furthermore, this subsidiary can detach from you at any time. As long as he had this identity, the other 9 great ancient sects would not be able to deal with Fang Yuan without involving Immortal Crane sect. These were the rules of the righteous path. It was like making Immortal Crane sect the big boss, while Who Immortal Blessed Land was the lackey. You would need to ask the boss before hitting his lackeys. He Fengyang smiled insincerely as he spoke. Fang Yuan, are you thinking of using my sect as your protection? With your force, you can definitely establish your own sect, right? Nobody can set up a sect on TNT Mountain. I have no intention to leave this valuable spot. Fang Yuan laughed. TNT Mountain had directly connected to Heavenly Court. Even GU Immortals did not dare to fight on this mountain. If Immortal Crane sect did not declare Fang Yuan as a sect traitor and hold perfect reason to take him down, they would not dare to attack Who Immortal Blessed Land. Furthermore, Who Immortal Blessed Land becoming Immortal Crane sect's subsidiary will also account for your sect's reputation, right? Fang Yuan continued. He Fengyang fell into silence again. A long while later, he sighed out. This matter is very important. I cannot be in charge of the decision. Allow me to return and report to the sect. Fang Yuan nodded. It would be best if brother he goes and explains it. But Fairy Kang Yu would need to remain as a guest here for a while longer. He Fengyang and Kang Yu made eye contact. Fairy Kang Yu said, Lord Fengyang, go ahead and return. I will wait here. I will return quickly. He Fengyang nodded solemnly at her, before looking deeply at Fang Yuan and his gang. He wanted to engrave these people into the depths of his heart. Land Spirit, open the door and let brother he out. Fang Yuan said with a concerned tone. Yes, master, Little Who Immortal quickly replied. On TNT Mountain, a brilliant white gold light formed. In the light, a bright red door appeared. It was over 30 meters tall, and there was a rainbow-colored plaque. Pink clouds gathered as the aurora condensed into a flight of stairs of light. He Fengyang came out of the door. When he left, it was through the proper exit of the Blessed Land. This action quickly attracted the attention of the GU Immortals of the other 9 great sects. They started to converse. He's out, so fast. Don't tell me there was no resistance at all. When He Fengyang entered, he used the Expand Space Immortal GU, but when he came out, it was through the main entrance. This is proof that he succeeded. Something's wrong. Look at his face, there is no joy of victory. He looks more calm and composed instead. Even though they were suspicious, none of them asked him directly. This was a hidden contest between the 10 great sects. A direct confrontation was damaging to their reputations. He Fengyang could not care about their feelings. He only wanted to return to Feihe Mountain to report this matter. He flew quickly, traveling far from TNT Mountain in a moment's time. He Fengyang's brows were locked. He was indignant and suspicious. Where did Fang Yuan's force come from? Other than Fang Yuan, the other 3 immortals all covered their faces with masks, and used GU worms to block investigative methods. They evidently do not want to expose their identities. Why is that? Don't tell me they are GU immortals from the other 9 sects. They did not want our sect to obtain Danghun Mountain, thus they secretly colluded with Fang Yuan beforehand. The moment he thought of this, He Fengyang rejected this possibility. Paper could not cover up a fire. Secrets were temporary and would be outed. The 9 great sects would not do such a thing. It was against the demeanor of one of the great sects. Then, are they GU immortals gathered from Central Continent's smaller sects? He Fengyang thought. Central Continent had countless sects. Other than the 10 great ancient sects, there were large-sized sects, middle-sized sects, small-sized sects, and mini-sects. There were untold numbers of sects. Within them, there naturally were some GU immortals. If it had been them, then these GU Immortal would all have foundations in Central Continent. To prevent their home sect from being suppressed or troubled by the ancient sects, they would not want to reveal their identities. That made sense. That's right, Fang Yuan has the fixed immortal travel immortal GU. These people might not be Central Continent GU immortals, they might be from other regions. The stronger the GU immortal, the harder it is to get past the regional walls. Every once in a while, they have to let out their aperture in the region that they became an immortal to recollect and gather heaven and earth chi to stabilize the blessed land. But with fixed immortal travel, the other party can settle these problems easily. He Feng Yang's thoughts moved swiftly, he quickly guessed Fang Yuan and the other GU immortals' identities. But he had too little evidence, he could not confirm it. All in all, Hu immortal blessed land is very mysterious and dangerous, before we find out their secrets, we cannot strike easily. This time, I suffered a huge loss. The root of the problem was that the enemy was in the dark while I was out in the open, we suffered from a lack of intel. He Feng Yang concluded his experience from this incident, but he suddenly stopped in the air. Who is this? You dare to ambush me here? He Feng Yang quickly became alert, shouting. You are very vigilant. A voice came from somewhere, it was high and low-pitched at times, with a hoarse male voice that turned into a crisp female voice. Someone had evidently modified their voice with GU worms. Two figures appeared, one in front and one behind, they blocked He Feng Yang's paths. What changed next was the sky. The bright, shiny and clear sky with no clouds turned dark and eerie, fog became thick as vengeful souls flew all over the place. This was a battlefield killer move. This was a battlefield environment created to amplify the effects of certain GU worms. This was not something ordinary GU immortals could have. I am Immortal Crane Sect's He Feng Yang, both of you are concealing your appearances and acting so secretive, what is your intention? He Feng Yang shouted. The two GU immortals before him were masked in a layer of dark light, their appearances could not be seen. So what if you are from Immortal Crane Sect? The mysterious GU immortal in front of him laughed coldly. The GU immortal behind him said directly, we will kill you regardless. Just as they said that, the GU immortal struck. 5 fingers spread open and thousands of gray-white threads appeared from the palm. The threads got close to He Feng Yang, as his heart jumped, this was obviously a mortal killer move designed to trap people. Once he was entangled by these threads, it would be difficult to escape. He Feng Yang quickly summoned the crane group. Within his immortal aperture, there were large numbers of flying cranes, he brought them with him everywhere and he never lacked any troops. The crane groups were huge in numbers, there were iron beak flying cranes, fire pellet cranes, tailwind cranes, cloud mist cranes, stellar light cranes, and illusion lightning cranes all mixed together in perfect harmony, forming a tight formation. A desolate beast 9 palace crane flew out, crying out and causing the surrounding fog to disperse. He Feng Yang stepped onto the 9 palace crane's back, his hair was fluttering as his gaze was like lightning, the anger within him had awakened. Do you really think I am an easy target? Today, you will taste the fury of the winged crane flying immortal. As the threads flew to him, the iron beak flying crane group flew out and blocked them with their bodies. The other mysterious GU immortal puffed up his cheeks and blew out huge flames. These flames were pale green, and in this battlefield, their power was amplified, causing many cranes to fall from the sky after getting burnt. He Feng Yang was not to be outdone, he activated his enslavement path killer move. Immediately, a group of illusion lightning cranes flew out, shooting lightning bolts that gathered and formed into a pillar, piercing the battlefield. Another group of fire pellet cranes flew out, their bodies covered in flames, burning their enemies. 2 groups of flying cranes charged towards the 2 mysterious GU immortals like a pair of giant fists. Boom boom boom. With an intense explosion, the 2 sides engaged in intense battle. Chapter 703 Plot Within Plot, a Fatal Killer Move. Chapter 703, Plot Within Plot, a Fatal Killer Move. On the battlefield, the intense battle continued. A large group of iron beak flying cranes, each with bodies black as steel, they had increased defense and did not fear death, they charged towards the 2 mysterious GU immortals fiercely. One of the 2 mysterious GU immortals opened their mouth, as a loud sound came out of it, echoing everywhere. This was a sound path killer move. The iron beak flying crane group's formation went into chaos under the effect of the sound, their tight formation became loose and there were many weaknesses exposed. Go! The other mysterious GU immortal saw a chance and grabbed the other person's limb, the 2 of them turning into 2 lumps of gray-white flames, piercing the iron beak flying crane's formation and moving towards He Feng Yang. Against an enslavement path GU immortal, one should not fight intensely with their beast group, taking down the enslavement GU immortal was the proper battle tactic. He Feng saw that the enemy was approaching. Not only was he not anxious, he showed a cold smile. You fell into my trap. He took out a 5-hole jade flute Gu, placing it near his mouth and started playing the flute. He looked like a green-clothed young man, but he was actually the lord of myriads of beasts. His sleeves fluttered in the air despite having no wind, his eyes burst out with a lively brilliance. Enslavement Path Killer Move, 8-sided ambush. Tens of thousands of flying cranes moved with his music, groups of invisible cranes that had hidden their figures exposed themselves, encircling the two mysterious Gu immortals tightly. He Feng purposely left behind an empty space in the formation around himself, that was a trap to lead his enemies right into it. Now that the other party had fallen for it, he did not let them off. As his flute continued to play, 3 5-string zither Gu flew out of his body. Amidst the music of the flute, the zither played a crisp tune, turning into another enslavement path killer move, formation like water. Innumerable flying cranes flew outward, while countless flying cranes flew towards the center. The entire battlefield was like a perfect harmony of churning gears, the scale was massive but orderly, the flying cranes moved fluidly, their formation was changing like the flow of water. The two mysterious Gu immortals were within this formation, they saw the array of flying cranes changing their formation smoothly, they felt like beans in a stone grinder, about to be turned into pulp. He Feng continued to blow the flute, safely at the center of the beast group, standing on the back of the desolate crane, he watched the crane group engage with the two mysterious experts. He thought in his heart, ever since we started fighting, these two have used countless killer moves, ranging from sound path, space path, fire path, wind path, light path, dark path, rule path and more. They were doing this on purpose, they did not want to use their real abilities and expose their identities. When Gu masters become immortals, according to the foundation of their bodies, as well as the Gu worm used to create their immortal aperture, they would be classified into Gu immortals of their respective paths. There were Fire Path Gu Immortals, Wind Path Gu Immortals, Wisdom Path Gu Immortals and many others, forming the immortal bodies of the respective paths. The immortal body is obtained when a Gu Masters ascends, their body will be modified by the 3 Qi, removing all impurities and elevating the essence of their life itself. A Wind Path immortal body will have the Tao marks and comprehension of wind, thus when they use Wind Path Gu worms, the effect would be greater. A Fire Path immortal body would be cleansed by the Great Tao in relation to fire, it would be closely connected to Fire Path, and would cause Fire Path killer moves to be much more powerful than normal. For example, Fang Yuan, although he was an immortal zombie, he was still a Strength Path Gu immortal, his body was the Strength Path immortal body, thus when he used Gu worms and killer moves of other paths, the effects were only ordinary. The two mysterious Gu immortals trying to kill He Feng did not use their real fighting methods, therefore, they were suppressed by him despite outnumbering him 2-1. Are you two still trying to conceal your identities? If you do not use your true abilities, you might die here. He Feng snickered continuously, his voice filled the battlefield. The two mysterious Gu immortals were breathing roughly, the attack of the crane groups were unceasing and furious like a tide, the two of them were tired from dealing with them. Like what He Feng said, if the two did not start using their real methods, they would truly get killed soon. The two made eye contact as they nodded, making up their minds. One of them sighed, as expected of a reputed righteous sect. The might of the winged crane flying immortal, I have truly seen it today. The other said, however, even if we do not use our real capabilities, we can still kill you. He Feng, take a look around you. Oh, He Feng's gaze quickly swept the surroundings. Originally, it was a foggy scene, the battlefield was full of crying and anguished screams, but now there was a change. Within the lumps of thick fog, dark blue soul beasts were formed. In just a few breaths of time, the number of soul beasts increased greatly, they were equally numbered with He Feng's crane group. Is this soul taker battlefield? He Feng's heart jumped, he said it subconsciously. He, winged crane flying immortal, you are very knowledgeable. The mysterious Gu immortals laughed, their voices changing constantly, sounding like male or female at times. He Feng's expression turned grim. This soul-taker battlefield killer move had a vile reputation, it was very hard to deal with. Living beings who died in this battlefield would have their souls taken and transformed into soul beasts, under the control of the killer move's user. Most importantly, this battlefield killer move's origin was huge, it was created by one of the 10 Venerables in history when he was young, spectral soul demon Venerable who had the most murderous nature. Who were these two mysterious Gu immortals? They actually had a battlefield killer move, Soul Taker, that was long lost in history. Once the soul beasts appeared, they started fighting with the crane groups. The battle situation changed. He Feng Yang quickly manipulated the crane groups, changing formations to defend against the soul beasts. The two mysterious GU immortals felt less pressure now, and were able to rush out of the crane group's encirclement. The size of the soul beasts was the same as the crane group, but they could not defeat the cranes. Often, 10 soul beasts were sacrificed to kill one crane. But He Feng Yang became increasingly alert in his heart. After the soul beasts were shredded into fragments, these fragments could form into new soul beasts in this soul-taker battlefield. Meanwhile, when a flying crane dies, its soul would be taken by the battlefield, forming a soul beast, becoming part of the enemy's troops. No matter how high He Feng Yang's cultivation was, he could not battle with 0 casualties. Once he suffered losses, over a long period, the soul beasts would have the upper hand. As this dragged on, He Feng Yang's advantage would dwindle, the crane groups would slowly be taken down by the soul beasts. He Feng Yang, just so you know, we expressed weakness earlier on purpose, to delay for time. Now that the Soul Taker battlefield has grown to a sizable amount, your enslavement path advantage is gone. Winged Crane Flying Immortal, today, you will perish here. The two mysterious GU Immortal worked together. Wind Path Killer Move, Tornado Dragon Whip. With a wind whip that was hundreds of meters long, one of the GU Immortals swung, killing countless flying cranes. Poison Path Killer Move, Killer Bee Stab. Thousands of needles rained down like a torrential storm, the poison on them were very potent, any flying crane that was hit directly died on the spot, their flesh disintegrating. The two mysterious GU Immortals had finally showed their true abilities, one was a Wind Path GU Immortal, while the other was a Poison Path GU Immortal. Large numbers of cranes were exterminated, their souls were extracted by the battlefield, forming new batches of soul beasts. Oh no, the enemy came prepared, they planned for this long ago, I cannot stay here. He Feng Yang saw this and wanted to retreat. Only a fool would want to stay in the Soul Taker battlefield and fight it out with the enemy. This Soul Taker battlefield is filled with fog, it is easy to lose one's direction, it is hard to escape from. But right now, I have Expand Space Immortal GU with me, it should not be hard to escape from here. He Feng Yang thought about this and used his divine sense to communicate with a will in his immortal aperture. This will was in the form of a burly man. When He Feng Yang left Fei He Mountain earlier, it had entered his immortal aperture and had been observing the outside situation using his GU worms. All of He Feng Yang's experience this time, since he left Fei He Mountain, in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, when he was encircled by Fang Yuan and the others, and after he left Hu Immortal Blessed Land and was trapped in the Soul Taker battlefield, attacked by two mysterious GU Immortals. The will saw it all clearly. He Feng Yang requested, Lord Tiger Demon, please use your immortal killer move once again to break out of the battlefield and escape this place. This will belong to Immortal Crane Sect's third Supreme Elder, Lord Tiger Demon's anger will. He sat in the air, opening his eyes emotionlessly. You need to know that every time I use force intrusion, my main body will need to expend 2 red date immortal essence beads. He Feng Yang quickly said, Junior understand, I will make the appropriate compensation when we return. Tiger Demon's anger will nodded, not speaking any further. He grabbed with his hand, tossing 2 red date immortal essence to the Expand Space Immortal GU. At the same time, many mortal GU rose up as well. After a while of preparing, He Feng Yang opened his palm, taking out Expand Space Immortal GU from his immortal aperture. The immortal GU was covered in a yellow light. He Feng Yang patted it lightly. The yellow light left his hands, breaking apart the Soul Taker battlefield and creating a hole. He Feng Yang was overjoyed. He put back Expand Space Immortal GU and the 9 Palace Crane below his feet cried out, flapping its wings and bringing him out of Soul Taker battlefield. Outside the battlefield, it was clear skies with no clouds. Oh no, he actually had Expand Space Immortal GU, he's escaping. He Feng Yang, don't run if you have the guts, let us battle for 300 rounds. The shouts of the 2 GU Immortals behind him had a tone of anxiety and panic. He Feng Yang laughed heartily, his heart was filled with pride, even Soul Taker battlefield cannot contain me. No matter who you are, ambushing and attempting to kill me, I will remember this. Don't think I will not find out just because you hid your identity, you used your own killer moves. When I return to the sect, I will investigate, I will definitely find out who you really are. Oh no. Suddenly, He Feng Yang sensed something amiss, his expression changed. He had always been a vigilant person and had great self-control, how could his emotions become so overjoyed the moment he left the Soul Taker battlefield, like he had just won a battle? This time, he failed to take back Hu Immortal Blessed Land. He had let down Lord Tiger Demon's nurturing and expectations, he should feel downcast instead. Oh no, an intense warning of danger rose in his heart. He Feng Yang turned around, only to see a Gu Immortal as tiny as a little boy, his body covered in a dark light. He was holding a dagger-shaped Gu worm. He was right behind He Feng Yang, less than a foot away. A third Gu Immortal. There was a third Gu Immortal in ambush. This was their true killer move, a plot within a plot. While He Feng Yang's mind relaxed the moment he left the Soul Taker battlefield, the fatal strike was launched at him. He Feng Yang was furious and shocked, his eyes were blood red and he was extremely angry. He did not retreat, instead, he had the urge to fight to the death with the enemy. Quickly dodge. The enemy is an emotion path Gu Immortal, they can interfere with your judgment by influencing your emotions. Within his immortal aperture, Tiger Demon's anger will was shouting. He, it is too late. The third Gu Immortal raised their dagger, stabbing at He Feng Yang. The dagger-shaped Gu worm burst out with an intense immortal Gu aura. He Feng Yang was horror-stricken and full of grievances. The enemy had an attack-type immortal Gu. He only had an expand space immortal Gu, it could not help him. The defensive mortal killer moves he had could not block this attack-type immortal Gu. Chapter 704 Little 9. Chapter 704, Little 9. The dagger-shaped immortal Gu was about to pierce into him. He Feng Yang felt anger, fear, bewilderment, unresignedness, all kinds of feelings seethed in him like lava, greatly influencing his actions. Am I going to die here today? He Feng Yang involuntarily had this thought. However, right at this dangerous moment, the desolate beast Nine Palace crane under his feet suddenly let out a clear cry before fiercely turning its body around. He Feng Yang's body was thrown down while the Nine Palace crane blocked the ambushing Gu Immortal. Plop. A soft sound echoed, the dagger-shaped immortal Gu ruthlessly pierced into the Nine Palace crane's chest. The third Gu Immortal showed a shocked expression. He had thought disturbing He Feng Yang could influence the Nine Palace crane. After all, He Feng Yang was an enslavement path Gu Immortal and the Nine Palace crane had been enslaved by him. If he was influenced, the Nine Palace crane should also be nothing to worry about. He activated several emotion path killer moves to heavily disturb He Feng Yang, but he had never expected that at the last juncture, this Nine Palace crane would actually move to protect its master. Little 9. He Feng Yang saw the Nine Palace crane taking the fatal strike, tears immediately streamed down his eyes as he gave a pained roar. He had raised this Nine Palace crane with great care and had never used any enslavement methods on it. Back when he was young, he had been brutally chased when out on a mission. His life was hanging in the balance when he accidentally bumped into the similarly heavily injured Nine Palace crane. After this coincidental and accidental meeting, he and the Nine Palace crane helped each other to escape the plight. The Nine Palace crane was on the verge of death. He Feng Yang brought it back to the sect and used all of his wealth, barely managing to stabilize its life. In the dozens of years afterwards, He Feng Yang braved many dangers to earn money to treat the Nine Palace crane little by little, slowly pulling it out from the brink of death. A profound sentiment more intimate than brothers was established like this between a man and a crane. Later an accident occurred. The rank 5 Gu master He Feng Yang had failed his mission and was in a heavily injured state. The resources on him could only save one person. If he treated the Nine Palace crane, he would die, but if he saved himself, the Nine Palace crane would not be able to maintain its lingering vitality. At the juncture of this choice, He Feng Yang thought for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, he decided to sacrifice himself to save the Nine Palace crane. This action caused Third Supreme Elder, Lord Tiger Demon, to be moved, and with his help, both He Feng Yang and the Nine Palace crane were saved. He Feng Yang lived up to his expectations and after becoming a Gu Immortal, he joined Lord Tiger Demon's faction. The Nine Palace crane let out a mournful cry. Its enormous and slender body was covered with a layer of gray light. In this gray light, its body was rapidly shrinking and becoming younger. From a mature age it continuously turned to its youth, then to its infancy. This was the power of the Immortal Gu. The dagger-shaped Immortal Gu was actually a time path Immortal Gu that could reverse the target's body to a younger state. Retreat. Don't let down your friend's kind intention. In his immortal aperture, Tiger Demon's anger will heaved a long sigh. Little 9. He Feng Yang shouted furiously and went back regardless of the advice of Tiger Demon's anger will. The hems of his gown fluttered and moved, turning into a crane feather cloak. A blood-red glint blossomed in his eyes and his slender green brows moved nimbly like a snake or dragon. The mysterious Gu Immortal showed a surprised expression. He had not thought He Feng Yang who could have clearly escaped in the moment just before would actually return with killing intent. He Feng Yang was an enslavement path Gu Immortal. He Feng Yang pushed forward his palms from which jade green lightning rays surged out. The mysterious Gu Immortal snorted, he raised the dagger and confronted it head-on, simultaneously activating emotion path killer moves to influence He Feng Yang's emotions. However, He Feng Yang's heart was filled completely with anger and was unexpectedly not influenced. Bam! A loud explosion erupted and the mysterious Gu Immortal was thrown back. He Feng Yang's body trembled intensely and blood spurted out of his mouth, but he forcibly pulled himself together and pulled the infant Nine Palace Crane into his hands. Little Nine, He Feng Yang held the Nine Palace Crane in his embrace and turned around, escaping immediately with no intent to stay. The Nine Palace Crane had already become the size of a white goose and was softly twittering as He Feng Yang held it in his embrace. The emotion path Gu Immortal had been sent some distance away, that gap was enough for him to be unable to chase He Feng Yang in this moment. The other two mysterious Gu Immortals hurried over after cancelling the Soul Taker battlefield. Sigh, he escaped in the end. The Wind Path Gu Immortal heaved a long sigh in pity. This guy is clearly an enslavement path Gu Immortal, but he is actually not weak in close combat. That green lightning killer move isn't what it appears to be, it makes me think of, the emotion path Gu Immortal said. HMPH, if not for lacking time to gather more people, would we be afraid of not being able to put him down? How about we chase, maybe we can. The poison path Gu Immortal was not resigned. He has expand space Immortal Gu, Soul Taker battlefield cannot trap him. Let's leave quickly, it is not convenient to stay here. The wind path Gu Immortal was calm. Right, this ambush was nothing more than a hastily considered course of action. We absolutely cannot lose sight of the main goal for small gains and risk exposing our identities, which would affect Master's grand plan. We will retreat. The emotion path Gu Immortal ceased his absent-mindedness, and said softly. His position seemed to be higher than the other two Gu Immortals and his words had a tone of decisiveness. I shall take my leave. The wind path Gu Immortal rapidly flew in the air and soon was no more than a small black dot in the horizon. HMPH. The poison path Gu Immortal dropped into the ground and escaped. The emotion path Gu Immortal paused for a while until the other two had completely left, his body then disappeared in the air as if he had never been there. He Feng Yang flew at top speed to Feihe Mountain, and without stopping, he directly entered Fuhu Blessed Land. Lord Tiger Demon was standing beside an enormous stone pit, looking at the tens of thousands of rockmen working inside the pit. Junior was incompetent and let down Lord's expectations. He Feng Yang bowed in greeting to Lord Tiger Demon, his body filled with injuries and his expression one of shame. You got injured, first go take a rest and heal yourself. Lord Tiger Demon did not ask anything to He Feng Yang and only waved his hand. That anger will in He Feng Yang's immortal aperture flew out and entered his mind. In just an instant, he understood all the things He Feng Yang had experienced in this trip. His gaze flickered. Shortly afterwards, he activated Anger Will Gu to produce Anger Will. The Anger Will flew through the sky, out of Fuhu Blessed Land and towards the peak of Feihe Mountain. When it reached the conference hall at the mountain peak, 3 wills that were left here came after sensing it. These 3 wills were respectively from First Supreme Elder, Second Supreme Elder and the Third Supreme Elder, Lord Tiger Demon. They were in charge of monitoring the sect and also handling some small matters. The major matters were also arranged and at every set period of time, they would gather a group of Gu Immortals to hold a joint discussion on them. Tiger Demon's Anger Will landed in the hall and fused with its previous will, then narrated the events that occurred to He Feng Yang. The First and Second Supreme Elders' wills sank into silence when they heard the narration. They started to rapidly think, which caused their bodies to shrink at a visible speed. When they had shrunken to almost half the previous size, Second Supreme Elder's will said, let's allow Lord Tiger Demon to have the final decision on the matters of Hu Immortal Blessed Land. First Supreme Elder's will spoke. He Feng Yang was ambushed and almost killed. This is much more serious than Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Where was he ambushed? A Gu worm flew out from the hall and turned into a map made of light and shadow. Here, Lord Tiger Demon's Anger Will pointed at the location. First Supreme Elder's will nodded and spoke heavily. This location is a very good place to lay an ambush. There is no force situated both in front and behind, and this makes it a very good place of concealment. It seems the ambushers are very familiar with Central Continent's terrain. Investigate. When has there been anyone that had the guts to try to kill our 10 great ancient sects, Gu Immortals? Second Supreme Elders will shouted in rage. My concern is this. Elders, where do you think these Gu Immortals came from? Lord Tiger Demon's Anger Will asked. First Supreme Elders and Second Supreme Elder's wills glanced at each other, both revealing heavy expressions. Third Elder is worried these GU Immortals are Central Continent GU Immortals. First Supreme Elder said quietly. Tiger Demon's anger will spoke frankly with confidence, right? How long have our 10 great ancient sects been in control of Central Continent? The situation has been getting increasingly harder over these recent years. Why is that? Our Central Continent is different from the other 4 regions. Led by primordial origin Immortal Venerable, Central Continent had already been reformed during the remote antiquity era, establishing the sect system. During the remote antiquity era, sects had been rare. In olden antiquity era, clan forces surpassed sect forces. In medieval antiquity era, sects and clans clashed against each other, and advanced at an equal pace. In late antiquity era, clans weakened while sects flourished. And now, sects stand in great numbers in Central Continent while there are almost no clans. The clan system only selects the clan's children as GU masters. The sect system, however, allows ordinary mortals to step on the path of GU cultivation. Our Central Continent's history is filled with the conflicts between the 2 great systems. After going through over 3 million years of struggles, evolution and accumulation, the sect system has prevailed. The number of Central Continent GU Immortals far surpass the other 4 regions and they continue to increase, and soon will leave the control of our 10 great sects. How many GU Immortals can our 10 great sects recruit? The number of other GU Immortals in Central Continent are several times our own. As these GU Immortals of other sects, Demonic Path GU Immortals and Lone Cultivator GU Immortals continue to cultivate, they would require more cultivation resources. Conflicts are unavoidable because our 10 great sects control 80% of cultivation resources in Central Continent. Have there not been cases like Great Heavenly Sword sect before? It is just that they were secretly suppressed by our 10 great ancient sects. But in these recent years, new sects are still emerging unendingly, new innovations and new schools of thought are common occurrences, uncommon geniuses and monstrous talents are constantly sprouting among the mortals while there are limited spots in our 10 great ancient sects. Despite recruiting exceptional talents every year, Central Continent is truly too big. Lord Tiger Demon's anger will sighed as he said this. The 2 Supreme Elders were silent all along. The 10 great ancient sects held control of 80% of Central Continent's resources, but after the resources were split amongst everyone, how much would be left behind for individual GU Immortals? As a GU Immortals' cultivation got higher, their blessed land would require more resources to manage. In particular, the heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities would also continue to become stronger, and after every tribulation, the losses would be very severe, and the price to repair it would continue to become higher. It was impossible for the 10 great ancient sects, GU Immortals, to share their resources to others. In the past, although there were many sects outside of the 10 great sects, there were not many GU Immortals. Immortal and mortal were different concepts, there was a wide gap in the strength between mortals and immortals, thus mortals could be suppressed. But at present, the GU Immortals outside of the 10 great sects were increasing constantly in numbers. Although these GU Immortals usually had inferior battle strength, their vast numbers were enough to bring about an impact to the 10 great ancient sects. Great Heavenly Sword sect was a good example. This large-sized sect had 2 GU Immortals originally and was a vassal of Immortal Crane sect. Now that they had a 3rd GU Immortal, they immediately planned to leave Immortal Crane sect and be independent. Chapter 705 Immortal Slaughtering Plan, Feng Yuan distributes benefits. Chapter 705 Immortal Slaughtering Plan, Feng Yuan distributes benefits. Lord Tiger Demon's anger will continue. These years, our 10 great ancient sects have been in difficult circumstances, we could be said to be treading on thin ice. It is as if we are blocking the top of a volcano, the magma underneath will eventually burst out one day, causing a major impact to our 10 great sects. Third Supreme Elder is talking about the general situation in Central Continent right now. But this is the situation of the whole region, how can we change it? Second Supreme Elders will side. Lord Tiger Demons will continue. Great Heavenly Sword sect's example is in front of us. The GU Immortals in who Immortal Blessed Land could be from other regions, but they are most likely to be an alliance of lone cultivators in our region. The ones who ambushed Hefeng today might also be GU Immortals of our own region's forces. But if that is the case, it would be terrifying. Second Supreme Elder nodded. It is indeed like that. The force that attacked Hefeng obviously does not want who Immortal Blessed Land to continue being in the hands of Feng Yuan. If Hefeng dies, Immortal Crane sect will have to attack who Immortal Blessed Land forcefully to defend our reputation. Even though it is obvious that they are framed, Immortal Crane sect has no choice but to go along with it. The 10 great ancient sects, pride and reputation that had been defended for innumerable years cannot be tarnished. If they could not take revenge for the death of their own GU immortals, then their reputation would be ruined, the hearts of the people would waver, and everyone would be emboldened to offend Immortal Crane sect. If Immortal Crane sect is under such problems, they would not be able to manage their resources and land within Central Continent. By then, Immortal Crane sect would be worn out physically and mentally, their exhaustion would attract even more greedy jackals and wolves. This would be a vicious cycle. Once they fall into it, it would be hard to recover. Immortal Crane sect's top 3 supreme elders were all experienced people, they were old monsters with bountiful life experience, they had considered this terrifying future prospect already. Not just them, among the other 9 great ancient sects of Central Continent, there were sure to be people who understood this. Right now, Central Continent was becoming saturated with experts, but there were limited resources, it was like a powder keg that was expanding endlessly. The 10 great ancient sects were sitting on top of the keg. If they were careless and ignited it, they might be blown to pieces. Tiger Demon, you used this topic today to start a long discussion, I'm sure you have some insights to share with us. Why not just tell us straight away? First Supreme Elder said. Tiger Demon's anger will laughed, saying startling things. My current idea is to agree with Fang Yuan's conditions and acknowledge that Hu Immortal Blessed Land is a subsidiary of our sect. At the same time, we will find out the true identities of the culprits who attacked Hefeng Yang. Once we know which lone cultivators are ganging up, we will collaborate with the other 9 sects and engage in a wide-scale immortal slaughtering plan. Immortal slaughtering? Second Supreme Elder heard this and excitement shined in his eyes. First Supreme Elders will shut his eyes, he slowly said. Tiger Demon, I will not hide it from you. This suggestion of yours had been brought up by Combat Immortal Sect's GU Immortal Shilei many years ago. He had even sent a proposal to Heavenly Court, requesting for Heavenly Court to come out and organize the 10 great ancient sects, in order to execute this plan. Oh, that Immortal Monkey King. Even though our 10 great ancient sects have had changes throughout history, the root of all these changes were righteous reasons, like the interchanging of main and side branches, these all have much to do with Heavenly Court. If the 10 ancient sects engage in a slaughter of immortals, it would have huge implications and involve innumerable benefits. Only Heavenly Court can step in to convince and assemble everyone, leading us towards victory. Tiger Demon's anger will agreed. But Heavenly Court rejected this proposal. They even warned us 10 great ancient sects not to specially target the respective smaller sects and lone cultivator GU immortals, we are not to consciously massacre them, violators would be heavily punished. First Supreme Elders will said. What? Tiger Demon's anger will shouted in shock. This matter, how did I not know about it? Second Supreme Elder muttered to himself. First Supreme Elder sighed loudly, looking at the sky, the will of Heavenly Court is Heaven's will. Heaven's will cannot be defied, Heaven's will cannot be anticipated. Hefeng Yang returned to Hu Immortal Blessed Land once again. Fairy Kang Yu and Fang Yuan were walking on Danghun Mountain, observing the growth of the Guts Gu. Tai Bai Yunsheng looked from afar, staring at Fairy Kang Yu. Meanwhile, that blue charm lightning shadow was encircled by the 8 desolate beasts. Once in a while, a different desolate beast would go up and fight it, they were taking turns to wear it down. Brother, he was a bit slow. Fang Yuan saw Hefeng Yang and smiled while saying plainly. Hefeng Yang and Fairy Kang Yu first looked at each other, seeing her nod and hint that she was unharmed, he turned to Fang Yuan. My sect has already agreed to acknowledge your side as our sect's subsidiary. The relationship would have no time limit, and you can leave at any time. At the same time, we will engage in the trading of Guts GU, the price will be 1 Immortal Essence Stone for 120 Guts GU. This is the rank 6 Immortal GU, Promise. Immortal GU Promise was an information path GU worm, its use was similar to Mountain Pledge GU and Sea Oath GU. Immediately, Hefeng Yang activated the Immortal GU to make a promise. When it was Fang Yuan's turn, he received the Immortal GU and checked that there were no issues, he consumed his green grape Immortal Essence and made a promise as well. Their promises created material forms that resembled lumps of gold, the 2 sides exchanged with each other to keep a copy each. Fairy Kang Yu finally breathed out a sigh of relief, now that the transaction had been established, she was finally safe. Fang Yuan breathed out in relief too, the situation that he had been trying to resolve had finally reached this stage. Fighting to the death with Immortal Crane Sect was definitely impossible. Immortal Crane Sect was a huge organization, if he angered them, Hu Immortal Blessed Land would certainly be lost. With Fang Yuan's finances, he could not sustain a huge battle against GU Immortal level opponents. But Hefeng Yang's words quickly earned his attention. On the way back, I was ambushed by 3 GU Immortals and my life was almost lost. The other party evidently wants to frame you. Our sect is investigating it now. I wonder if your force had offended anyone. What? In Central Continent, there were actually GU Immortals who dared to kill a GU Immortal from the 10 great sects. Fang Yuan did not conceal his shock. He remembered clearly that such situations would only happen a while after the 5 regions' chaotic war started. By then, the 5 regions would be in chaos, mortals would face difficulties living and battles would be unceasing. Even the authority of Heavenly Court was useless. The 10 great sects, GU Immortals, all faced assassinations. There were those who were taking revenge from the other 4 regions, but also Central Continent's own lone cultivator GU Immortals who were trying to fish for benefits. As the situation became more and more chaotic, Fang Yuan could even bring a band of demonic path GU Immortals to attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land on TNT Mountain, killing Feng Jinhuang eventually. Unknowingly, Fang Yuan thought about the mysterious force that plotted against him secretly in Treasure Yellow Heaven over a year ago. But he did not even know what this force was called. Even if he knew, he would not expose such information to He Fengyang. Thus, he shook his head. I have been in Hu Immortal Blessed Land for this period of time, how could I offend other forces? I have no intentions to offend Brother He, but thinking about it, Immortal Crane sect probably attracts more enemies than me. Was it a force trying to plot against your sect, but wanting to use me as a diversion instead? He Fengyang did not get the information he wanted. He was a little disappointed, but he could not force Fang Yuan. Immortal Crane sect had their own worries. Even though Fang Yuan was only an immortal zombie, the force behind him allowed the 2 sides to speak on equal terms. He Fengyang and Fairy Kang Yu did not stay any longer. Fang Yuan opened Hu Immortal Blessed Land's door and sent them out. Fang Yuan stood at the door, saying goodbye to them. The other 9 sects who saw this immediately realized that something had occurred in Hu Immortal Blessed Land. What is going on? Why is there an immortal zombie? He Fengyang and Fairy Kang Yu came with great confidence, but now their expression are not quite right. It seems a problem occurred. Did they fail to take it down? That's impossible, right? The GU Immortals were confused. They were guessing randomly. The 10 great ancient sects were in cahoots. They were the overlords of Central Continent. Over these last years there was unavoidably no lack of hidden competition among themselves. The contest of Hu Immortal Blessed Land was at first an open competition, using disciples from each sect to decide the eventual owner, but the result was that Fang Yuan actually took advantage. Now, it was a hidden contest. They could not question Immortal Crane sect in public. That would break the unspoken rules. The GU Immortals did not know what happened to Hu Immortal Blessed Land. They were hesitant to return. Fang Yuan closed the door, as He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan came to congratulate him with smiles on their faces. Fang Yuan, you have caused me to look at you in a different light. This time, the collaboration between you and Immortal Crane sect succeeded without any battle. It was truly a great victory. Fairy Li Shan was full of praise. This was the type of victory that GU Immortals loved the most. Without any battles, without any huge investments, but the rewards were simply incredible. Senior is not entirely correct. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. It is not me who is collaborating with Immortal Crane sect, it is us. After all, to refine the Airsac GU, we will need He Lulan's Strength Chi GU to muster the Strength Chi. As for the profits of the Guts GU, your side will take 40%, my side will take 60%. Fairy Li Shan heard this and the smile on her face intensified. As long as one was not a fool, they could see the prospects of the transaction of Guts GU. She understood clearly that Fang Yuan's action was to stabilize their alliance completely, to bind them to Danghun Mountain itself. In the future, when Hu Immortal Blessed Land is attacked, they would need to come and defend it too. But with such great benefits, Fairy Li Shan could not help but be moved. He Lulan looked at Fang Yuan deeply. To think that you had this method, Fang Yuan, conceptualizing the Airsac GU. To refine the rank 3 Airsac GU, you need to use the rank 6 Strength Chi GU. This GU is truly very special. A part of this was definitely due to Wisdom Gu's credit. After obtaining Wisdom GU, Fang Yuan had been conceptualizing, to see if there was a way to extract Guts GU under the help of unlimited inspiration. The success this time was also because he had unexpectedly heard from Tai Bai Yunsheng that He Lulan had the Strength Chi Immortal GU. Only an immortal class strength could envelop the Guts GU, allowing it to leave Danghun Mountain unscathed. Fang Yuan changed the topic. To produce Guts GU, we will need huge amounts of souls. I will have to treble the 2 of you. Northern Plains is a land of battles, chaotic wars happen all the time, and beast groups and tribes relocate constantly. There are surely many souls that can be collected there. We will go and settle this now. He Lulan wanted to act immediately. After she ascended to an immortal, her need for resources had become much greater, especially in terms of immortal essence stones. She could not always rely on Fairy Li Shan. Relying on others was not He Lulan's style. Fairy Li Shan agreed. That's right, Danghun Mountain does not have any requirements for the type of soul. We can even buy them from Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. It will be more expensive than collecting the souls ourselves, but the price would be acceptable and we can save lots of trouble. He. Fang Yuan waved a hand. Please hold on for a moment, don't be too anxious now. Now, come with me to suppress a GU Immortal. This GU Immortal is inside Hu Immortal Blessed Land right now. Oh, who? Tai Bai Yunsheng questioned. There are other GU Immortals hiding in the Blessed Land now. Is it an ambush by Immortal Crane Sect, having ulterior motives? He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan looked at each other with confused and shocked expressions. Chapter 706 Extorting an Immortal GU Remnant Recipe. Chapter 706 Extorting an Immortal GU Remnant Recipe. Fang Yuan smiled mysteriously. This immortal is right under our noses, please follow me. Under Fang Yuan's lead, everyone came before the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow. The Blue Charm Lightning Shadow right now was fighting in the air with the Iron Crown Eagle. Its small blue figure was colliding with the desolate beast Iron Crown Eagle's huge body, fighting evenly back and forth. He Lulan was even more uncertain now. The GU Immortal you are talking about is the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow. Fang Yuan smiled and did not respond. Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes shone with brilliance. Now that you've mentioned it, this Blue Charm Lightning Shadow is acting really strangely. That's right. Fairy Li Shan showed a wary and vigilant expression. Logically speaking, the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow was formed from an earthly calamity. Its main target would be the owner of Hu Immortal Blessed Land, which is you, Fang Yuan. But it has been engaging with these desolate beasts all this time. It had no intentions to attack you. He Lulan continued. No wonder I felt that it was strange. When the desolate beast appeared, this Blue Charm Lightning Shadow seemed to have been shocked. It stopped growling and started to conceal its presence. This Blue Charm Lightning Shadow is weird. I'm sure it is not normal. He. Fang Yuan laughed heartily, saying, the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow in the past had no issues, but after it was sent out of the Blessed Land by me, it was captured by a Lightning Path GU Immortal and was refined into some sort of puppet killer move. When Immortal Crane Sect came to attack my Blessed Land, this GU Immortal manipulated the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow into barging in. His objective was to fish for benefits. If Immortal Crane Sect failed, he could show up as a representative of his sect and strike first. I wonder if my analysis is correct. Myriad Dragon Doc's Vicious Lightning Fiend. How did you know that I am Vicious Lightning Fiend? The Blue Charm Lightning Shadow could not put up a facade any longer. He ignored the Iron Crown Eagle and flew to Fang Yuan. The Iron Crown Eagle chased it, but Fang Yuan waved a hand. The eagle screeched and flew away. Myriad Dragon Doc's Vicious Lightning Fiend. He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan looked at each other. They knew about Myriad Dragon Doc. It was one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent, just like Immortal Crane Sect. But who Vicious Lightning Fiend was, they did not have much of an idea. Only Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes shone brightly. After coming to Hu Immortal Blessed Land, he had collected a lot of information upon Fang Yuan's advice. He knew a lot of intelligence about Central Continent's GU Immortals. Vicious Lightning Fiend is a rank 6 GU Immortal. He has passed 2 heavenly tribulations and had an amazing history of ending in a draw after fighting with a rank 7 GU Immortal. But many years ago, he had entered closed cultivation. There had been no traces of him these last few years in Central Continent. Tai Bai Yunsheng introduced. A draw with a rank 7 GU Immortal. Fairy Li Shan's gaze shone. He Lulan had a proud and arrogant demeanor as she snorted coldly. The Blue Charm Lightning Shadow looked at everyone, but eventually his gaze locked onto Fang Yuan. Who are you guys? My Immortal Killer move was the fruit of my many years of closed cultivation, after thinking of how to raise my battle strength. A year ago, I learned that there was a Blue Charm Lightning Shadow on TNT Mountain. It was lurking around there and did not want to leave, thus I struck secretly and captured the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow. A few months ago, I perfected my Immortal Killer move, making this Blue Charm Lightning Shadow my puppet. I have only told this secret to a few people. You guys actually know about this in detail. Tell me, who in the world are you? Fang Yuan snorted. He said very unkindly, Vicious Lightning Fiend, you might have a fierce reputation, but we are not afraid of you. You made the Blue Charm Lightning Shadow into your puppet. I'm sure you paid a heavy price for that. I am in a bad mood. You should be careful, otherwise if I get angry, I will kill this Blue Charm Lightning Shadow right here. Can you stop me? The blue charm lightning shadow shouted out angrily. He showed his irascible nature. You dare. I am a GU immortal of myriad dragon dock. Don't think you can continue to be arrogant. It is only temporarily that you are occupying who immortal blessed land. Once your identities are exposed, we, the 10 great ancient sects, will make sure all of you lone cultivators and demonic cultivators are done for. Oh, is that so? Fang Yuan's eyes shone with brilliance. You saw our earlier transaction clearly. We are already a subsidiary of Immortal Crane sect. We have both made a promise. Even if Myriad Dragon Dock wants to deal with us, you will need to get past Immortal Crane sect first. That's right, that's right. Earlier, Immortal Crane sect's Hefeng Yang was attacked. The mastermind was you, or rather, Myriad Dragon Dock, right? Bullshit. We of the 10 great ancient sects are on the same side. Even if we compete with each other both openly and secretly, how could we do things without limits like you lone cultivators with demonic natures? The blue charm lightning shadow was furious. Fang Yuan did not speak. He glanced over at He Lulan. He Lulan was a formidable character just like him. They cooperated flawlessly. She pretended to jump to a realization, saying, Fang Yuan, you are absolutely right. Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Dang Hun Mountain, and Guts GU are extremely huge benefits. After assassinating Hefeng Yang, Immortal Crane sect will come to attack us. By then, when we both suffer great losses, Myriad Dragon Dock will be able to take advantage of the situation. You're bullshitting. Bullshit. How can I be such a petty person? The blue charm lightning shadow's anger was through the roof. He shouted unceasingly. He Lulan laughed sinisterly, but the timing in which you appeared was simply too coincidental. When Hefeng Yang attacked Hu Immortal Blessed Land, all the events that happened in here, how could the outside world know? Why did Hefeng Yang encounter an assassination the moment he left Hu Immortal Blessed Land? Obviously, you were an insider and used some special method to inform your main body, who then organized the ambush. He Lulan fully expressed her twisted logic. Her words shocked the blue charm lightning shadow. But immediately after, he reacted, turning angry from shame, rebuking, Hu Immortal Blessed Land is a separate piece of heaven and earth. Unless I have an immortal killer move, how could I communicate with my main body? But if I use an immortal killer move, such intense immortal aura would be detected by you guys, isn't that right? But there was a moment when Hu Immortal Blessed Land opened its doors. That way, we were connected to the outside world. You communicated with your main body at that very point in time. He Lulan immediately retorted. Scumbag. Bullshit. I am honorable and righteous. How can I be like that? No, I was almost tricked by you. How can Hefeng Yang's ambush have anything to do with my blue charm lightning shadow sending out information? Even if the other party did not know what happened in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, they can still ambush Hefeng Yang. There is no relationship between the two issues. The blue charm lightning shadow screamed. He Lulan said eerily, whether a relationship exists, we do not care about that. We will tell this to Immortal Crane sect. You can explain things to them yourself. Go ahead and tell them. I have not done any of the things you've said. Why would I be afraid of slander? The blue charm lightning shadow tried to put up a front. At this time, Tai Bai Yunsheng said, Oh, I remember now. Recently in Immortal Crane sect's region of control, wasn't there the matter of Great Heavenly Sword sect trying to gain independence? There had been rumors that the matter of Great Heavenly Sword sect was instigated by Myriad Dragon Dock. I get it. After killing Hefeng Yang, Immortal Crane sect's main forces will come and attack our blessed land. In that case, it will be even easier for Great Heavenly Sword sect to detach from Immortal Crane sect. After Great Heavenly Sword sect joins Myriad Dragon Dock, and become your subsidiary, Immortal Crane sect's territory at the northwest area will be devoured by Myriad Dragon Dock. By then, even if they taken down Hu Immortal Blessed Land, they will suffer a huge loss in battle strength. If they return and want to settle the matter with Myriad Dragon Dock, it would be too late, and they would not have the strength to do so. Tai Bai Yunsheng's words not only shocked the blue charm lightning shadow, even Fang Yuan was looking at him in surprise. Although Tai Bai Yunsheng was a good person and had been kind in his life, he was old and experienced. His words were like a dagger stabbing into the heart of the matter. He directly pointed out Vicious Lightning Fiend's weakness. The blue charm lightning shadow finally became quiet. After a dozen breaths of time, he said, Damn, you bunch of scheming scoundrels, you are simply twisting logic as you like, you're making things up. Say it, what is the condition for letting go of my lightning shadow puppet? He Lulan and Tai Bai Yunsheng did not speak, they looked at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan laughed lightly, saying a ridiculous condition. Vicious Lightning Fiend, I am very interested in this immortal killer move that can turn the blue charm lightning shadow into a puppet. Why don't you teach me? Screw you, This is a trump card that I finally came up with after 4 years of closed cultivation. With just a few words from you, you want to take the fruits of my labor, it will only happen in your dreams. Even if this puppet is destroyed, I will not give it to you. The blue charm lightning shadow shouted in anger, categorically rejecting this. But Fang Yuan had his previous life's memories, he was carrying out a plan based on them and knew about Vicious Lightning Fiend's bottom line. He chuckled as he said slowly, Vicious Lightning Fiend, your immortal killer move was only created in a rush, the success rate is definitely not high. The blue charm lightning shadow has rank 6 battle strength, isn't it such a waste to discard it here? How about this, I will take a step back, I do not want your immortal killer move, I want the blood deity remnant recipe that you have. The blue charm lightning shadow's expression was grim, how did you know that I have blood deity's remnant recipe? There are only a small number of GU immortals in Myriad Dragon Dock that know about this secret. HMPH, frog in the well, there are no impenetrable walls in this world, even if very few people know, can't I have GU worms to deduce it? Fang Yuan showed a disposition of unfathomable depth. Good, very good, I am even more curious about your true identities now. HMPH, I will admit a loss this time. The blue charm lightning shadow agreed as he gritted his teeth. Let's trade using Treasure Yellow Heaven. Fang Yuan said. No way, Treasure Yellow Heaven will expose the blue charm lightning shadow puppet, it will expose my immortal killer move in advance. The blue charm lightning shadow rejected immediately. Fang Yuan laughed coldly. Vicious Lightning Fiend, don't think I am unaware, after coming out of closed cultivation, you plan to imitate Sword Immortal Bo Qing, to challenge experts from all over the region, and use your power to contest for the title of the strongest. Your first target must be Immortal Liao Mao. You sure know a lot. The blue charm lightning shadow's tone was cold, but his heart was jumping. The other party's grasp on information was far too detailed, he was in a very passive spot. Fang Yuan ordered Little Hu Immortal to act, using Connecting Heaven GU to connect to Treasure Yellow Heaven, before finding Vicious Lightning Fiend's main body. After the two negotiated, Fang Yuan sent the blue charm lightning shadow as merchandise and sent it over. Immediately, the treasure light burst into the sky, attracting countless divine senses. Vicious Lightning Fiend quickly took out Blood Deity's immortal GU remnant recipe, who knew how many GU immortals cried out in alarm at this. Scoundrel, quickly settle the deal. Vicious Lightning Fiend's divine sense screamed. Vicious Lightning Fiend, you are not being genuine. The Blood Deity remnant recipe you have is 70% complete, you are trying to scam my ignorance, only taking out a 40% remnant recipe. Fang Yuan said slowly. Vicious Lightning Fiend was shocked, how can I have a 70% Blood Deity remnant recipe? I am in no rush, the longer the blue charm lightning shadow is exposed, the more people will know. Fang Yuan said casually. Vicious Lightning Fiend almost spat blood from anger. Lad, don't think that with a wisdom path GU immortal behind you deducing things, you can act so arrogantly. I will remember you, just you wait. Saying this, he finally tossed out a 70% Blood Deity remnant recipe. An immortal GU remnant recipe with such a high completion rate appeared. Since when did blue charm lightning shadow become a commodity? Some GU immortals fortunate enough to witness the transaction went into deep shock. Fang Yuan did not make things difficult for Vicious Lightning Fiend this time, they swiftly ended the deal. Under the gazes of He Lu Lan and the others, Fang Yuan took the immortal GU remnant recipe, exclaiming in his heart, I obtained this so easily, something that I had been unable to get my hands on in my previous life no matter what. A 70% Blood Deity immortal GU remnant recipe, together with my previous life's accumulations, and with Wisdom Gu's power, I should be able to complete the Blood Deity immortal GU recipe. Next, he thought about Vicious Lightning Fiend. This person had an fierce, ruthless, and fiery personality. In his previous life, he attained rank 7 and had incredible battle strength. During the 5 regions chaotic war, he used the immortal killer move Lightning Deity, to accumulate 8 rank 6 battle strength beings that were similar to the blue charm lightning shadow. After Feng Zhuzhe died, he contested for the prized status of being the number 1 in battle strength among rank 7, he fought with immortal monkey King Shilei for 3 days and 3 nights but unfortunately lost. In his previous life, Fang Yuan had most wanted to refine the immortal GU Blood Deity. He had once targeted the immortal GU remnant recipe in Vicious Lightning Fiend's possession, but his plot failed and he escaped after being heavily injured. To think that in this life, he could obtain what he had always wanted in his previous life in such a manner. Chapter 707 Overwhelming Profits. Chapter 707 Overwhelming Profits. In Central Continent time, 3 days after extorting vicious lightning fiend, Immortal Crane's sect announced to the world, they recognized Fang Yuan as the owner of Immortal Blessed Land, Immortal Blessed Land was now a subsidiary force of Immortal Crane sect, and could leave at any time. This shocking news was like a large rock being thrown into a lake, causing many surging waves and splashes. At once, the world of Central Continent's GU Immortals was in a commotion. Earlier, Immortal Crane sect had declared publicly that Fang Yuan was a traitor of the sect, and would receive judgment soon. Such matters were common in Central Continent. Many GU masters, after obtaining benefits, would not want to share it with their sect, or they might be recruited by other sects, and so on. Such reasons caused them to betray their original sect. The cohesion of members under the sect system was weaker compared to the clan and tribe system that united people from the same bloodline together. Among sects, the 10 great ancient sects had the highest cohesion. But there were still traitors that appeared in these ancient sects. In the past, first Zhen Guu obtained a blood path true inheritance and betrayed Immortal Crane sect, going to southern border and hiding his name and identity. These recent years, Myriad Dragon Doc's former disciple Song Zixing had also betrayed his sect. After growing from battles, he was now a rank 7 GU immortal, known as the Blood Dragon. He was a famous demonic path expert in Central Continent. Thus, when Fang Yuan as a rank 5 GU master had betrayed Immortal Crane sect, it was only news of mild magnitude. But now, Immortal Crane sect had gathered up its forces and gone to pass judgment on Fang Yuan. The result was nothing anyone could have expected. In this time, who knew how many people thought that Fang Yuan was courting death? Their eyes were popping out of their sockets when they learned about the news. After that, even more inside information was released, from Immortal Crane sect, Vicious Lightning Fiend, and Fang Yuan. There were many rumors, like the strength of Danghun Mountain and Immortal Blessed Land, the rise of a mysterious force, Vicious Lightning Fiend's immortal killer move. All these attracted people's attentions. Among them, the biggest highlight was the transaction of Guts Gu. Guts Gu could leave Danghun Mountain and be stored, thus they could be traded. There were such great profits implied by this information, all the different forces were moved. The GU Immortals finally understood why Immortal Crane sect made such a declaration. It was the motivation of profits. For Guts Gu, forsaking some hollow reputation was nothing. Furthermore, Fang Yuan acknowledged that his force was a subsidiary of Immortal Crane sect. This was giving face to the ancient sects. The other 9 great ancient sects called Immortal Crane sect shameless on one hand, while interacting with Immortal Blessed Land on the other. Fang Yuan's Guts Gu had yet to begin being traded, but he had already received a large number of letter Gu, and they were still coming. Regardless of whether it was a large or small force, Fang Yuan replied to them all. This was to establish the first contact between them. Using this as an opportunity, Fang Yuan finally entered the limelight of Central Continent. With the status of an immortal zombie and the owner of Immortal Blessed Land, he entered the eyes of all the GU immortals and the different forces. A few days later, Heilu Lan brought in the first batch of souls. There were hundreds of thousands of them. Of course, most of them were souls of wild beasts. Fang Yuan placed them all into Danghun Mountain, and Immortal Land Spirit started to release Danghun Mountain's power, vibrating and turning these souls into fragments. As these soul fragments were scattered on the surface of Danghun Mountain, they gradually formed into Guts Gu. As the Guts Gu grew here, Fang Yuan started to make his preparations elsewhere. He ordered all of his hairy men to start creating the foundational GU worms. After 7 days and 7 nights, working in 3 shifts, they had finally produced a large number of GU worms. He next ordered the rockmen to start building a stone nest. Half a month later, the first batch of souls were all used up, as a large number of Guts Gu were formed on Danghun Mountain. Heilu Lan brought the second batch of souls into Immortal Blessed Land. Fang Yuan brought her to the stone nest near Danghun Mountain. Heilu Lan stood at the edge of the stone nest, seeing the huge structure below her. She was very shocked at Fang Yuan's huge investment. This stone nest was tens of acres in area, and it was hundreds of meters deep into the ground. At the outer ring of the stone nest, it was a huge sinkhole, dug manually, vertically up and down. The circular sinkhole was 1 li in radius, at least 3 li deep, like the frame of a tall piece of glassware. At the center of the sinkhole, there was a huge stone pillar. The stone pillar was over 300 meters in radius. This length was slightly more than half of 1 li. Thus, the stone pillar and the circular sinkhole did not touch. They were at least 150 meters apart, and there was an empty space left purposely. The stone pillar was like an anthill. It was complex inside but could reach anywhere as long as one knew the directions. Be it the outer wall of the stone pillar, or the inner area of the circular sinkhole, there were countless rooms dug out. In each room, there was an elderly hairy man, and they had the basic GU refinement materials and tools they needed. Fairy Lu Lan, please. Fang Yuan brought He Lu Lan to the top of the stone pillar, at the centermost spot. He Lu Lan used her investigative GU non-stop, realizing that this stone pillar and the sinkhole around the stone pillar had countless GU worms around them at set intervals. These arrangements had many complicated smaller details. He Lu Lan was going dizzy from seeing them, but what she knew was that these arrangements were not randomly set up, they were linked to each other and formed a great influence as a whole. It was set up with deep intentions. Don't tell me, He Lu Lan was guessing in her heart, when Fang Yuan said, Fairy, I am already done preparing, you can use the Strength Chi Immortal GU now. Oh, please teach me. Fairy only needs to activate Strength Chi Immortal GU, and let the Strength Chi spread out naturally. Fang Yuan explained. He Lu Lan followed his instructions, a powerful Strength Chi formed air currents and spread out everywhere. As the Strength Chi got thicker, they formed into a fog-like state, as they slowly spread and covered the entire stone nest. In the stone nest, countless mortal GU were activated, shining with all sorts of dazzling lights, like the stars in the night sky. Under the combined force of these GU worms, the vast Strength Chi was slowly extracted strand by strand. In a few breaths of time, all of the Strength Chi was in between the stone pillar and the sinkhole. After a dozen breaths of time, these Strength Chi continued to move about, forming into the shape of a tornado, spinning around the stone pillar. Start the GU refinement. Fang Yuan instructed. As the hairy men in the rooms prepared themselves, they opened their eyes and started to refine GU. Whenever they needed Strength Chi as a GU refinement material, the turbulent Strength Chi outside the room would enter it automatically. Such a scene was praised by He Lu Lan in amazement. Fang Yuan, your stone nest is so grand and huge, it can accommodate thousands of hairy men refining GU at the same time. This is truly an innovative and incredible idea. Fang Yuan laughed. Didn't I tell you I am also a refinement master? In truth, this stone nest was invented during the 5 regions chaotic war in his previous life. Because of the unceasing battles that occurred at both large and small scale, GU masters would expend a lot of their GU worms, all of the forces needed to replenish their GU worms. Thus, they gradually researched and came up with such a stone nest that could accommodate so many GU masters, a structure that can allow mass refinement of GU. I will name this the Fang Yuan Stone Nest. It is a place specially used to mass-produce mortal GU. I split the refinement process of the air sac GU into over a dozen steps. When the hairy men at the highest level finish the first step, they will pass the partly done product to the next floor's rooms. After the next floor finishes their refinement, they will send the partly done product to the next floor. This way, each of the hairy men would be specialized in one step. Not only would this prevent my GU recipe from leaking, they can also get more familiar with their own steps and increase the success rate. Fang Yuan shamelessly took the invention of someone in his previous life for his own. He Lu Lan could not help but praise again. This is indeed the right method to mass-produce mortal GU. In a certain aspect, it can even reduce the required proficiency of the GU refiners themselves, because they only need to finish one step of the entire refinement process. But you, Fang Yuan, would be able to free yourself from the complication of dealing with all the many small steps, only having to control the materials. There are some GU recipes that need the GU refiner to refine it non-stop. Thankfully, air sac GU is not like that. Fang Yuan said. He Lu Lan nodded. I was worried that the number of air sac GU would be too little, and that would affect the sale of guts GU. After all, each air sac GU can only hold one guts GU. But now that I've seen this stone nest for myself, I can feel assured. How are you intending to sell these guts GU? Fang Yuan had a plan already. Most of the sales will be towards the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent. I have already established a connection via Whole Earth GU with the 10 great sects. From now on, we will trade using these Whole Earth GU. The remaining guts GU will be sold in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Aren't you going to sell some to the other sects in Central Continent specifically? No, right now, the 10 great sects are the leaders of Central Continent. Our identities and statuses are already very sensitive. We do not need to test the limits of the ancient sects. Our current peace was not obtained easily. We should quietly wait and reap our profits. He Lu Lan heard this and nodded. She was completely at ease now. Time passed by quickly. Another half a month passed in Immortal blessed land. The first batch of guts GU had already been sold. After accounting for the costs, as well as He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan's 40% cut, Fang Yuan earned 43 Immortal Essence Stones. A month later in Immortal blessed land's time, the second batch of Guts GU was sold, and Fang Yuan's Immortal Essence Stone stockpile increased by another 46 pieces. The third batch of Guts GU earned him 47 pieces. The market reception was great, the 10 great ancient sects, demand was increasing, and sales in Treasure Yellow Heaven were extremely heated, usually in just 1 to 2 days, they would all be sold. Guts GU was after all a treasure that Spectral Soul Demon Venerable recommended. The efficiency of strengthening the soul was very high, at least 10 times as efficient as ordinary methods. In truth, not only did Soul Path GU masters need it, Enslavement Path, Refinement Path and other related paths also needed a foundation in their soul. When a GU master ascends to GU Immortal, the soul was also an important element for the thickness of the human chi. Nobody would resent their soul for being strong. Fang Yuan started to feel the benefits of having a monopolized market. He could control the market, and control the situation. He could sell to anyone he wanted to, and he could sell at any quantity he set. But he did not raise prices randomly, because Guts GU were not the only way to strengthen souls. If the price was too high, people would just use their original methods instead. That would instead cause Fang Yuan's profits to fall. After 3 batches of Guts GU were sold, Fang Yuan had over 100 Immortal Essence Stones. He started to purchase hairy men in bulk, creating more rooms in the stone nest and expanding his scale of production. The more hairy men he had, the higher the efficiency of refining GU. This caused the profits that Fang Yuan gained from each batch of Guts GU sold to be higher as well. After 5 months in Hu Immortal Blessed Land's time, his earnings finally stabilized. Each batch of Guts GU would earn him 48 Immortal Essence Stones in total profit. This was genuinely an overwhelming profit. The scariest thing was, Guts GU were consumable GU, they were gone after 1 use. The market demand for them would never dwindle. He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan started to feel that they were a burden. Because their job was to collect souls. But now, the quantity of the souls gathered to use for Dang Hun Mountain gradually became the biggest restriction in the sale of Guts GU. Chapter 708 Returning the 8 Desolate Beasts. Chapter 708 Returning the 8 Desolate Beasts. Northern Plains, Langya Blessed Land. Boom boom boom. The huge ice spike divine ape caused tremors with every step it took. Walking towards the cloud building, it stopped and raised its head to growl. The sound waves traveled far, causing the clouds to shake. Fang Yuan was standing far away with Langya Land Spirit. They were conversing, but they turned around to look after hearing the noise. This little monkey. Langya Land Spirit stretched out his left arm, stroking his mustache as he laughed. He was sealed by a Chi Path Killer move. The 15 layers had been reduced to 6 layers, all thanks to the help of the Inkman King. Thus, Langya Land Spirit's left arm was free to move now, only his right arm was left immobile. Fang Yuan smiled, as he saw the cloud building rise up slowly, exposing a cave made of cloud soil underneath. The cloud fog was misty, covering the Ice Spike Divine Ape completely. The Ice Spike Divine Ape stepped into the hole and its tall figure gradually vanished from Fang Yuan's vision. Finally, the cloud building gradually descended, and resealed the cave. The GU worms in the cave were activated, causing the Ice Spike Divine Ape to go into hibernation. Not far away, the same sight was happening with other cloud buildings. Except that the ones entering the caves were not the Ice Spike Divine Ape, but the Phoenix Feather Lava Crocodile, Golden Sand Dark Stallion and the other desolate beasts. Ice Spike Divine Ape, Phoenix Feather Lava Crocodile, Golden Sand Dark Stallion, Azure Dragon Vine, Swamp Crab, Peach Wolf, Iron Crown Eagle and Earth Chief Desolate Beast, I have returned to you the 8 desolate beasts that you lent me without a single scratch. Actually, letting them out to roam once in a while is a good thing. Letting them sleep all the time, although it saves food, it will affect their battle strength. Fang Yuan said. Langya Land Spirit rolled his eyes. Rascal, do you think I cannot understand what you are trying to imply? You want to borrow my desolate beasts again to fight for you, right? HMPH, these desolate beasts were captured with much difficulty. They are an important line of defense for Langya Blessed Land. If you want to borrow them again, you cannot bring all 8 at once. Fang Yuan laughed nonchalantly, stretching out his arm. All right, I return to you your desolate beasts. According to our agreement, you should return the 2 great immortal GU, man as before and landscape as before, to me now. Langya Land Spirit heard this and his aura diminished. He smiled sheepishly. Well little Fang, no, brother Fang, man as before and landscape as before are 2 incredible immortal GU, I have not finished researching them yet, can you give me a few more days? Fang Yuan's expression turned stiff. Don't even think about it, hand them over. Little brother Fang, no, big brother Fang, you cannot be so ruthless. You know that I am current sealed by the chi path move, I cannot display my true strength as an expert, there's no way my research can have progress. This deal was very disadvantageous to me. Lang Yalan's spirit shouted. This transaction was willingly done by the two of us, I did not force you. It is your problem that you made a loss, you want to regret it now. Too late, quickly hand it over. Don't forget that we used Mountain Pledge GU to make the vow, this also involves your friend Mo Tan Sang, whoever breaks the vow would have to pay with his life. Fang Yuan snickered continuously. O land spirit, return him the immortal GU. Mo Tan Sang quickly hurried over, staring at Lang Yalan's spirit worriedly. Lang Yalan's spirit looked at Mo Tan Sang, he could not stand his gaze and stomped his foot, handing over man as before and landscape as before, these two immortal GU, over to Fang Yuan with much reluctance. Damn brat, you always take advantage of me in the end. Take it, you scheming fellow. Lang Yalan's spirit continued to grumble. Fang Yuan snorted disgruntled ly, I took advantage. What advantage did I take? I fed all 8 of your desolate beasts till they were full, while no battles actually took place, it was like taking a walk with them. I saved some costs for you, nor am I even asking you to settle the score. Score? What score? Didn't I feed your rising azure cloud immortal GU as well? In order to buy the food, I spent a lot of immortal essence stones too. If you want to calculate all of this, let's count properly and see who paid a higher price. Lang Yalan's spirit was stomping his foot in agitation, he rebuked immediately. The feeding of desolate beasts was naturally much simpler and cheaper than feeding immortal GU. Fang Yuan could not argue with Lang Yalan's spirit over this, but he had control of Lang Yalan's spirit's weakness, thus he could speak in a confident tone. He laughed coldly. Lang Yalan's spirit, do you still want to research man as before and landscape as before? Do you? Lang Yalan's spirit's expression changed, he smiled amicably. Yes, I want to even in my dreams. Then good. Fang Yuan patted Lang Yalan's spirit's head. Is there a point in being calculative? It was your fault for keeping my rising azure cloud immortal GU as collateral, right? Get lost. Lang Yalan's spirit was so angry that he shrugged off Fang Yuan's hand. You brat, you have no manners, I am your senior. Oh, Fang Yuan stared, while showing a flash of the 2 immortal GU in his hand. Lang Yalan's spirit's expression changed, he laughed as he patted Fang Yuan's leg. Fang Yuan, there's nothing I can do, you really suit my taste, we are old friends with much in common after all. Mo Tan Sang, who was at the side, witnessed this entire scene speechlessly. Fang Yuan placed the 2 immortal GU into his own immortal aperture and took out 3 immortal GU recipes. After 5 months in Hu immortal blessed land, Fang Yuan had made 6 deals with Lang Yalan's spirit. The lower the completion rate of the immortal GU recipe, the more green grape immortal essence would be consumed during the deduction, and it would take more time as well. The 3 immortal GU recipes that Fang Yuan took out now had only 60% completion rate originally, he spent half a month before he completed them with difficulty. Lang Yalan's spirit received the immortal GU recipes and looked, sighing while shaking his head. Lad, I have to admit, you are an unparalleled genius in deducing GU recipes. It is such a pity that you have become an immortal zombie. Fang Yuan followed up and asked, I also want to find a way to remove my immortal zombie status, do you know of any methods? There are a bunch of methods, of course, but they are all old and cannot keep up with the times. Some have high risks, some have low probabilities of success, while some have extinct materials. For some, I don't even believe the methods. Lang Yalan's spirit shook his head. After all, I am a land spirit, I would not usually think about an immortal zombie's problems. Brother Fang might be able to get into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance branch. The higher-ups of Zombie Alliance are mostly immortal zombies, they have been researching on how to get rid of the immortal zombie body and regain their lives. Furthermore, several years ago, I've heard some rumors that Northern Plains Zombie Alliance had made some progress on this matter. Mo Tan Sang suggested at this time. Fang Yuan nodded. I have such intentions, but I cannot expose myself. I destroyed 88 Truyong building and ruined Imperial Court blessed land, it is inconvenient to appear in public. If deductions were made against me, that would be horrible. Now that Dong Fang Chong Fan is dead, there might not be any GU immortals who can deduce Brother Fang's identity. Mo Tan Sang said. It is hard to say, some 1,000-year-old monsters or some wisdom path GU immortals might exist. Fang Yuan shook his head, sighing. Oh, lad, aren't you a wisdom path GU immortal? If you can deduce so many immortal GU recipes, your wisdom path attainment must be very high, you should use your own wisdom path methods to prevent others from deducing you. I remember that many wisdom path GU immortals have done that before. Lang Yalan spirit asked. Fang Yuan laughed bitterly in his heart. How could he be a wisdom path GU immortal? He was only using the might of the rank 9 wisdom GU to impersonate as one, shamelessly claiming credit for it. Thus, he said, my wisdom path methods are very heavily skewed towards deducing GU recipes, they are very poor in other aspects. Furthermore, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun are both living eyewitnesses, they had experienced the situation in Imperial Court Blessed Land. I am afraid my current appearance has been found out by Qin Bai Sheng already. Speaking of Qin Bai Sheng, Mo Tan Sang's eyes shone, he praised, this person is quite impressive. I had thought that he was only strong in battle strength, but to think he was very wise as well. He captured Ma and Zhao, obtaining the core of the luck path true inheritance. Originally, Northern Plains GU immortals were going to attack and exterminate him together. But during this month's time in Northern Plains, he recruited allies, giving up some benefits and persuading Fairy Li Shan to come out and use Mountain Pledge GU, to forcefully gather and unite a bunch of lone cultivators. Even Yi Lui tribe was convinced by him. Originally, there was a huge battle ahead, but because of his actions, the battle flopped. He even is going to hold a huge auction in his blessed land, purposely selling the core immortal GU of the luck path true inheritance. He even will be placing Ma and Zhao as commodities for sale. After saying that, Mo Tan Sang looked at Fang Yuan deeply in the eye. He knew that Fairy Li Shan and Fang Yuan had a deep relationship. Back then, when Fang Yuan borrowed the desolate beasts from Lang Yalan's spirit, he was present. Lang Yalan's spirit rejected him outright, having a firm attitude. After all, the desolate beasts were an important defense of Lang Ya blessed land. If Fang Yuan had ill intentions, and was in cahoots with the group that attacked the blessed land, Lang Yalan's spirit would be in danger. But out of his expectations, Fang Yuan took out Mountain Pledge GU. Using this GU to make a vow, Lang Yalan's spirit's worries were dispelled. Later, he used man as before and landscape as before, these two immortal GU, to attract Lang Yalan's spirit and strike at his weakness. After all, Lang Yalan's spirit had offered Tai Bai Yun Sheng 5 immortal essence stones just to research landscape as before in the past. Lang Yalan's spirit was moved by the two immortal GU, and after being provoked by Fang Yuan's words, he lent 8 desolate beasts to him. Qin Bai Sheng knows how to give in at the right time, he can adapt to circumstances and has amazing methods, he is truly skilled in both brains and brawn, one can't help but admire him. Fang Yuan said lightly, before changing the subjecting and asking the land spirit, do you have any leads on the White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU? Fang Yuan's cleansed soul immortal GU has not been fed, after this period of time, it became even weaker. But to feed cleansed soul immortal GU, he needed the flesh of the White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU. Earlier, Fang Yuan had asked Lang Yalan's spirit, but Lang Yalan's spirit did not have the recipe of the White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU, or even any remnant recipes of it. Thus, he could only ask for a lead, not raising any talk of the GU recipe. Lang Yalan's spirit shook his head. Lad, this White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU was created by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. My main body had lived through the eras of Thieving Heaven and Giant Sun before dying. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable only rose up after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. By that time, I was already confined inside this blessed land, how could I have any leads? But, I do have an incredible transformation path killer move here. This killer move originated from Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. When he was young, he used this set of GU worms to hide his appearance and evade his enemies when they chased him, the effect was great. With this killer move, you will be able to change your appearance and aura, to conceal your identity. Even if GU immortals manage to deduce your identity, you might be able to deny it in person and claim that their deduction was wrong, successfully hoodwinking them. Chapter 709 Familiar Face. Chapter 709, Familiar Face. Oh, as it involved Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, Fang Yuan's interest was roused. Is it the legendary, Familiar Face? In GU Master history, there were many interesting records about the immortal killer move, Familiar Face. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable had once relied on Familiar Face to transform into all sorts of appearances. He had once scammed a rank 8 GU immortal, Deng Zuo Yan, while he himself had rank 6 cultivation, causing Deng Zuo Yan to think that he was his best friend, Wan Che Zhen. In the end, Deng Zuo Yan allowed the thief into his house, and Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable used the opportunity to steal a lot of treasures in his blessed land. After the incident, Deng Zuo Yan was angered to the point of spitting out blood. He found Wan Che Zhen and engaged in a fierce battle. It was an extremely heated match. Wan Che Zhen was very puzzled. he tried to explain himself but it was not working. In the end, he took a risk and stopped defending him, letting Deng Zuoyan deal 3 blows to him. After 3 blows, Wan Che-zhen was on the verge of death. He finally managed to convince Deng Zuoyan of their friendship. Deng Zuoyan felt deep regret. He tried to heal Wan Che-zhen regardless of the consequences. After he found out the truth, he saw thieving heaven demon Venerable as his most hated enemy and one that he must kill. Wan Che-zhen's deep injuries could not heal, and seeing that Deng Zuoyan was about to face a tribulation, he did not want to be a burden to his friend and left secretly. But to think that thieving heaven demon Venerable had perfect timing, he disguised as Wan Che-zhen and lied to Deng Zuoyan, lying in bed and pretending to be ill, extorting countless cultivation resources from him. After that, thieving heaven demon Venerable escaped scot-free. Deng Zuoyan lost a huge amount of his foundation. He died during his heavenly tribulation and earthly calamity not long after. Wan Che-zhen heard that his friend had died and vomited blood from anger. His weak body that was heavily injured finally gave in and he died several days later. This was the most illustrious achievement of the immortal killer move, Familiar Face. It was not an offensive killer move, but it indirectly took the lives of 2 rank 8 GU immortals. In history, other than this incredible account, there were also countless incidents where thieving heaven demon Venerable used this move to pretend to be a weakling to catch people off guard, or scammed people by pretending to be an expert. He also transformed into a snowman and caused trouble in an Inkman city, resulting in a huge battle between the snowmen and the Inkman. Lang Ya land spirit stared at Fang Yuan, shaking his head. Familiar Face. You are really daring. That is an immortal killer move. The core GU is the legendary attitude GU. Even if I give it to you, you will not be able to use it. But this killer move of mine has a huge relationship with Familiar Face. It can be said to be the former version of it. This is a mortal killer move and is suitable for you to use. Oh, bright light shined in Fang Yuan's eyes. Seeing that he had drawn out Fang Yuan's interest, Lang Ya land spirit chuckled as he continued. This killer move is called Unfamiliar Face. But if you want it, you will need to do me a favor. Fang Yuan knew that there was no free lunch in this world. He nodded. Say it. Lang Ya land spirit said his plan immediately. My 12 cloud buildings all had 1 desolate beast inside each in the past. But because of the attacks of the GU immortals from the mysterious force, 2 of them died and 1 died after succumbing to injuries. Now, I only have 9 left. If you can enslave a desolate beast with outstanding battle strength for me, not only will I pay you immortal essence stones based on market rates, I will also give you this mortal killer move, Unfamiliar Face. Fang Yuan was overjoyed deep inside. After making many transactions with Lang Ya land spirit over the immortal GU remnant recipes, and using the mountain pledge GU to dispel any suspicions, along with returning the desolate beasts, he had finally improved his relationship with Lang Ya land spirit. In the past, Lang Ya land spirit would not ask Fang Yuan for such a matter. Fang Yuan thought about it and agreed. Next, he obtained 3 new immortal GU remnant recipes from Lang Ya land spirit. After saying goodbye, he went back to Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Junior brother, you are back. Was this trip successful? Tai Bai Yunsheng was inside Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Now, with the 8 desolate beasts already returned, it was impossible for He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan to stay in Hu Immortal Blessed Land. When Fang Yuan went to Lang Ya Blessed Land, Tai Bai Yunsheng was the only GU immortal left to defend it. It was rather fruitful. Fang Yuan said, returning landscape as before GU and man as before GU to Tai Bai Yunsheng. Shark Demon is calling me urgently. I have to go to Eastern Sea now. Tai Bai Yunsheng took the 2 GU and rushed over without examining them. Fang Yuan did not obstruct him, he only told him to be careful. Now that he was finally alone, it was time to plan what to do for the future. After resolving the huge crisis of Immortal Crane sect attacking Hu Immortal Blessed Land, I have finally stabilized the situation. I have entered the Righteous Path faction using the status of a subsidiary force. Now that I can sell Guts GU, I can intervene slightly in Central Continent's matters now. In the past, Fang Yuan was immortal. He did not even have the qualifications to speak to GU immortals as equals. Although he had Hu Immortal Blessed Land, he was like a child walking into a bandit's den holding primeval stones. Once the bandits saw Fang Yuan, they would only think of how to take Hu Immortal Blessed Land for themselves. Now that Fang Yuan was an immortal zombie, he finally was qualified. After gathering his strength and showing the mysterious force behind him, he had finally intimidated Immortal Crane sect and the other forces. Using the Guts GU transaction to form an economic connection between them, the child had now grown into a young man. Seeing a bandit, he scattered some primeval stones to them. The bandits want to rob him, but they are afraid of a counterattack from the young man that would cause them to suffer greater losses, thus, they took the primeval stones to temporarily satisfy themselves. Furthermore, these bandits themselves are wary of each other and restrict themselves, their attention is placed on many other things. The young man is temporarily safe in this den. But Fang Yuan was aware that when the Guts GU transactions become bigger, and the benefits become larger, there would be even greater pressure on him, as more people would want to snatch it from him. Especially during the 5 regions chaotic war, all of the forces would not let go of something that could raise their strength. Although the young man gave out some primeval stones and satisfied the bandits temporarily, as his wealth grows, these bandits were bound to engage in another attempt of robbery soon. Thus, Fang Yuan lowered his head and became a subsidiary of Immortal Crane sect in name. This way, the young man was now a young bandit. These bandits could not rob each other, they had to follow the rules. But rules were just formless restrictions. As time passed, as the profits grew, they would have less effect. After all, this young bandit was not as powerful as he had displayed himself to be. 4 GU Immortals, 8 desolate beasts, this is just a facade that I put up by borrowing the strength of others. The Snowy Mountain alliance I have with Heilu Lan has a time limit. Langya Blessed Land is facing strong enemies, it can hardly protect itself, I cannot bring out the 8 desolate beasts anytime I wish. Even though we made Immortal Crane sect retreat and have set up transactions with the 10 great ancient sects, since I have now appeared in the open, they will definitely use all sorts of methods to investigate me. They have not struck yet because they are not sure of my background at this point. When they know, they will strike again. Fang Yuan considered. Using an analogy, when Fang Yuan first obtained to Immortal Blessed Land, the situation was like a torrential rainstorm with thunder and lightning, it was vicious weather and only by taking a fatal risk could he have a chance of survival. After Fang Yuan's trip to Northern Plains, he became an immortal zombie. When he returned to Immortal Blessed Land, the situation was like a sky with dark clouds covering him, and strong winds blowing. The future was grim. Only by plotting carefully, taking every step vigilantly, and grabbing onto every opportunity, could he climb out of the swamp slowly and with much difficulty. After Fang Yuan repelled Immortal Crane sect and started selling Guts GU, the fierce winds had disappeared, and the dark clouds had thinned, a hole was exposed and the blue sky could be seen. The future was now bright and hopeful, but the dark clouds were still looming. If he was careless, they would cover the sky again, with lightning and rain pouring. It was like a person had just escaped from a swamp. He was standing at the edge of the swamp, finally safe for the time being. If he took a step back, Fang Yuan would fall into the swamp again. If he wanted to get out, he would need to struggle intensely, and his luck would matter greatly. If he moved forward, Fang Yuan would become more stable, and he would finally get back onto a wide and large track. Even if there were thorns along the way, it would not be like before, when he was struggling between life and death, and every step could lead to a fatal disaster. The following period of time is a time of peace that I have obtained with much difficulty. I need to advance forward, accumulating my foundation and raising my cultivation. I have to become stronger, until none of the forces around me dare to have any ill intentions against me. Fang Yuan thought about it carefully. There were several huge problems in front of him. The first question facing him now was the feeding of Immortal GU. Cleanse Soul Immortal GU was the most urgent one. Langya Land Spirit and Fairy Li Shan did not have any leads to the White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU, even though he could buy some in Treasure Yellow Heaven for a high price, it could only sustain Cleanse Soul Immortal GU's life and not let it die of hunger. To feed it till it was full, he needed 10,000 White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU, this GU was in small quantity even for GU Immortals who collected them. Unless Fang Yuan got the GU recipe and refined it in bulk, he could not solve the issue completely. Looking at his other Immortal GU, feeding them was still a huge problem. Although he got through it this time, the next round of feeding would be a problem again. The 6-headed snake's bones had turned into black blood and were fed to Calamity Beckoning Immortal GU. Delight in Water and Mountain Immortal GU's feeding problem had never been resolved. It was just that Mo Yao's will had fed it earlier, thus there were no issues yet. Worldly Wave Trace GU needed tens of thousands of underworld jellyfish and thousands of deep-sea lightning eels. Although the former was in huge quantity, it could be bought easily using Immortal Essence stones. But the latter was rare in the market. If not for Tai Bai Yun Sheng encountering Shark Demon and putting his own life at risk, he would not have gotten the required amount. Rising Azure Cloud was in Langya Land Spirit's hands, it need not be considered for now. Connect Luck Immortal GU needs 5,000 kilograms of sand gull soil. Looking at the condition of the worldly sand gull's dead egg, it could produce another 15,000 kilograms, which was 3 feeding sessions. The feeding of woman's heart was troublesome. After all, mass killing of mortals would attract the attack of righteous path GU immortals. After all, now was not the 5 regions chaotic war yet. Within the 5 regions, the righteous path suppressed the demonic path, order was abundant in society. Although Fang Yuan had many immortal essence stones now, the feeding of immortal GU could not be resolved simply by having immortal essence stones. Generally, in most cases, the feeding of immortal GU was usually connected to the cultivation path of the GU immortal themselves and their blessed land. Chapter 710 Crossing the Regional Wall. Chapter 710 Crossing the Regional Wall. For instance, a water path GU immortal's blessed land would be in the form of a sea. After obtaining worldly wave trace GU, the GU immortal would raise underworld jellyfish, deep-sea lightning eels and so on inside their blessed land. Thus, the GU immortal could be self-sufficient, by drawing materials from their own blessed land to feed the immortal GU worldly wave trace. Another example was Tai Bai Yun Sheng's 2 immortal GU, he could obtain food for them by managing his own blessed land. He Lu Lan's blessed land contained large numbers of heavy metal ores. These heavy metals were strength Qi immortal Gu's food. However, Fang Yuan's situation was different from theirs. Their immortal GU were mostly obtained by refining vital GU and core GU when advancing to GU immortal, and were integrated with their path. Fang Yuan's immortal GU were mostly obtained from scheming. His vital GU was spring autumn cicada, but he had no time path inheritance, and what he currently practiced was strength path. Moreover, Fang Yuan's immortal GU were extremely disordered, involving time path, space path, water path, wisdom path and other paths. The most crucial point was that Fang Yuan's blessed land was dead. His immortal aperture had turned into a dead aperture, and whatever he placed in there would die. It could neither be managed nor developed like a normal blessed land, nor could it provide convenience in feeding immortal GU, and most importantly it could not produce immortal essence. Thus, there was a much heavier burden on immortal essence stones. Fang Yuan not only had to use his immortal essence stones for transactions, but also turn a part of them into green grape immortal essence, and furthermore bear the costs for feeding immortal GU. The main reason for Fang Yuan almost becoming bankrupt after the battle with He Cheng was this. Thus the second problem in front of Fang Yuan was his immortal aperture. The immortal aperture was already dead, his cultivation had stagnated. The blessed land was involved in many aspects of the GU immortal's cultivation, therefore this was a great burden to Fang Yuan. The day Fang Yuan truly got rid of his immortal zombie body would be the day he can formally start his GU immortal cultivation. However, getting rid of the immortal zombie body and returning to his human body meant Fang Yuan would not be able to step into the wisdom light halo. This was also a problem. As for the final important problem, it was battle strength. Currently, Cleanse Soul immortal GU was weak from hunger and was too risky to use. Fang Yuan's trump card, the immortal killer move Myriad Self, also could not be used. Fang Yuan's battle strength had fallen as a result. Whether it was confronting Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects in the days to come, dealing with the pursuit of Northern Plains GU immortals, seizing Dong Fang Chong Fan's wisdom path inheritance, helping Lang Ya Land's spirit to capture a desolate beast, seeking the thieving heaven inheritance pertaining to Luo Po Valley, taking immortal GU dark limit from Fairy Zhang Yu, all of these required powerful battle strength. There are mainly 4 aspects that influence a GU immortal's battle strength. The GU immortal's own battle attainment, immortal GU, killer moves and immortal essence. With the Guts GU business now, I don't lack immortal essence for the moment. A GU immortal's battle attainment is formed from constant accumulation of their foundation over time and cannot be raised in a short period. In the immortal GU aspect, the blood deity remnant recipe is enough to deduce the complete blood deity immortal GU recipe, but my wealth right now is still quite far from reaching the standard of refining immortal GU. Fang Yuan thought it over. Even if he could refine blood deity, he did not want to do so. Blood path had been affiliated with the demonic path since long ago. Even the 10 great ancient sects had to research blood path in secret and did not dare to publicly announce it. Heavenly Court even had the Demon Judgment Board, and Fang Yuan did not want to put his name there this early. Moreover, almost all the immortal GU in Fang Yuan's hands were in a bad state from hunger. The burden of feeding was too heavy and Fang Yuan lacked confidence in managing it if a new immortal GU was added on top of that. Therefore, the only method Fang Yuan could use to raise his battle strength quickly was through killer moves. The killer move aspect involved both immortal killer moves and mortal killer moves. I have sufficient immortal essence stones, my disposable income is much higher than in the past. Not only can I purchase a lot of good mortal killer moves, but I also can continuously experiment, deduce and reproduce some powerful killer moves from my past life. Having thought things through, Fang Yuan immediately started with the task. Central Continent. With Feng Juzhe as the leader, a group of GU immortals were standing in front of an enormous light wall. The light wall was incomparably tall, connecting the sky and ground. The white light had condensed into a solid and formed a wall. Within it flickered golden light which was full of vigor and majesty. This was Central Continent's membrane, known as the Saint Regional Wall. The world of GU Masters had 5 large regions: Central Continent, Southern Border, Eastern Sea, Western Desert and Northern Plains. Each was covered with a layer of membrane forming the boundaries of heaven and earth, mutually isolating each other. Old Oracle, what is the result of your calculation this time? Old Lord Kenyang asked a young-looking GU immortal in the group. The young-looking GU immortal slowly opened his eyes. They were filled with clouds and mist and constantly transforming. A long while later, the clouds and mist dispersed and he returned to having ordinary white eyes with black pupils. The young-looking GU immortal spoke with a slightly happy tone. It can be done. This part of the regional wall is rather weak. It is the 3rd weak spot we have found over these last days. But compared to the first and the second, this is more stable. I suggest we use this to cut open an entrance and cross the regional wall to northern plains. Ha ha ha, good, we have searched close to 1,000 areas and finally found an ideal weak spot. Old man Tian Long laughed loudly. Fairy Ling Mei let out a breath of cloudy air and said with a sigh, we have searched for so many days before finally getting a good result. It was really not easy. We have already wasted a lot of time. Let's begin. Feng Juzhe said briefly. Who goes first? Fairy Ao Shui and Fairy Ling Mei glanced at each other, then stood up together, speaking in unison. This time, let our Heaven's Envy manner take the lead. With that statement, the two exerted strength and activated an immortal killer move together, called Peerless Crescent Moon Slash. This killer move's core was the rank 7 Crescent Moon Immortal GU, with 2 rank 6 Immortal GU as support. The immortal essence required to activate this immortal killer move was extremely high and it also burdened the mind significantly. Just 1 GU immortal could not display its might, 2 GU immortals must activate it together. The immortal killer move was activated, instantly forming a blue crescent moon. The crescent moon was not large and was only the size of a water jar, but it had condensed into solid form and was sparkling like a magnificent piece of artwork. Only the terrifying aura it leaked out occasionally would let one know that it was not harmless like its appearance showed. The surrounding GU immortals distanced themselves far away from Ao Shui and Ling Mei. After accumulating enough power, the two fairies gave soft cries and released the blue crescent moon. The crescent moon flew extremely quick and silently, shining with gentle moonlight. The blue crescent moon slashed the Saint Regional Wall and immediately cut open a path about 76 steps in length. Worthy of being a well-known killer move of Heaven's Envy manner, it directly cut open a distance of 76 steps. Remarkable. GU Immortal Chen Zhen Kai exclaimed in admiration. Feng Juzhe led the way with the other GU immortals behind him and entered the Saint Regional Wall. The moment they stepped into the Saint Regional Wall, many GU immortals' expressions changed slightly. Their bodies became heavier, their thoughts moved more slowly and even the immortal aperture inside them gradually started to tremor. Quick, we need to move faster. Feng Juzhe hastened. They had walked 74 steps before they could not walk any further. In this short period of time, the Saint Regional Wall had already started to rapidly heal. The path of 76 steps in depth had already shortened by 2 steps. Old Lord Kenyang stood up. Next, let this old man give it a try. He took out an immortal GU. This immortal GU resembled a mostly burnt-out candle with a small amount of candlelight burning at the top. Old Lord Kenyang softly blew at the candlelight. The candlelight shook and following the direction of Old Lord Kenyang's breath, it let out countless glittering light spots. The light spots struck the white gold Saint Regional Wall. The regional wall melted like snow as it rapidly dissolved and formed a 63 steps passage. Everyone quickly moved ahead. At the end of the passage, Old Man Tian Long stood up and activated an immortal GU, opening a 67 steps passage. All the GU immortals took turns in using their immortal GU or immortal killer moves to open the passage deeper into the Saint Regional Wall. The deeper they went, the greater the pressure on them was, even turning into a giant force that dragged them backwards, seemingly as if this world did not want them to leave Central Continent. The thoughts in their minds also kept on moving increasingly slowly, which caused the GU immortals to have extreme difficulty in activating their immortal killer moves. As a Wisdom Path GU immortal, Old Oracle had no choice but to use all sorts of methods and even immortal killer moves to reinforce the other GU immortals' minds. But in spite of this, Ao Shui and Ling Mei, these two fairies could not activate Peerless Crescent Moon Slash anymore. The most crucial point was the immortal apertures in their bodies. The deeper they went, the greater the intensity of the tremors in their immortal apertures. The earth within their blessed lands cracked, boulders started falling down and countless life forms within died pitifully. These GU immortals came from the 10 great ancient sects. They were famous experts with outstanding battle strength. However, several hundred steps later, most turned pale, some with weaker cultivation even started trembling slightly. 1,000 steps later, most of the GU immortals were covered with sweat, some were deathly pale. Ao Shui and Ling Mei were walking while supporting each other. Only Feng Zhuzhe alone was still walking ahead upright, his expression was normal. Every time he made a move, they were all immortal killer moves, cutting open passages longer than 100 steps. After walking for over 3,000 steps, there was much thinner white gold light in front, instead a trace of green was vaguely revealed. Old Oracle, your deduction was correct, this is indeed a weak area of Saint Regional Wall, we reached here after only walking over 3,000 steps. Someone immediately praised. Beyond Saint Regional Wall is Northern Plains Licorice Regional Wall. Let's speed up and break through it in one move. Old Lord Kenyang attempted to raise the morale while gasping for breath. The young-looking GU immortal Old Oracle, however, was somewhat worried. My ability is limited, I could only deduce Saint Regional Wall. Hopefully this area of Licorice Regional Wall is not too thick. After around 8 minutes, the GU immortals were out of Saint Regional Wall and entered into Licorice Regional Wall. This regional wall was quite different from Saint Regional Wall. The GU immortals felt an enormous formless force pushing at them and constantly repelling them. The intensity of the tremors of their immortal apertures increased further, the losses causing great heartache to many GU immortals. I hope we can subdue 1 or 2 immortal GU in this trip to Northern Plains, otherwise the losses would be too huge. Old Man Tian Long said. Sigh, I had passed the regional wall to Northern Plains when I was younger, but back then the whole process only took about 5 minutes of time and was very easy. GU immortal Hong Kai Ming sighed deeply. When he had crossed the regional wall back then, he had only been a rank 4 GU master. As one's cultivation became higher, the difficulty in traversing regional walls would become increasingly difficult. After a long time, this group of GU immortals had no choice but to stop. They were in Licorice Regional Wall and everywhere around them was filled with green fog. Grass was growing wildly in the fog and was constantly twining and twisting like a sea of snakes or hair, blocking their paths. Feng Zhuji's body was dripping with sweat and his lips were pale. This won't do, this part of Licorice Regional Wall is extremely firm, we need to change to another direction even if we have to walk more. Everyone nodded, approving of Feng Zhuji's resoluteness. Old Oracle began to deduce, and in this period of time, the regional wall was constantly recovering, making the GU immortals retreat further. This way. Finally, Old Oracle calculated a direction. The GU immortals changed their direction and after suffering bitterly for a day and a night, they passed the Licorice Regional Wall and entered Northern Plains. Rest and reorganize for 3 days, we will talk after that. Feng Zhuzhe exhaustedly said. Among the whole group, only he was able to barely stand while the others fell down unsteadily to the ground like piles of mud, not wanting to even budge anymore. Chapter 711 Giving Up on Possession. Chapter 711 Giving Up on Possession. Cranes cried out, flying beautifully in the sky, displaying their elegant appearances. As the wind blew gently, the trees on Feihe Mountain were swaying lightly. The sun was high in the sky, but the sunlight could not penetrate into this dark gloomy underground secret room. The underground secret room was plain and simple, the surroundings were stone walls and other than the stone bed at the center, there was nothing. Moist water vapor slipped into the cracks of the walls, as moss grew on them. On the stone bed, there was a rotten and ruined body of a young rank 5 GU master, it was GU Fang Zheng. In order to detect Fang Yuan's location, coordinating with He Feng Yang to attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Fang Zheng was plotted against by Lord Sky Crane and lost control of the failed Blood Demon Flower GU. Causing him to lose too much blood and his soul went on the verge of collapse, as he entered a deep state of unconsciousness. You want to revive Fang Zheng? He Feng Yang was right beside the stone bed, looking at the spirit incubating flea which was floating in front of him. Fang Zheng's master was inside the spirit incubating flea, Lord Sky Crane's soul. At this moment, a firm voice came from within the flea. Yes Lord, I am willing to give up this possession opportunity, please save Fang Zheng instead. He Feng Yang turned his gaze towards Fang Zheng who had fainted, saying softly, the injuries to his body might seem terrifying, but it is not a big concern, even without my help, the sect has many ways to heal him. The problem is his soul. He did the blood sense forcefully this time. It caused a huge burden on his soul. His soul was only a step away from collapsing. Actually, the current situation is most suitable for you to possess his body. This body has a great aptitude and a rank 5 aperture. His soul is extremely weak, so if you undergo possession now, you would win the contest between souls without doubt. Wasn't possession your goal all along? Lord Sky Crane laughed bitterly. Ever since he used the method to harm Fang Zheng, Lord Sky Crane had been recalling Fang Zheng's appearance, and all the memories of their experiences had been flashing through his mind. Fang Zheng's purity, his pursuit of justice, it reminded him of his younger self. Fang Zheng's desire for revenge was so similar to his own experiences. Subordinate's original plan was to possess Fang Zheng. But now in my heart, I feel guilt and reluctance. According to logic, he has the bloodline of first gen Guu, yet he has been calling me master and trusts me. He had never thought I would harm him. He believes in justice, just like I did in the past. If I kill him and succeed in the possession, I would have to live within his shell in the future. How would I face myself? Lord Sky Crane sighed. He Feng Yang was silent for a while, before he raised his hand and placed it on Fang Zheng's forehead. A green light that was gentle as water dripped down from He Feng Yang's palm, spreading all over Fang Zheng's body. Everywhere the green light reached, his swollen flesh and scars healed rapidly at a visible rate. After several breaths of time, Fang Zheng's body fully recovered, his breathing relaxed, but he was still unconscious. I have already healed his physical body, and stabilized his soul. As a reward for being my subordinate, I will give you another opportunity, Sky Crane. You do not need to give up on the possession chance. I will give you some time to consider it, think it through properly. He Feng Yang said. Lord, He Feng Yang retracted his hand. The possession technique we have is not complete, it originated from Northern Plains. Right now, our sect's old Lord Kenyang has followed Feng Zhuzhe into Northern Plains. He had been assigned several missions from the sect him. One of them is to collect more information and improve the possession technique. When he returns to the sect, Sky Crane, you will have a higher chance of succeeding in the possession. By that point, you would have already reflected thoroughly on it. Give me the answer then. Lord, without waiting for Lord Sky Crane to finish speaking, He Feng Yang waved his sleeves and his figure vanished. Who Immortal blessed land, in an underground cave. The wisdom light halo that was shining in many colors shone on Fang Yuan's face. Fang Yuan's brows were tightly locked, his expression was grim and uncertain. Goo. Suddenly, he opened his mouth, spitting a mouthful of green zombie blood. At the same time, countless joyful wills in his mind collapsed and disintegrated. This was the first time Fang Yuan had gotten injured from using the light of wisdom. Fang Yuan stepped out of the light of wisdom, finding a mushroom nearby and sitting on it like a bench. He stretched out one arm to wipe the zombie blood around his mouth, as he inspected his mind while enduring the huge pain in his head. His mind was experiencing tremors, thoughts disintegrated on their own the moment they were created. The surrounding boundaries of his mind had mild cracks on them. This was the backlash due to Fang Yuan's forceful thinking. At this moment, as long as Fang Yuan had a thought, intense pain would assault his mind. He shut his eyes and stopped all his thinking. He was like a rock statue without any movement. A while later, he slowly opened his eyes, inspecting his mind again. The tremors had stopped in his mind, but the boundaries still had remaining cracks on them. The speed of his thought generation was slower than before, but they would not collapse upon creation. That was to say, Fang Yuan could think again. This injury was no doubt a valuable experience. Fang Yuan learned many things from it. Wisdom path deductions have a risk as well, one can get injured. Just like strength path, overexerting oneself would cause them to pull their muscles, and their tendons might even break. This time, I was trying to deduce a difficult question of the star path. I used a large amount of joyful wills and the unlimited inspiration from the light of wisdom to deduce countless possibilities. It surpassed the limits and endurance level of my mind, thus I got injured. I thought I could use the power of wisdom GU to deduce the recipe of star shoot GU. But now it seems that my star path foundation is too low. The unlimited inspiration can give me countless possibilities and directions, but I will need to deduce every single possibility. At the same time, during the process of deduction, more choices would be generated. Star Shoot GU was Star Lord Wan Zhang's self-created GU worm. Using large numbers of Star Rain GU, small numbers of Spring Wind GU, as well as many other GU worms, one could assemble the killer move, Spring Star Rain. The effect of Spring Star Rain was to increase the growth rate of plants. Fang Yuan used it many times to nourish his Star Fragment grass. But Star Shoot GU was a consumable GU. Right now, he could only purchase it from Star Lord Wansheng, and Star Lord Wansheng was making a huge profit out of this GU. Fang Yuan had wanted to use the light of wisdom to reverse engineer the Star Shoot Gu's recipe, but he did not succeed, and even got himself injured. Although Star Shoot GU is a mortal GU, it had been tampered with by Star Lord Wansheng. The recipe is very hard to reverse refine. Unless my Star Path realm reaches master level, if not, it will be hard to succeed. Fang Yuan had a realization. Star Path master level realm, it represented a foundation in Star Path, and could greatly reduce the possibilities when undergoing deductions. It could help Fang Yuan reach the correct answer much quicker. Fang Yuan made an estimate based on the difficulty. If reverse refining Star Shoot Gu's recipe requires Star Path master level attainment, then researching an entirely new GU recipe to create the Starlight Firefly GU would be even harder. Most likely, Star Path Grandmaster realm is needed. As for modifying Do Min Jun's Star Path inheritance and creating an entire new Star Path GU worm, to amplify the effects of attacking, defending, movement, and healing in Star Path GU worms, that would be even harder. At least Quasi-Great Grandmaster realm attainment is required. Starlight Firefly GU was a necessity in activating Stargate GU, it would not hurt to have more of it. But in Do Min Jun's inheritance, a bit of Star GU, brilliance of 2 stars GU, 3 stars in the sky GU, 4 stars cube GU, 5 stars aligned GU, these could amplify the offense of Star Path GU worms. If this was circulated, Star Path GU would definitely become much more popular, it would even have a mild effect on the current status of the different paths. Fang Yuan's original plan was to reverse refine the GU recipe of Star Shoot GU and Starlight Firefly GU. One was to escape from his reliance on Star Lord Wansheng, but also to have a method to obtain even more Starlight Firefly GU for his use of Stargates. In addition, raising the effects of a bit of Star GU, brilliance of 2 stars GU, 3 stars in the sky GU. This series of GU worms would help in developing a whole new Star Path killer move that would suit Fang Yuan's needs and raise his battle strength. But after making an attempt, Fang Yuan knew that this was not feasible yet. Even if he had the light of wisdom and had unlimited inspiration, his refinement path realm was master level, his Star Path realm was merely ordinary, it was hard for his plans to work. It seems that to raise my battle strength, I have to focus on my strengths and make use of my advantages. Fang Yuan assessed himself. He was a Blood Path Grandmaster, Strength Path Grandmaster, Flying Quasi Grandmaster, Refinement Path Master, Enslavement Path Master, as well as Transformation Path Master. He first eliminated Blood Path. Blood Path GU Immortals were heavily targeted by everyone, because Blood Path cultivation focused on harming others to raise one's own battle strength. The righteous and demonic paths were both unwilling to face such a huge threat like Blood Path GU Immortals. Only during the 5 regions chaotic war, when the law and order of the regions go into chaos, would Blood Path emerge again. Although Fang Yuan had Blood Deity's remnant recipe, he did not want to deduce the completed recipe yet, he did not have the financial capability to refine Blood Deity Immortal GU now. Furthermore, the Blood Path inheritance in his previous life had yet to mature, he could not retrieve it yet. Next, Fang Yuan eliminated Strength Path. Strength Path had once flourished in the past, at present, it had already heavily declined. Even though there were incredible geniuses like Chudu, it was unlikely for the past glory of Strength Path to reappear. The might and prosperity of a path not only relied on genius GU Masters and GU Immortals, they also relied on resources. In the present era, the resources for Strength Path had mostly gone extinct, or were extremely rare. Strength Path had little prospects, many GU recipes were lost, and the future was grim. Even though Fang Yuan was a Strength Path Immortal zombie, he did not want to walk on this path. The reason he chose Strength Path was because the conditions back then were very convenient, he would use it as a springboard to change to another path in the future. He later became a Strength Path Immortal zombie because he was left with no choice in 88 Truyong building. Unless Fang Yuan was like He Lu Lan with multiple Strength Path Immortal GU, who can raise her battle strength using these Immortal GU. But such a situation was not feasible for Fang Yuan. Blood Path and Strength Path were dead ends, Flying Quasi Grandmaster was merely part of his battle proficiency, Refinement Path did not excel in fighting, Fang Yuan's only options were Enslavement Path and Transformation Path. But Enslavement Path needed beast groups. At the level of GU Immortals, ordinary beasts were of little use. Their core beast groups would be elevated from mutated beast kings and beast emperors to desolate beasts. Fang Yuan used the light of wisdom and thought about it for a long time. 3 days later, he finally made a breakthrough in Transformation Path. Chapter 712 Lion Fur Armor, Transplanting Bat Wings. Chapter 712 Lion Fur Armor, Transplanting Bat Wings. Time flew by quickly, and in a blink of an eye, 10 days had passed in Immortal blessed land. Fang Yuan was flying in the air. Hair armor. His thoughts shifted, his hair grew wildly and instantly condensed into a malevolent-looking pitch-black armor full of spikes. Icy drill stardust. Fang Yuan pinched at the air with his 5 fingers, a ball of starlight formed on his hand. The starlight constantly let out crackling sounds. Looking closely inside, one could discover there were countless small specks of icy drills colliding and exploding non-stop. Fang Yuan slowly pressed this ball of starlight into the hair armor on his chest. The hair armor lasted for a few breaths before it began to be damaged. A dozen or so breaths later, the surroundings of the damaged area were dyed azure blue, and the blue frost was spreading everywhere. 20 breaths later, the hair armor completely shattered, and there was a small hole on Fang Yuan's chest. This was completely within Fang Yuan's expectations. He had merged Du Min Jun's inheritance into icy drill stardust. This would sell for 4 immortal essence stones in Treasure Yellow Heaven. And the defensive killer move hair armor would only be worth around 2.5 immortal essence stones. The starlight on his palm dissipated. Fang Yuan willed and activated hair armor again. However, the hair armor this time was different. It was a new and improved version, having gone through many days of experimentation. The hair armor transformed quickly. The useless malevolent spikes were removed. The black iron-like luster before also turned into bronze. The primary cause for this was Fang Yuan perfectly merging large numbers of golden lion fur GU into the original foundation of hair armor. Golden lion fur GU was a rank 5 mortal GU that could let GU masters grow golden lion fur, increasing their defense and having an even higher increase in resistance to metal path attacks. Several breaths later, the original black iron spiked hair armor was gone, and replacing it was a smooth bronze armor which was twice the thickness of the black armor. The helmet had turned into the shape of a lion roaring with an open mouth, revealing Fang Yuan's face inside. The defensive ability had also increased by 150%. If it was defending against metal path attacks, the defensive power would increase by a whole 200%. Fang Yuan made a lump of starlight again and pressed it towards his chest area like before. The stardust drilled endlessly into the hair armor, but after a whole dozen or so breaths had gone by, the starlight was completely used up and merely a crack appeared on the hair armor. Let's call it lion fur armor. Fang Yuan mumbled to himself before raising his 8 arms and letting out 8 lumps of starlight. The starlight flew to the sky and gathered into a large lump. Fang Yuan laughed heartily, charging into the large lump of stardust with his lion fur armor. The icy drill stardust constantly produced tiny explosions which impacted against Fang Yuan's lion fur armor from all directions. Fang Yuan constantly maintained the lion fur armor killer move, rapidly restoring any cracks that appeared. He maintained it till the starlight lump dissipated, and then flew down. There was not even a trace of a crack on the lion fur armor. Such recovery ability is about twice that of before. If placed in Treasure Yellow Heaven, this could sell for 4.5 immortal essence stones. Lion fur armor was one of the accomplishments Fang Yuan had made these days. He returned to Dang Hun Palace where Hu Immortal Land Spirit was maintaining Connecting Heaven GU, paying attention to Treasure Yellow Heaven. How is the situation? Fang Yuan asked. Master, the other party is still insisting on 4 immortal essence stones and shows no signs of lowering it. Little Hu Immortal Land Spirit replied. Fang Yuan wanted to buy a pair of bat desolate beast wings. The other party had killed this bat desolate beast and was putting its corpse on sale in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Fang Yuan had asked for price before, but the other party had asked for 4 immortal essence stones just for this pair of bat wings, and their attitude was firm, not willing to lower it. 4 immortal essence stones was no doubt an expensive price. Back then, when Fang Yuan bought a 6-headed snake skeleton, he had only had to pay 3 immortal essence stones. According to the normal price, it should be 2.5 at most. Fang Yuan personally activated Divine Sense GU and used the identity of 8-arm immortal to get in touch with the seller. I am willing to pay 3 immortal essence stones to buy this pair of bat wings. The sellers will, however, refused. I'm not selling, the lowest is at least 4 immortal essence stones. Fang Yuan snorted. Sir is too greedy, look at how damaged these desolate beast wings are, they would normally only sell for 2.5 immortal essence stones. If not for me wanting to research some new GU and coincidentally happening to need this material, I would not have even asked. The seller's will's tone softened and it sighed. I am also helpless, my losses were too severe when hunting this desolate beast. This desolate beast's blood had already flowed out and my main body also suffered heavy injuries. If I don't sell it for this price, my finances will collapse and it might even lead to a delay in healing my injuries. Whether you live or die, is that my problem? Also, why would I believe your one-sided words? 3 immortal essence stones, are you selling or not? Fang Yuan said coldly. Not selling. Fang Yuan immediately withdrew his divine sense. After a while, he commanded Little Hu Immortal Land Spirit to inquire about the price and show a stance of being impatient. How about this? I will take out 3 immortal essence stones to buy your bat wings. Say it, are you selling or not? The sellers will hesitated this time, but still refused in the end. This pair of wings is the most valuable part of the whole desolate beast corpse. If Sir only wants to buy the wings, it won't be easy for me to sell the remaining parts. If you are sincerely thinking of buying, how about you take out 5 immortal essence stones to buy this whole desolate beast corpse? Little Hu Immortal talked with Fang Yuan, and replied, I only need the wings, what will I do with the other parts? I have wasted enough time already. 3 immortal essence stones are already a lot, alright I shall give you 3.5 immortal essence stones, this is my final bottom line. If you are still not selling, then forget it. The seller's will was clearly shaken and it replied with hesitation, this let me consider it. The land spirit hastened him, my patience has limits, I will give you 5 breaths of time. Any longer and I might just take back my offer. 4 breaths passed before the sellers will heaved a long sigh. He also knew that although there was a high demand for desolate beast corpses but his price was indeed high. GU immortals were shrewd people, there were few that would spend money casually. Alright, I will sell, the seller's will was just replying when a divine sense interrupted him, slow down, I want this bad desolate beast's corpse, I will give you 5 immortal essence stones. Sir is Immortal Monkey King. This change naturally made the seller very happy. If he sold the bat wings to Fang Yuan for 3.5 immortal essence stones, then trying to sell the remaining parts of the corpse which were extremely damaged for 1 immortal essence stone would be demanding a very high price. Now, Immortal Monkey King Shi Lei cut in and was willing to pay 5 immortal essence stones, the seller was naturally willing to accept this transaction. Wait a second, we have already made the deal. Immortal Monkey King, what do you think you are doing by suddenly butting in? Who Immortal Land Spirit refused to accept this? What deal? Shi Lei scoffed, who are you kidding? Does business in Treasure Yellow Heaven pay attention to first come, first serve? The item will naturally go to whoever pays the higher price. Since the transaction has not been carried out, there is no deal. After saying that, Shi Lei then said to the seller, hey, this deal will earn you a great profit, why are you not quickly finishing the transaction? The seller's will was just about to nod when Hu Immortal Land Spirit obtained Fang Yuan's instructions and immediately prevented it. Slow down, I will pay 5.5 immortal essence stones. HMPH, only adding half an immortal essence stone, aren't you too petty? I will pay 7 immortal essence stones. Shi Lei said with a rich and overbearing attitude. Hu Immortal Land Spirit's tone immediately became gloomy. Since it is so, I will pay 8 immortal essence stones. 8, Shi Lei laughed, then I will pay 9. 9.5, Hu Immortal Land Spirit immediately quoted. That seller's will had never expected such a change and was already overjoyed. Shi Lei was dazed before laughing loudly. Alright, Hu Immortal, as expected of someone doing the business of guts GU, you have so much money. I don't want to contend with a junior. Just a mere damaged desolate beast corpse, I hope you can be happy when you take it. The divine sense left directly after laughing heartily. Hu Lord Hu Immortal, you meant what you said, right? The seller's will wore a fawning smile as he said while stammering. From the looks of it, he had not lied before, he was indeed a poor rank 6 GU immortal. HMPH, business needs to be done with sincerity, would my words be a lie? Hu Immortal Land Spirit coldly snorted. The two finished the transaction. The seller received 9.5 immortal essence stones while Fang Yuan obtained a bat desolate beast's corpse. After this transaction, Fang Yuan checked his wealth again. He had 172 immortal essence stones and 77 beads of green grape immortal essence. So far, Fang Yuan had already sold the 6th batch of Guts GU. It was an average of 1 batch per month and every batch gave him 48 immortal essence stones in profit. Over these 6 months, Fang Yuan had completed 1 transaction of an immortal GU recipe with Langya Land Spirit, earning over 20 immortal essence stones. But he had fed the 8 desolate beasts earlier and converted large numbers of immortal essence stones into green grape immortal essence. He also consumed green grape immortal essence to reverse refine Star Path GU recipes, which ended in failure, and finally, to make a breakthrough using transformation path, he improved on his killer moves. He had not only improved his defensive killer move hair armor to lion fur armor, but also upgraded light illusion bat wings by a great degree. But to complete the new light illusion bat wings, he needed to transplant a pair of real bat wings onto his immortal zombie body. Because of this, Fang Yuan did not hesitate on spending a large amount to buy this bat desolate beast's corpse. Immortal Monkey King Shilei, making me spend 3 times the price to buy this bat corpse. I will remember this. Shilei was a higher up of Combat Immortal sect, which was one of the 10 great ancient sects. During his previous life's 5 regions chaotic war, after Feng Juzhe died, he replaced Feng Juzhe as the most powerful rank 7 in Central Continent. He was an Earth Path expert but cultivated Transformation Path as well, having secretly obtained several inheritances of Reckless Savage Demon Venerable. Fang Yuan thought of raising the price of Guts Gu to combat Immortal sect, but he dispelled this thought after pondering about it. For the next half a month, he concentrated on handling the bat desolate beast's corpse. He carefully cut apart the bat wings and did more than a dozen sessions of meticulous treatment and maintenance. He then used Fire Path and Strength Path GU worms to constantly temper the bat wings. As a result, the extremely wide bat wings gradually became more condensed and small. Finally, after Fang Yuan endured intense pain, he finally succeeded in transplanting the bat wings onto his back. Chapter 713 True Solid Bat Wings. Chapter 713 True Solid Bat Wings. A wind wolf had its head lowered, its forelimbs were stealthily moving as it traveled in the lush grassland. The prey that it was targeting was a pink flower rabbit. The rabbit's 2 ears were standing on end, listening to every movement nearby. The rabbit's head was buried in the flowers, eating pollen as food. As a cool breeze blew on this mountain, flowers blossomed in this lush greenery, giving off waves of fragrant smells. The wind wolf slowly got closer, but the pink flower rabbit had no idea. Suddenly, a black shadow flew past the ground rapidly. The pink flower rabbit was shocked, it raised its head. Even though Immortal Blessed Land had no eagle groups, it sprinted away in fear, managing to survive this trial, causing the wind wolf to fail in its hunt. Fang Yuan, who was flying in the air, observed all of this. He could not help but start to think, right now, I have ample funds, and my own blessed land has turned into a dead aperture, I might as well manage this Immortal Blessed Land first. After the journey in northern plains, the beast groups in Immortal Blessed Land had fallen in numbers, becoming very sparse. Right now, I am already selling Guts Gu, the Rockmen transaction is simply unnecessary. Immortal was an enslavement path Gu Immortal, Immortal Blessed Land has a grassland landscape, it is most suited for raising fox groups. If I raise the vitality of Immortal Blessed Land and make it flourish with life, when I revive, I would gain much greater benefits if I fuse this Immortal Blessed Land. Thinking so, Fang Yuan inspected the bat wings on his back. This was the 3rd time he had tested out flying with these newly transplanted bat wings on his back. The processed bat wings, if spread fully, were not even half of Fang Yuan's arm length. They were yellow-brown in color, and were quite petite, they seemed much less impressive than the prior light illusion bat wings. But Fang Yuan did not care about appearance, he only looked at its value and usefulness. The new light illusion bat wings gave Fang Yuan almost double the speed boost, at the same time, the duration of his flight had greatly increased. After all, the bat wings back then were only a phantom, the bat wings now were real physical wings. The flesh, skin, fur, bones, and blood were all condensed and refined. There were also many GU worms inside these wings. The GU worms residing in the bat wings were used to activate the newly modified movement killer move, Light Illusion Bat Wings. No, right now, using the name Light Illusion Bat Wings for this killer move is no longer appropriate. I should call it True Solid Bat Wings. Fang Yuan created a new name for this newly modified killer move. He was more pleased with this movement killer move True Solid Bat Wings than the lion fur armor. If this movement killer move was sold in Treasure Yellow Heaven, it could be sold for 6 Immortal Essence Stones or more. That was because True Solid Bat Wings had much potential left, 1 pair of bat wings was not its limit. It could transplant 3 pairs of bat wings at most. The origin of these wings should be at least desolate beasts. Of course, ancient desolate beasts and immemorial desolate beasts would be even better. If Fang Yuan could transplant 3 pairs of desolate beast bat wings on his back, his speed would be at least 3 times faster. Light Illusion Bat Wings was the most widely spread movement killer move during the 5 regions chaotic war due to its price-to-value ratio. On that basis, raising one's speed by 3 times as much would be even more impressive. Even though it could not compare to movement immortal GU like worldly wave trace, or rising azure cloud, if Fang Yuan met plump lady again, her light sand escape would not allow her to run from Fang Yuan's assault. As the winds blew intensely behind him, Fang Yuan flapped with his wings and flew up into the sky. After flying to a high altitude in midair, Fang Yuan closed his eyes and felt the sensation of the air currents blowing on the bat wings silently. His immortal zombie body could not feel any pain, his sense of touch was nearly non-existent. This was a strength and also a weakness. When Fang Yuan transplanted the bat wings, he spent a lot of effort in order to retain the sense of pain and touch that the bat wings had. Only by doing this could he have a clearer and realistic feeling of the air when he flaps his wings, to feel the strength of the air currents and to sense the state of the wings. Losing the sense of pain numbed him and made Fang Yuan fight more fiercely. But flying was another matter. Flying required meticulous control, especially when Fang Yuan's flying attainment had reached quasi-grandmaster level. Only by regaining his sense of pain and touch could he truly display his actual flying attainment. If it was a pair of zombified wings, the feeling would be very vague, especially in intense battles. When he needed to rely on the wings, sensitive nerves would allow him to react and adapt more easily, instead of being rough and careless. With a boost in movement strength, I will be able to advance or retreat at will. After I get 3 pairs of wings, true solid bat wings will be an exceptional mortal killer move. It would only lose out to worldly wave trace immortal GU. Fang Yuan was a strength path GU immortal, he obtained a strength path immortal body. Worldly wave trace immortal GU had the law of water path. When Fang Yuan uses this immortal GU, water path and strength path do not work together perfectly. There was a problem of them restricting each other. If a fire path GU immortal uses worldly wave trace immortal GU, his speed would be even slower than Fang Yuan. The most suitable would be water path GU immortals. When they use this same GU, by expending the same amount of immortal essence, they would achieve greater speed. Most importantly, true solid bat wings was a mortal killer move. Compared to using worldly wave trace immortal GU, it had a much greater value to cost ratio. This was the intelligence of humans. Using the combination of many mortal GU, they could achieve an effect that was only somewhat below a mortal GU. Using GU, nurturing GU, and refining GU, they were extremely profound and deep. The corpse of a desolate beast is rarely seen. Even if GU immortals sell new beast corpses in treasure yellow heaven, they might not be bats. To collect 2 more pairs of bat wings, I would need to actively seek them. It seems that now, I should take some risks and go to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. The immortal aperture of a rank 8 or 9 was known as a Grotto Heaven. The owner of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was a rank 8 GU immortal from 1700 years ago, 7-star child. 7-star child had died long ago, during Fang Yuan's previous life. One day, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven fell from high up in Central Continent. It broke up into tens of immortal aperture fragments and was scattered all over Central Continent. Fang Yuan had already become a GU immortal, he could not enter these Grotto Heaven fragments. These fragment worlds of the Grotto Heaven were already very fragile. Fang Yuan's cultivation level was too high, and if he tried entering one, it would destroy the extremely unstable Grotto Heaven fragment. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had a bunch of elite subordinates in Bloodwing Demon Sect. After competing with several GU immortals, they split a relatively large Grotto Heaven fragment world between themselves. Fang Yuan and the other immortals sent their respective GU master disciples or subordinates towards the Grotto Heaven fragment world to explore and find resources. Fang Yuan left a will in each of his capable subordinates' minds to direct and supervise them. Thus, he was rather familiar with the scenery inside Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. In this life, currently, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven is still high up in the sky. It had not fallen or broken into pieces. The scenery of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven in my mind will allow me to use fixed immortal travel to enter the Grotto Heaven in advance, to take the resources inside. I remember that there were a number of desolate beasts inside the Grotto Heaven. There were even ancient desolate beasts, and among them, there was a star demon bat desolate beast. My goal this time is to go and kill the star demon bat, and obtain the wings. At the same time, I can check the situation and see if I can capture a desolate beast and bring it to Langya Land Spirit. Fang Yuan planned in his mind. There were still many places in Fang Yuan's memories that were similar to this Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. But for some, now was not the time yet, and others were simply too dangerous. Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was the immortal aperture of a rank 8 GU immortal. It had not reached the point of breaking down like in Fang Yuan's previous life, it was still very strong now. In my previous life, I only sent people to indirectly explore the Grotto Heaven fragment world. By that time, the heavenly spirit was no longer around. But in this life, if I go now, the heavenly spirit is sure to be alive, it can summon the entire defensive power of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. If I had not become an immortal zombie, I would not have the qualifications to explore it. Fang Yuan did not know too much about the current Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, he could only deduce it based on his previous life's experiences. In his previous life, he was not the person who benefited the most from this opportunity. It was a rank 8 immortal zombie who rose up as a result of this. The 10 great ancient sects which had been extremely forceful all along suffered a loss under the hands of this immortal zombie. Next, this immortal zombie entered the Central Continent Zombie Alliance branch, and easily defeated the branch leader, becoming the one in charge and calling himself Star Constellation Immortal Zombie. He had been the cause of many incidents. During the 5 regions chaotic war, he was an overlord that could hold his own in his territory. As for the real Starry Sky Heavenly Spirit, Fang Yuan did not see it, and did not know the conditions for the Grotto Heaven to belong to a new owner. A few days later, He Lu Lan brought Strength Chi Immortal Gu and entered Hu Immortal Blessed Land using a Stargate. Next, in Fang Yuan's stone nest, she and Fang Yuan, together with the thousands of hairy men, refined the 8th batch of Airsac Gu. After this, He Lu Lan did not leave immediately, instead she stayed in Hu Immortal Blessed Land and listened to Fang Yuan's information on Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. With Fang Yuan's current strength, it was rather dangerous to enter Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. Thus, Fang Yuan invited his allies. But Fairy Li Shan was cooperating with Qin Bai Sheng right now. Her mountain pledge Gu was having great use at this time. It allowed Qin Bai Sheng to gather his forces and eliminate the enmity of his foes. He was preparing for a Northern Plains auction that was of unprecedented scale. Qin Bai Sheng's compensation to Fairy Li Shan was an immortal Gu. With such great benefits, Fairy Li Shan obviously chose Qin Bai Sheng and gave up on working with Fang Yuan this time. As for Tai Bai Yun Sheng, he was with Shark Demon now, entering the sea and exploring Yulu Blessed Land. Even thought Tai Bai Yun Sheng wanted to help his junior brother, Fang Yuan. He was afflicted with death sentence awaits immortal Gu, and could not split himself into 2, there was nothing he could do to help. Only He Lu Lan was free now, she agreed with Fang Yuan to explore Starry Sky Grotto Heaven together. According to the Snowy Mountain Alliance, since the two were exploring and taking the risk together, any losses to He Lu Lan would not require Fang Yuan to compensate her twice the amount. At the same time, their gains would be split into Fang Yuan getting 60%, and He Lu Lan getting 40%. After resting for a few days in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, He Lu Lan entered Fang Yuan's immortal aperture. Fang Yuan tried to activate fixed immortal travel with the image in his mind. He tried for 3 or 4 times, but he did not succeed. Fang Yuan was not surprised. The image in his memories, although it was a portion of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, it had already fallen at that time, and the scenery had changed drastically. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had many images in his memories. After trying for a dozen times, after he spent more than 10 beads of green grape immortal essence, he finally succeeded. With a flash of jade green light, at the next moment, he appeared inside Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. Chapter 714 Fighting Star Desolate Hound. Chapter 714, Fighting Star Desolate Hound. They appeared before a thick forest which was verdant and lush, the foot of the mountain was serene and fog filled the place. Fang Yuan had already activated lion fur armor to protect him tightly. He used all his concentration to quickly scan his surroundings and discovered that he had appeared on the waist of a mountain. Surrounding him were tall ancient trees, and even his 6-meter-tall immortal zombie body could not reach 1/3 of these giant trees. Raising his head, he gazed at the sky through the opening between the lush leaves. The sky was a tranquil green color. There were 6 giant shadows of stars in the green sky. They appeared to be 6 round moons in the color of red, brown, yellow, blue, purple and white. Fang Yuan opened his immortal aperture, and He Lu Lan shortly appeared outside, stepping on the mountain stones. Her eyes flashed with bright light as she looked around. This is inside Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. It is indeed, let's go. The desolate beast that I want to kill, Star Demon Bat, should be nearby. The two did not know the exact location of the Star Demon Bat, thus they casually chose a direction and moved along it. While moving forward, the two used investigative methods to scan around them all the time. After advancing to a Gu Immortal, they had unlimited primeval essence and could use mortal Gu freely. The two had also made ample preparations before they had come here. Although they did not have investigative killer moves, they had prepared large numbers of investigative GU worms of all paths to not only enhance their vision and hearing, but also to sense the slight tremors when they walked, and to smell any odd odors when they breathed. At the same time, they spread out their divine senses to cover their surroundings, attaining completion in all aspects of scouting. Time flowed little by little, but this forest did not seem to have any end. 5 minutes have already gone by, there seems to be something wrong. He Lulan stopped and solemnly asked Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan nodded, saying in a deep voice, "Indeed, we have already been in Starry Sky Grotto Heaven for some time now but haven't actually encountered a single wild beast. There are only trees or fog. Whether we go up the mountain or down, or move in any direction, things all look the same." He Lulan looked up. "Let's fly." The two carefully flew up. The green sky was completely empty. If the two flew high up, they would be very conspicuous and it would be extremely easy for them to be discovered by beast groups and get surrounded. Thus for safety purposes, Fang Yuan and He Lulan had chosen to move along the ground. Right now, the two took the risk to attempt flying, but the result was disappointing. The higher they flew up, the thicker the fog became. Finally, the fog became so thick that they could not even see their own fingers. Fang Yuan and He Lulan's investigative methods were greatly restricted in this fog. The two discussed and chose to be cautious, not willing to continue taking this risk, they descended to the ground. Has the starry sky heavenly spirit already begun to target us? He Lulan guessed. The situation here, if it is not a unique law of the grotto heaven, then it is an illusion, quietly disturbing our sense of direction and obstructing our true senses. Unfortunately, I don't have any investigative killer moves. Fang Yuan replied. Don't you have wisdom path methods? Wisdom path is also specialized in resolving these kinds of circumstances. He Lulan asked while frowning. Fang Yuan shook his head. I indeed have some wisdom path methods, but they are rather special, they cannot deduce directions. How about you, do you have any investigative killer moves? He Lulan snorted lightly and raised her two delicate fists. I don't have any investigative killer moves, but I do have offensive killer moves. Self-strength. She suddenly punched out with her two fists, sending out majestic fist chi. The fist chi surged all around and rapidly condensed into strength path phantoms. These strength path phantoms had fat bodies like bears with triangular eyes and jagged teeth. It was the male shape He Lulan had disguised as before. Fang Yuan took a few steps back to give He Lulan sufficient space. These strength path phantoms pounced at He Lulan's main body. The phantoms merged together and soon covered He Lulan, forming a giant strength path phantom. This killer move had astonishing might. He Lulan had used it before in Northern Plains to destroy the flying bear phantom. She again raised a fist. The giant fist ruthlessly smashed at an ancient tree on the side. The thick and sturdy ancient tree immediately broke into two. The lower half remained at the ground but was shaking intensely, the soil around it splattered to reveal the tree roots. The upper half was directly sent flying, cutting through the wind as it collided with another ancient tree, smashing 2 to 3 branches. Boom boom boom. He Lulan punched and kicked, the heavy punches and kicks shook the earth, stones flew, trees toppled down and the fog dispersed. Fang Yuan flew into the sky, his sight was now much more clear. He saw this forest only had the range of 100 li, he and He Lulan had been moving in a circle. Outside of this forest, he saw a scene abundant in nature and life, the wild beasts roaming around, the cries of birds and insects, the gurgling of streams and wild flowers swaying with the wind. It seems this forest itself was special, it should be an extinct tree species. Your information source is somewhat dubious, our entry was actually in this forest. The giant strength path phantom transmitted its divine sense to communicate with Fang Yuan. Even Fang Yuan, with his plentiful experiences from his previous life and broad vision, did not recognize the origin of this kind of tree. He gave a bitter laugh and changed the topic. After the trees became sparse, this forest no longer has the bewilderment effect. We should take some and plant it in our own blessed lands, maybe we can make some profits. There was absolutely no issue with the information source. Because he himself was the information supplier. In his previous life, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven had shattered into many parts which then fell towards central continent. When Fang Yuan had sent people to explore the Grotto Heaven's fragment world, this forest was already in a different shape, much of it had been damaged and thus it did not show any special effects. This was in warning to Fang Yuan. Although he had previous life's memories, however he had come early to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven in this life, the situation was different and he could not blindly rely on these memories. The giant strength path phantom gazed at these ancient trees. Even if you had not said it, I intended to do it. When the two had just taken 4 to 5 trees, a dog-shaped desolate beast charged down from the top of the mountain. The dog-shaped desolate beast growled, not concealing the fierce glare of its eyes as it looked directly at Heilulan. Heilulan's strength path phantom giant was not concealed by the trees and was exceptionally conspicuous. Fang Yuan looked at the source of the growl and saw the desolate beast. Its body was as large as a small hill, and glossy azure fur covered it. Whether it was its head, stomach, back, tail or its limbs, they were all covered with star-shaped stripes. These stripes were emitting faint blue radiance. Fang Yuan recognized this beast with just one glance, immediately reminding Heilulan, "This is a star desolate hound, it should be this mountain's overlord. Let's check how powerful the desolate beasts in Starry Sky Grotto Heaven are. If it is weak, don't kill it, it is best if we capture it alive, I have other uses for it." Heilulan frowned. She had an extreme physique strength path immortal body and possessed several great strength path immortal GU. It was not difficult for her to kill a desolate beast, but she still had some difference between the level of capturing a desolate beast alive. However, Fang Yuan continued, "You take the lead, I will support. Decide it according to the situation, if we can really capture it alive, I will use immortal essence stones to pay you." "Alright, then let's do it like that." Heilulan was not an irresolute person. With a loud shout, the giant strength path phantom took large and loud steps as it charged towards the star desolate hound. The star desolate hound fiercely charged down from above and pounced at the giant strength path phantom. Heilulan was not to be outdone and immediately punched and kicked, clashing with the star desolate hound. The two huge figures rolled down from partway up the mountain towards the foot, like a rolling gourd. It was like a giant compactor had steamrolled through a path. As the trees were toppled, protruding boulders were smashed and beasts and birds who had not time to escape were crushed into paste. Fang Yuan flapped his bat wings and flew down. 8 lumps of starlight condensed separately on his 8 monstrous claws, but they did not crash down yet. Heilulan's giant strength path phantom was rolling and turning around at times as it clashed with the star desolate hound, like a rolling wheel. The fight was fierce but the situation was still not decided. The attacks moved so quickly that even an old demon like Fang Yuan was not able to find an opportunity to interfere. Rumble. Dust flew up, the giant phantom and the desolate beast rolled down to the foot of the mountain before finally stopping. The star desolate hound fiercely pounced on the giant phantom. It raised its head and opened its mouth, revealing the snow-white canines that were as sharp as swords and long as halberds, and bit down. Fang Yuan saw the chance, his 8 arms moved and the 8 lumps of starlight that had accumulated enough energy slammed down. Bam bam bam. A series of explosions resounded, the star desolate hound furiously barked, its attack was interrupted. The giant hound head shook in every direction, flinging off the starlight lumps. However, Heilulan obtained the critical opportunity due to this, letting out a fierce attack. The giant strength path phantom bent its knee and fiercely struck a crucial part between the star desolate hound's rear legs. Howl. The star desolate hound immediately let out an extremely painful cry, its giant body fiercely jumped like it had been electrocuted and bounced around in the lush forest. Fang Yuan immediately fluttered over, not giving the star desolate hound any time to recover. He flapped his wings in the sky, moving nimbly like a fly as he threw down lumps of starlight right at the star desolate hound's vital areas like eyes, mouth and anus. The star desolate hound bounced around everywhere but it was gradually not able to hide from Fang Yuan's crafty attacks and started to whine in pain. The star desolate hound had defensive wild GU on it. But facing a killer move like Icy Drill Stardust, a defense from ordinary wild GU would not work, instead the defensive GU would rapidly die when facing Icy Drill Stardust. Heilulan controlled her giant strength path phantom and stood up. As expected of a desolate beast, Heilulan sighed in her heart. The strength path killer move that had never failed her before was actually not able to resist the tyrannical strength of the star desolate hound. Especially this giant strength path phantom, which was the pinnacle transformation of her killer move, and yet was actually not a match against the star desolate hound in terms of strength. Since that is the case, then let me use self-strength immortal GU. Heilulan gave a sinister smile and was about to attack. Suddenly, familiar barks came down from the nearby 2 mountain peaks. Shortly afterwards, 2 female star desolate hounds charged into Fang Yuan and Heilulan's sight. Fang Yuan's movement slowed down, Heilulan's pupils shrunk, and as if they had identical thoughts in mind, they transmitted the same message to each other: run. Chapter 715 Diamond Soil. Chapter 715, Diamond Soil. 3 star desolate hounds chased, as Fang Yuan and Heilulan retreated along the way. It was not that they could not defeat the three desolate beasts, but they would have to engage in fierce combat and expend a lot of effort to defeat them. As Fang Yuan and He Lulan were inside an unfamiliar environment like Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, they would not want to fight with their full strength randomly, especially not against these desolate beasts which they had met by chance. Only a fool would do such a thing. Fang Yuan and He Lulan were experienced schemers. This trip of exploring Starry Sky Grotto Heaven needed to be handled with caution. They had to preserve their battle strength to deal with unexpected situations. Especially when the heavenly spirit of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven had not shown itself yet. The heavenly spirit controlled all aspects of the Grotto Heaven. When Fang Yuan and He Lulan entered, they would have been detected already. Fang Yuan led the way, flapping his wings continuously. He was extremely fast. He did not dare to fly at high altitude, he only flew near the ground. He Lulan was much slower than Fang Yuan. She was behind him as she deeply looked at his wings, thinking and comparing in her heart. Fang Yuan's current speed is not outstanding, I can reach it. But he can move and maneuver so agilely and precisely, he can swerve around the branches of the trees so freely. After nearly 10 li of flying, the three-star desolate hounds behind them stopped and gave up on He Lulan and Fang Yuan, no longer chasing them. The two stopped at a tall tree and took a small rest to recover. Fang Yuan stood on the crown of the tree, trying to decipher their direction. The surrounding mountains were not far from each other, yet they were independent and distinct. Some mountain peaks had green pines growing on them. Some had only shrubs. Some had no trees and only had weeds and wild flowers. All these were man-made arrangements. Nature would not have made things so organized. Fang Yuan could tell. The owner of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, 7-star child, had categorized these mountain peaks into independent areas to nurture different vegetation. This way, he could raise the productivity of specialized products. It seems that the owner of this Grotto Heaven had spent quite some effort on managing it. He Lulan walked over, standing beside Fang Yuan and observing the area. Fang Yuan instead frowned. This landscape was simply too different from the one in his memories. Did that mean that hundreds of years later, there would be a huge change to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven's terrain, causing it to be completely different after it broke apart and collapsed? This way, Fang Yuan's previous life's memories could not give him any precious help. He Lulan directed her gaze towards the small bat wings on Fang Yuan's back, asking with great interest, "Your killer move is not bad, where did you buy it?" According to the Snowy Mountain Alliance, Fang Yuan could not lie to He Lulan, but he could choose to not talk about it. However, true solid bat wings was an ordinary technique of Fang Yuan's, he did not need to hide it. He answered plainly, "This killer move is based on an improvement of my previous killer move, suited for my immortal zombie body. If you want to use it, you will need to transplant a pair of bat wings onto your back." He Lulan heard this and frowned, though not because she was concerned over destroying her image. She pursued strength. The body of a desolate beast is also an immortal body. Just like the bodies of SGU immortals, their bodies contain Tao marks and are closer to certain laws. Your pair of bat wings should not have the Tao marks of strength path, they are closer to wind path. Transplanting them casually like this, are you not afraid that there would be a conflict between strength path and wind path, resulting in your strength path killer moves weakening? Fang Yuan chuckled. You know about how reckless savage demon Venerable can transform into all sorts of fierce beasts, right? Of course. Reckless savage demon Venerable created transformation path, he was the progenitor of transformation path. He Lulan answered. The essence of transformation path is to transform one's own body into a fierce beast or plant, and obtain their strength and abilities at the same time. A transformation path GU master can become a wind path bird, fire path tiger, or water path fish, using just one path to project countless paths. Why do their Tao marks not interfere with one another? Fang Yuan asked. Transformation path GU masters who solely transform their bodies had not truly ventured into transformation path. A truly successful transformation was not only changing one's appearance, but also gaining the beast's respective Tao marks. GU immortals who become desolate beasts not only have the strength, defense, and speed of the desolate beast itself, they can even amplify the effect of GU worms in their respective paths. That is because, every time they transform, they will turn into a single fierce beast. They would only have one type of Tao mark on their bodies. It is unlike you who has two types of Tao marks mixing together, like a GU master trying to cultivate two paths. Furthermore, after they transform, they will use their relevant GU worms to cleanse their bodies, removing all of their current Tao marks, before they can transform into a fierce beast which has another Tao mark. He Lulan said. Fang Yuan laughed arrogantly. No, that is because they are not good enough yet, their methods are lacking. Reckless savage demon Venerable was not like this. He ate immemorial desolate beasts and formed desolate beast totems on his body, encompassing countless Tao marks in his body, allowing him to transform at will. When you were undergoing your tribulation, I obtained the true meaning infusions of the demon Venerable. I have already become a transformation path master. He Lu Lan was truly shocked. That is to say, you obtained pointers from reckless savage demon Venerable, you have a method to balance different Tao marks. Fang Yuan nodded, but shook his head soon after. I am only at Master Realm, I can only balance 3 different Tao marks. I am also limited by physical transplantation and other restrictions. True solid bat wings can only have up to 3 pairs of wings, that is the greatest display of my current transformation path Master Realm attainment. He Lu Lan heard Fang Yuan's words and gained much interest in true solid bat wings. Sell this movement killer move to me, I will purchase it at a high price. Fang Yuan shook his head, rejecting her. He had modified this killer move after much effort, it was his unique method, how could he give it to someone else? Unless he no longer needed it in the future, then he would consider selling the simplified version. He Lu Lan was slightly disappointed that Fang Yuan rejected her, but she was not surprised. If their roles were swapped, she would have rejected him as well. Fang Yuan did not lack immortal essence stones currently. I finally understand why you want to kill star demon bats now. What does your information say? A star demon bat is nearby? He Lu Lan asked. Fang Yuan nodded. From my information, it is close by. But the terrain here is slightly different, let's look around first. He had surveyed for a long time, but he could not confirm the location. The place in his memory was a rotten swamp with poisonous air. But here, there were mountains independent of each other, how could there be a rotten swamp? 2 hours later, 2 figures were attacking a desolate beast. This desolate beast's body was transparent, like it was made of diamond, its figure resembled a bear, but it was as large as a mammoth, it was a diamond bear that was rarely seen in the 5 regions. It was He Lu Lan and Fang Yuan fighting the diamond bear. Take this. Fang Yuan flew in the air, his 8 arms were moving around as they sent out lumps of starlight specks. The diamond bear stood up, waving its paws and smashing the starlight completely. He Lu Lan transformed into the Strength Path Phantom Giant again, she raised her leg and kicked at the diamond bear's belly. The diamond bear growled, as its diamond-like body shined, He Lu Lan's giant Strength Path Phantom's right leg broke. This diamond bear's body contains wild GU worms that counter my Strength Path Giant. He Lu Lan was shocked, retreating immediately. Killer moves were not invincible, they had weaknesses and could be countered. But the diamond bear did not want to let He Lu Lan go, it pounced in her direction. Fang Yuan saw this and immediately rushed over, the starlight lumps in his hands were shot out more quickly, like the pelting of raindrops. At once, the diamond bear was unable to raise its head from the attacks. Here's a big one, enjoy it. Fang Yuan raised 4 of his arms up, summoning a huge icy drill stardust lump that he threw it down. With a loud explosion, the entire diamond bear was covered by the icy drill stardust. The diamond bear was assaulted by the stardust, it growled in pain, it had become greatly angered. Boom! At the next moment, it charged out of the starlight lump, flying into the sky. This bear could fly. Fang Yuan was the closest to it, caught off guard, he was hit by the diamond bear's raised paws. Bam! At the next moment, Fang Yuan was like a cannonball, he flew out, crashing into dozens of large trees before stopping. His zombie blood was pouring out, with 2 of the arms used to block the bear paw having been cut off, and 3 were fractured. Fang Yuan's mouth twitched, accidents were bound to happen when fighting desolate beasts. Desolate beasts were not like GU immortals, they did not have much intelligence, but as for which wild GU they had in their bodies, one could not tell upon first contact. Like earlier, the diamond bear actually dispelled He Lu Lan's Strength Path Phantom and flew into the air, causing heavy injuries to Fang Yuan. Only after suffering some injuries did Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan learn that the diamond bear had very powerful GU worms on it. Not only were there GU worms that countered the Strength Path Phantom, it even had flying GU that could raise such a heavy body into the air. Retreat! Fang Yuan shouted to He Lu Lan. He Lu Lan had the intention to retreat already, she stopped her killer move and escaped with Fang Yuan. The diamond bear did not chase after them, it picked up Fang Yuan's 2 arms and placed them into its mouth, chewing. Crack, crack, the diamond bear's teeth were sharp, they easily broke Fang Yuan's immortal zombie arms. It continued to chew, turning the arms into minced meat. The green zombie blood flowed out from the space between the diamond bear's teeth, and an intense stench spread out. The diamond bear swallowed the zombie meat with a weird expression, but it immediately opened its mouth and vomited the food that it had just eaten. What a terrible taste. The diamond bear had a constipated expression as it looked at Fang Yuan's remaining arm with disgust, slamming it into a mountain rock before moving back to its cave that was at the mountain peak grumpily. A moment later, Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan sneakily returned. Fang Yuan picked up the amputated arm. After verifying it, he placed it at a wound on his body. He used healing GU worms, and with the recovery ability of the immortal zombie, the amputated arm quickly connected to his wound. As for the remaining arm, it was chewed up by the diamond bear. Fang Yuan could not use it, he sighed and had to regenerate it himself. The immortal zombie body was not a mortal body. To regrow limbs, 6 to 8 hours were needed. This was not simply a regrowth of body parts, the relevant strength path Dao marks had to be replenished. He Lu Lan looked at the cave entrance at the highest point of the mountain. In that cave, there are at least 15 kilograms of diamond soil left. Diamond soil was formed from the feces of the diamond bear, it was filled with rich nutrients, and was one of the soils that could be sold for a high price in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Not long ago, Fang Yuan had come to this mountain peak with He Lu Lan. While Fang Yuan attracted the bear out of the cave, He Lu Lan sneaked in and took hundreds of kilograms of diamond soil. They were worth at least 30 immortal essence stones. Fang Yuan shook his head. 15 kilograms of diamond soil is not worth the risk. The first time was fine, but if we try a second time, with even more animosity, the diamond bear might not let us off. The diamond bear is sturdy and tough, we will need to pay a huge price to kill it. My goal is the star demon bat. Since it is not in this direction, let's try another direction. Chapter 716 Star Hall. Chapter 716, Star Hall. Half a day later, Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan had almost searched through this area and seen many desolate beasts, but did not come across the star demon bat. Your information seems to be somewhat unreliable. He Lu Lan casually sat down on the ground and said while healing her wounds. There was a long, bloody wound on her left arm which stretched from the back of her palm to her elbow. This was the mark left behind from the encounter of He Lu Lan and Fang Yuan with a desolate beast flying sword rat. The flying sword rat was small and extremely fast, a bit of carelessness resulted in it slashing its claws at them. Even if He Lu Lan had the great strength true martial physique, having a strength path extreme immortal body, she had to struggle to heal this wound. This was because the wound the flying sword rat caused was filled with Dao marks of metal path, which were repelling the strength path Dao marks of He Lu Lan's immortal body, and resisting the extreme immortal body's recovery ability. A long while later, He Lu Lan was able to heal the wound and a thin layer of scab had formed on top of it. She went up to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was sitting on the ground, using his iron-sharp fingernails to draw the outline of the terrain they had explored on a flat rock. There were dozens of green mountain peaks. Most of the green peaks were the territory of a desolate beast, like the star desolate hound, flying sword rat, diamond bear and so on. The mountain peaks with no desolate beasts had large numbers of beast groups as well as a sea of GU worms living together. 7-Star Child had clearly invested a great amount of effort to manage Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, only then could such dense numbers of desolate beasts survive in this piece of territory. However, the strange thing was there were no ancient desolate beasts. Ancient desolate beasts were comparable in battle strength to a rank 7, according to common sense, there should be ancient desolate beasts in this outstandingly managed Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. This was only one of the strange aspects. The second strange aspect was that the heavenly spirit had still not shown itself. Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan had explored all around and encountered many fights, but were able to smoothly free themselves. Strictly speaking, they were invaders, but this Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was behaving as if it had no heavenly spirit to manage it, and the suppression Fang Yuan had expected did not appear. The third strange thing was that Fang Yuan could not find the poisonous swamp no matter where he searched. According to his previous life's memories, the area he was in right now was the same as the small fragment world of the original Grotto Heaven, which he had sent his subordinates to explore in his previous life. Originally, the poisonous swamp should have been near that ancient tree forest, but Fang Yuan was not able to find it. Could it be that the poisonous swamp is part of the terrain that only appears after several hundred years? I came here this early, thus I am not able to find it. If that is the case, my plan to hunt Star Demon Bat will end in failure. Fang Yuan stared at the diagram of the terrain on the rock, and was pondering everything when suddenly a bright light shot out. He and He Lu Lan raised their heads at the same time and looked at the green sky. Unknowingly, the sky was filled with countless star specks. The amount of this starlight grew rapidly and continued to grow. In a blink of an eye, the starlight filled the whole world, drifting in disorderly fashion like snow. This is an astronomical change that occurs only in Grotto Heavens. Fang Yuan stood up with an alert gaze, activating lion fur armor. He Lulan also activated her defensive killer move with a vigilant mind. The bright starlight shone on all living beings, beast roars resounded from each mountain peak, some clear, some crisp, some long and some hoarse. Wind surged, the endless specks of starlight suddenly converged on top of a mountain. After a dazzling blue radiance was sent out, the star specks dispersed in a resplendent giant hall, exquisite and gorgeous, appeared on the mountain peak. This hall. Fang Yuan's pupils enlarged, as he felt a great sense of familiarity with the structure of the hall. It clearly resembled the ruins that had been left behind in the shattered worlds of the Grotto Heaven, which had spread everywhere during his previous life. It was only that the former ruins now showed no trace of damage. Fang Yuan and He Lulan glanced at each other. He Lulan guessed, did the astronomical change occur due to some specific timing and result in the appearance of the hall? Or did the heavenly spirit intentionally set up a trap to lure us in? Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with bright light. The two only hesitated for a moment before deciding to go in the Star Hall. At the same time, in another area of starry sky Grotto Heaven, an intense battle was nearing its climax. Foul beast, take this king's fist. A rockman that was as tall as a hill shouted as it smashed down its fist. Wind surged and even the air burst. The desolate beast flying bear could not dodge in time, its head was struck by the giant stone fist and with a loud sound, it crashed down on the ground, smashing a large crater. Stones and soil flew all around, dust surged up and the earth shook for a while. The rocky giant did not stop, it spread open its two fists then smashed down from high up. Bam! The two palms heavily smashed at the flying bear's thick, snow-white body. The flying bear tried to budge but it was not able to let out even a cry. It was already filled with injuries, the punch just before had cracked its skull and caused it to be on the brink of losing consciousness. Immortal killer move, Earth's Root. From the center of his two palms, earth chi bubbled, and countless thick and sharp earth spikes protruded out from the ground like spears. Plop! The desolate beast flying bear was pierced through instantly by hundreds of earth spikes. In its last burst of energy, it raised its head, opened its eyes and let out a mournful cry before its energy was completely spent, its body stiffened and its head fell back down to the ground. Dong! A sound like that of a drum being struck resounded, with dust rising and falling. An intense scent of hot blood erupted, as it flowed down the stone pillar and quickly dyed the ground red. The flying bear was dead. The rocky giant snorted, it suddenly emitted a piercing light. After the light dispersed, a GU Immortal proudly stood in the air while crossing his arms. He had short white hair, a pair of golden pupils, broad shoulders and a thin waist. He wore a tight-fitting combat uniform and a valiant aura was emitted from him. A ray of starlight shot over, transforming into a middle-aged man. He was wearing a long robe with wide sleeves and a high hat on his head. He clapped his hands and praised, as expected of Lord Immortal Monkey King, killing the desolate beast flying bear in just 3 minutes. The white-haired man with golden pupils was a rank 7 GU Immortal of Combat Immortal Sect, Immortal Monkey King Shilei. Shilei looked at the middle-aged man with an indifferent gaze. 7 star halls have already appeared, Star Lord Wanshang, the 8th star hall you spoke of, why has it still not opened? This middle-aged man was Star Lord Wanshang, who had traded with Fang Yuan several times. Star Lord Wanshang gave a bright smile. Immortal Monkey King, there's no need to worry. We can only make the 8th star hall appear when we have killed enough desolate beasts and let their blood seep into the ground. We have already killed 6 desolate beasts but the amount of blood is still not enough. How much more desolate beasts should we kill exactly? Shilei asked impatiently. Star Lord Wanshang revealed a thoughtful expression and said after a pause, according to my annual explorations over the past 20 years and my own speculations, we probably only need to kill 1 more desolate beast. HMPH. You better not deceive me. Shilei replied in an overbearing manner. Star Lord Wanshang lowered his head. I am just a lone cultivator, even if I had 10 times the guts, I would not dare to deceive Lord Immortal Monkey King. Based on Central Continent's time, I can only forcibly break into this star path Grotto Heaven during this point of the year. Moreover, the duration we can stay is only 2 days. After these 2 days, the small opening leading to the Grotto Heaven will close up and we won't be able to exit. Why would I deceive you when time is so limited? I also want to plunder more resources, but several years ago, I accidentally saw the 8th star hall. That hall was covered in a foreboding atmosphere. The guards of the star hall were all ancient desolate beasts. It definitely is the central control point of this Grotto Heaven and it is very likely for the heavenly spirit to be there. Shilei nodded, he believed Star Lord Wanshang's words. He has known Star Lord Wanshong for some time and was familiar with the latter's nature. Sigh, if not because I had a huge battle with Song Zixing and spent large numbers of immortal essence, and that I urgently require large amounts of immortal essence stones to convert into immortal essence due to my blessed land's approaching tribulation, I would not have told such a huge secret to you. Star Lord Wanshong sighed. Shi Lei's tone softened. Don't worry, I will abide by the agreement. 80% of this exploration's battle spoils will go to you while I take 20%. Also, I will not tell anyone else about this secret. Later, we will come to explore this grotto heaven every year. Right now, only Star Lord Wanshong had the special method to enter Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. Shi Lei still had not grasped the method. Lord Shi Lei has an outstanding reputation, I can be at ease. According to my past explorations, there is a star demon bat not far away and it is rather easy to kill. Alright, let's go there. Old rules, when fighting, you stand to the side, don't interfere. Shi Lei was very decisive and immediately started flying rapidly towards the destination. Star Lord Wanshong laughed bitterly while hurriedly following behind. Fang Yuan and He Lulan cautiously entered the Star Hall. This Star Hall had no defenses, there was no one inside, only 6 large wells in the center of the main hall. Water was surging inside these 6 large wells. The water in the wells were of different colors, red, brown, yellow, blue, purple and white. The well water was glittering and translucent, and emitted slight radiance. He Lulan and Fang Yuan used investigative GU worms to completely check them. Their discovery was that the well water, the Star Hall, everything was as normal as they could be. This was naturally impossible. How could an ordinary hall appear out of thin air? How could ordinary well water be of different colors and emit light? The only explanation was that the 6 well waters in this Star Hall were related to the Grotto Heaven's astronomical transformations. If so, the mortal investigative GU of He Lulan and Fang Yuan were not of high enough level to investigate anything. The two were unable to distinguish the mysteries of the 6 wells, and fell into a predicament for a while. This color, He Lulan observed again and could not help mumbling. Fang Yuan knew what she was thinking. He remembered when they had just arrived in Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, he had looked at the sky. He saw the shadows of 6 stars in the sky, they were as large as the full moon and were easy to notice. These 6 star shadows were the colors of red, brown, yellow, blue, purple and white, the same as these 6 waters in the wells. What connection do they have? Fang Yuan mumbled and sent a mortal storage GU inside a well to take out some of the water to study. However, when the mortal GU entered the well water, the tranquil and calm well water suddenly moved and formed a whirlpool, swallowing the mortal GU. Chapter 717 Killing Star Demon Bat. Chapter 717, Killing Star Demon Bat. The well water quickly settled down, there were no ripples, it was shining brightly. But the mortal GU that Fang Yuan tossed in had completely vanished into the water. Fang Yuan knew that his mortal GU had not been destroyed yet, because he could still sense its existence. But this connection was very weak now. The connection between a GU master and GU worm had much to do with distance. The further the GU worm is from the GU master, the weaker their connection. In that case, when a GU master uses the GU, their mind would send orders. If they gave 10 orders, 9 might be missed and the GU worm would only execute 1. Of course, this was in ordinary cases. A small portion of GU worms could maintain a strong connection over a huge distance, they could be easily activated even if they were far away. Some GU worms were even more peculiar, the closer they were to the GU master, the weaker their connection, creating distance between them could improve their connection instead. Fang Yuan originally had a close connection to the mortal GU, but now the feeling was much weaker, it was like the two were very far apart. Fang Yuan followed the connection in his mind, slowly deducing the direction and raising his head. All he saw was the top of the walls in the Star Hall. Fang Yuan activated his investigative GU, in his field of vision, the roof of the Star Hall became translucent. Fang Yuan's gaze pierced through the roof of the Star Hall, seeing the 6 huge circular star shadows in the green sky. He felt a sensation in his mind, his gaze remained on one of the star shadows. According to the remaining connection he had, he knew that the mortal GU was on top of that star shadow. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, the star demon bat's huge wings whipped up fierce winds as countless arrows shot out at the same time. These arrows were all made of starlight, they flew very quickly, piercing the air. Their numbers were high, flying towards Immortal Monkey King Shi Lei like a storm. Seeing the large-scale attack, Shi Lei scoffed in disdain. Merely rank 2-star arrow GU, except the numbers are a bit high. Mortal killer move, fallen grey cloak. Shilei's body shook, as a thin layer of yellow-white smoke and dust covered him. He did not dodge, he allowed the arrows to land on his body. No matter how many star arrows came, they dissipated after coming into contact with the mortal killer move Fallen Grey Cloak, vanishing in an instant. The star demon bat lacked intelligence, it could not use killer moves. Although the scale of the wild GU on its body was large, it could not use GU in great quantity. How could such an attack compare to a killer move that a human cultivator came up with painstakingly? This time, look at my eagle transformation. Shilei shouted, his body shining in a bright golden light. As the light dissipated, Shilei had vanished, in his place was a desolate beast Iron Crown Eagle. The Iron Crown Eagle spread its wings, flying in the air, its sharp claws that resembled steel gave off an imposing aura. The size of its body was not any smaller than the Star Demon Bat. Far away, Star Lord Wansheng quietly observed the battle, seeing this, he sighed helplessly. Immortal Monkey King Shilei was a battle maniac, he refused to fight together in each of these battles. Up to this point, Shilei had already killed 11 desolate beasts. Every time he fought a desolate beast, he would use a different type of transformation path killer move, to fight using the body of different desolate beasts. Star Lord Wansheng was anxious about the time, he had urged Shilei to use his strongest methods. But Shilei rejected him, saying that he wanted to use this opportunity to accumulate transformation path battle experience, he did not want to waste any chance he had. By accumulating his foundations, he would eventually trigger a qualitative change, elevating his transformation path realm. The Iron Crown Eagle flew for a while, before screeching and pouncing towards the Star Demon Bat. The Star Demon Bat was also screeching, its ruthless nature was awakened as it did not evade, it flapped its wings and collided with the Iron Crown Eagle. Two huge winged figures were clashing in the sky violently. The Star Demon Bat bit with its mouth, while the Iron Crown Eagle attacked with its beak. The Star Demon Bat scratched with its claws, but the Iron Crown Eagle's talons were just as sharp, they were evenly matched. The two had exchanged many blows within a moment, they left many injuries on each other's body. After a while, they pulled some distance between them. The Star Demon Bat shrieked loudly in a self-satisfied manner. The Iron Crown Eagle that Shilei had transformed into had lost most of its feathers, it flapped its wings and after much effort, it stabilized its body. In the battle earlier, the Iron Crown Eagle had suffered a loss, while the Star Demon Bat had the upper hand. Not only were most of its feathers gone, there was an injury on its stomach, filled with star path Dao marks, it bled continuously and prevented the Iron Crown Eagle's body from healing naturally. Desolate beasts were different from GU Immortals. GU Immortals had weak bodies, their strength rested in GU worms. Even if strength path GU Immortals made their bodies extremely strong, it was still from the effects of GU worms. Meanwhile, the strength of desolate beasts was in their own bodies. Desolate beasts have strength, defense, and other attributes from birth, this was something humans could only dream of. Especially when a desolate beast gets closer to nature during their growth, and develops more Dao marks on their bodies. When they fight in battle, the injuries that desolate beasts cause will have Dao marks lingering. Injuries involving Dao marks were very hard to get rid of, not only did they resist the body's self-healing, they also hindered the use and effect of healing GU. Of course, if the desolate beast had an immortal GU, the situation would be completely different. The Iron Crown Eagle shrieked, ignoring its injuries and pouncing towards the Star Demon Bat. The two met in the sky again. After several attacks, the Star Demon Bat found an opening and flapped its wings quickly, slamming on the Iron Crown Eagle's head. The Iron Crown Eagle went into a daze, falling towards the ground. The Star Demon Bat flew in the air, flapping its wings thrice at the Iron Crown Eagle. The first one caused an intense wind to blow, as thousands of wind blades shot out. The second caused a burst of starlight, over 10,000 star arrows flew out. The third caused darkness to gather, forming a giant specter that charged towards the Iron Crown Eagle. The Iron Crown Eagle first crashed onto the ground, causing rocks to fly and a crater to form. Next, after it raised its head, it was cut by the wind blades. The Iron Crown Eagle shrieked, it endured the attacks and did not retreat. After enduring the wind blade attacks, it had hundreds of light wounds on its body. It wanted to flap its wings, but the star arrows flew over. These arrows had extraordinary strength, they pierced into the Iron Crown Eagle's body and caused many wounds, but those were not deep. Next, that specter which had no solid body drilled into the Iron Crown Eagle's mind. If it was any ordinary desolate beast, they would have been in trouble, but this Iron Crown Eagle was Shilei's transformation. Shilei snorted coldly, thoughts and wills moved in his head, destroying the specter in the blink of an eye. Although he was an Earth Path GU Immortal who also cultivated Transformation Path, he was an established expert, he was a veteran GU Immortal, he learned a lot about many other paths and had a set of complete defensive measures against GU worms of other paths. Lord Immortal Monkey King, at the side, Star Lord Wanshang shouted in concern. The Iron Crown Eagle spoke human words, laughing loudly, "Don't interfere, stay at the side, this is my battle." Intense fire seemed to be burning in the eagle's eyes. With much determination, Shilei flapped his wings and flew up, towards the star demon bat, but was sent flying. Bang! With a loud sound, the eagle crashed on the ground again. "Good, interesting," Shilei shouted. He got more excited as he fought. Ignoring his injuries, he rushed up again. He was fighting with something he was not familiar with. In terms of close combat, how could he be the star demon bat's match? In their fight, he quickly fell into a disadvantage. But every time Shilei lost, he would battle again, the eagle's head would rise up highly, and the eagle eyes would always stare at its opponent. This maniac, Star Lord Wanshang watched with a grimacing expression. Shilei obviously had defensive moves like Fallen Grey Cloak, but after transforming into the Iron Crown Eagle, he did not use any of them in battle. This had happened many times in his previous battles as well. Star Lord Wanshang had asked earlier, but Shilei's answer was that he was purposely not using them. It was to experience the joy of battle with his own body. This would be the most effective way to raise his battle foundation. Shilei was a battle addict, he was a fierce man who derived pleasure from fighting. Again, Shilei shouted, flapping his wings towards the star demon bat. The two sides got closer rapidly. Seeing that they were about to collide, the star demon bat suddenly flapped its wings, displaying an incredible flying ability, passing the Iron Crown Eagle narrowly. Whoosh! The star demon bat suddenly breathed out a shooting star, hitting the Iron Crown Eagle's back. The Iron Crown Eagle spat out some blood, its body shook as it had to flap its wings to stabilize itself. Next, Star Lord Wanshang heard Shilei laughing. "Interesting, bullying my flying attainment which is only master level." Saying so, he flapped his wings and rushed up. The star demon bat did not take the attack directly, it retreated while using Star Path, Wind Path, or Dark Path GU worms to attack its enemy from far away. The two had fought for a long time. Unknowingly, the star demon bat's body was filled with injuries. These injuries all had metal path Dao marks, they could not heal any time soon. Of course, the injuries on the Iron Crown Eagle were at least twice as severe as the star demon bat. But Shilei fought crazily, it struck fear in the star demon bat. This dominating desolate beast that ruled over a mountain felt some apprehension and did not dare to fight directly. The star demon bat's intelligence was low, what it was doing was giving on its advantage and fighting with its weakness. It had mortal GU on it, although they could disturb Shilei, they were not as dangerous to him as fighting at close range. The Iron Crown Eagle did not use any defensive methods as usual, but its aura was surging as it dodged left and right, finally getting close to the star demon bat. After shrieking loudly, the eagle claw grasped downwards at it. The star demon bat dodged agilely, but Shilei found an opening. In terms of flying attainment, the star demon bat which had been flying its entire life was at least a flying grandmaster. The star demon bat pulled some distance, using GU worms to attack at a range, while the Iron Crown Eagle tried to get close to engage in close combat with it. In this fashion, the two fought for a while. The star demon bat was bound to mess up at some point. Finally, the Iron Crown Eagle found a flaw and used its eagle claws to tear the bat wings. With a hole in the bat wings, the star demon bat's flying ability fell drastically. Before it could adapt to the injury, the Iron Crown Eagle found even more flaws. Shilei pursued it during this prime opportunity. After enduring the star demon bat's final struggle, he killed it. The star demon bat landed on the ground, its blood was pouring like a river. The ground absorbed the blood, just like what Star Lord Wanshang said, a formless energy had been activated. In the sky, starlight appeared again. Chapter 718 Starshine Fake IGU. Chapter 718 Starshine Fake IGU. The specks of starlight coiled around and fluttered for a while before gathering high up in the air and forming a completely new star hall. Different from the previous star halls, this star hall was floating in the air. Its design was exquisite, giving off a majestic beauty that was far above those star halls on the mountains. The 8th star hall has finally appeared. My speculation was indeed correct. Star Lord Wanshang spoke with excitement. Shilei cancelled the Iron Crown Eagle transformation and returned to his human form. The injuries on his body were still recovering, the blood flow had yet to stop. He indifferently glanced at the sky with his golden pupils. No wonder you guessed that this was the Grotto Heaven's central control point. Looking at its appearance, it is very likely to be that. He grimaced in pain and sat down, healing the wounds. His healing was in no way simple. He first used large numbers of GU worms to eliminate the Dao marks of Star Path, Wind Path, Dark Path and other paths that had filled the wounds. Only then did he use healing GU worms which showed visible effects. Star Lord Wansheng waited for a little while, and when he saw Shi Lei's injuries were roughly treated, he finally could not endure and urged him, "Your healing is almost done, right? Time is limited, Lord Immortal Monkey King. The prerequisite for the 8th star hall to appear is that the other 7 star halls should be formed first. Every time the 7 star halls appear, they will only exist for 15 minutes. When the 7 star halls disappear, the 8th star hall will also disappear. Why are you in a hurry? If you are in such a rush, you can enter it first." Shi Lei opened his eyes and coldly glanced at Star Lord Wansheng. "Lord Shi Lei is jesting. My battle strength has fallen to the depths. I still need to rely on Lord to break through the ancient desolate beast's defenses." Star Lord Wansheng chuckled and did not speak any further. However, his fists that were hidden inside his sleeves were tightly clenched. If not for his strength plummeting and the tribulation coming soon, why would he reveal this treasury on his own initiative? And why would he have to be forced to bottle up his frustration? He knew Shi Lei's scheme and intentions. Shi Lei was a battle addict, unreasonable and unruly, but he was in no way stupid. Everyone who reached a high position had their own outstanding points. The outstanding and famous Shi Lei did not lack shrewdness. Shi Lei accepted Star Lord Wanzhang's invitation to come to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven to plunder resources. But he did not put in his full effort. He was interested in breaking through the 8th star hall, but he was not willing to see Star Lord Wansheng obtain large numbers of resources to pull through the difficulties and escape his grasp. If Star Lord Wansheng does not obtain a fortune in this trip, he would have to request help from others when undergoing the tribulation. Shi Lei could help him then and also obtain a greater grasp on him. When that happens, in their future visits to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, Shi Lei could obtain larger benefits which would absolutely not be in an 80-20 ratio like in this trip. Every year, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven would reveal a tiny gap which allowed GU Immortals to enter it. Every time, the GU Immortals could only stay inside for 2 days of Central Continent's time. There were abundant desolate beasts and resources in Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. It was clearly a small but steady source of resources. Star Lord Wansheng was a prime example of this. He was obviously a lone cultivator, but with each of his visits to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, he was able to strengthen himself to the extent that his peak battle strength did not lose out to the majority of GU Immortals of the 10 great ancient sects. Even when fighting Song Zixing, he had even been able to make a good record of himself. After a while, Shi Lei's injuries healed completely with no traces of injuries anywhere on him. Because of the previous oath, Shi Lei could not push it too far. He examined his body once then stood up. "Sorry to keep you waiting, we can now go in." Star Lord Wansheng put on a smiling expression and shook his head. "It was me who was overly anxious. I have to ask Immortal Monkey King to not blame me. More preparations quicken the speed of the work. I will still have to rely on your strength a lot more." Shi Lei bluntly nodded. "Naturally." He stamped his foot and charged straight into the sky. Star Lord Wansheng followed closely behind. The two immortals moved towards the 8th star hall in the sky together. At the same time, Fang Yuan and He Lulan also jumped out of a well. "This is another star hall," Fang Yuan said as he scanned his surroundings. He Lulan nodded. "We used many methods to test and we were not wrong. These 6 wells are passages." The two gazed behind them. The center of this star hall also had 6 wells. But the colors were slightly different from the previous star hall. In the previous star hall, the 6 well waters were of red, brown, yellow, blue, purple and white color. However, the 6 well waters here emitted the colors of red, brown, yellow, blue, green and white. Purple was gone and green was added. He Lulan and Fang Yuan looked at each other. Both were clever and shrewd, and they both obtained an understanding. "What do you think of it?" He Lulan asked. Fang Yuan grinned, showing his sharp, jagged canines as he replied with his hoarse voice. "If I am not wrong, this Starry Sky Grotto Heaven has a special terrain. There are a total of 7 spaces. These 7 spaces are isolated and independent of each other. Outsiders can only enter or exit them through the 6 wells in the star halls." He Lulan nodded and picked up a GU worm from the ground. "This is the mortal GU you tossed earlier into the purple well water. It is the best proof. If my speculation is right, there is also another form of proof, that is the sky. When we go out of this star hall, this space's sky should also have 6 round shadows of stars. The difference should be that there instead of a purple star shadow, there should be a green star shadow. Fang Yuan agreed with He Lulan's speculation. Normal grotto heavens and blessed lands would have integrated spaces. But Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was special, it was actually divided into 7 spaces, and every space had an independent sky, earth and ecology. In his previous life, what Fang Yuan explored was only the fragment world of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, and he did not know of this layer of mystery. He and He Lulan finished discussing and they walked out of the door of the hall, gazing at the sky. They saw 6 round star shadows like 6 full moons floating in the air. He Lulan clapped her hands and gave a bright smile, just like I guessed. Wait, someone is here. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk as he looked at the moving objects in the distance and happened to see Shilei and Star Lord Wanshang rapidly flying. Following the direction they were flying towards, Fang Yuan discovered the 8th star hall. This star hall seems to be of a higher standard, it is hovering in the air and is being coveted by others, it is very likely that it is the central control point of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. He Lulan guessed, her gaze stuck on the 8th star hall. There are actually others who are 1 step ahead of us. Fang Yuan mumbled. He was shocked internally. According to his previous estimation, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was a place with no one but the heavenly spirit existing in it. If not for this, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven should not have fallen in his previous life. However, the current situation was that he saw no signs of the heavenly spirit and instead saw 2 GU Immortals. As for the GU Immortals' appearances and identities, the distance between them was very far, so Fang Yuan and He Lulan were not able to see clearly. However, the two felt that neither of these 2 GU Immortals were the owners of this Grotto Heaven. If one of them was the owner of this Grotto Heaven, they would have already sensed He Lulan and Fang Yuan, and would have acted by now. What's strange about it? You could obtain the secret intelligence about Starry Sky Grotto Heaven from some source, does that mean other GU Immortals cannot? He Lulan was able to accept this fact much more easily than Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan laughed bitterly in his heart. He had concealed from He Lulan that the so-called information source was, in fact, his own self. However, it seemed that the truth and his preconceptions were vastly different. The first possible cause for this situation would be Fang Yuan's rebirth constantly influencing the various events in the world, causing a butterfly effect. The second possible reason was there was a lot of details behind the scenes regarding the fall of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven in his previous life, it was just that he did not know about them, and now in this life, he ran across one of the inside stories. Fang Yuan's thoughts ebbed and flowed, inclining towards the second cause. At this moment, sounds of fighting came from the 8th star hall. Looks like these 2 GU Immortals are of similar status to us, they are also outsiders. But, they are a step ahead of us. He Lulan's gaze flickered. Fang Yuan did not reply, he just snickered, his laughter was cold. He Lulan also silently grinned. These 2 were formidable characters and were also schemers. Right now, the enemy was in the open while they were in the dark, and both felt they had huge advantage. They could even be said to be the Oriole in the saying, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the Oriole behind. Immediately, Fang Yuan and He Lulan activated large numbers of mortal GU to hide their bodies and restrain their auras, as well as using many kinds of investigative methods to scout. The 2 quietly closed the Star Hall's door, got rid of all their traces and slowly moved outside. After a while, Fang Yuan, who was walking in front, suddenly stopped and warned He Lulan, "Slow down, there is a rank 5 investigative GU ahead." He Lulan carefully probed, and saw an eye-like small GU worm quietly hovering in the air. Its eyes were slowly moving around, constantly scanning its surroundings. The 2 were not surprised. With just one look, one could see this GU worm was not a wild GU and was clearly left behind by the 2 GU Immortals from before. This was expected. Previously, when Fang Yuan and He Lulan had explored the space relating to the green star shadow, they had also left behind similar investigative GU to keep watch on their paths. After becoming a GU Immortal, one no longer lacked mortal GU. These mortal GU could let the GU Immortal constantly scan their surroundings, mark the area, warn them, and many other uses. He Lulan was young, she had just advanced into a GU Immortal, thus was not able to recognize this GU's details, giving a suggestion of caution, "Let's detour." Fang Yuan smiled. "No need. This GU is Starshine Fake Eye GU, it has a long-range sensing ability, GU Immortals can observe the situation of the surroundings through it. Its scope is 5 li, it cannot detect stealth, and not only does using this GU constantly consume primeval essence, it also burdens the soul. We can use methods to be invisible and boldly go past it." At the same time, Fang Yuan added in his mind, This GU worm is often used together with true sight GU, which can then detect stealth and invisibility. But that is the situation during the 5 regions chaotic war. The true sight GU is still being held by some small sect right now and has not been wantonly spread. He Lulan glanced at Fang Yuan, still not feeling relieved. Are you sure you are not wrong? GU Immortals research new GU all the time. Maybe this GU worm is a newly researched GU that can see through invisibility. Fang Yuan snickered. You think I only looked at it with my eyes and did not use other GU worms to check it? Don't worry, 8 or 9 out of 10 GU Immortals are flying masters, but having even 2 to 3 refinement path masters out of 10 would be pretty good. Refinement path is considerably harder to advance compared to other paths. Chapter 719. Chapter 719. Small methods have profound meaning. The more one understands, the more shocking it is. Fang Yuan spoke with such certainty that He Lulan chose to believe him. The two hid their bodies and swaggered into Starshine Fake Gu's range, and they indeed did not attract any GU Immortals' attention. Along the way, the two found similar types of investigative GU like Starshine Fake GU. Some of these GU worms were buried in the ground, some were disguised as tree leaves, and some were hidden in brooks, drifting with the water. Fang Yuan used his methods one by one, sometimes invisibility, sometimes GU worms directed at countering them, or tunneling under the ground or swimming through water, all kinds of methods to slip past these investigative GU worms. The two had wanted to move until they were below the 8th star hall, and the shortest way would be a straight line to the 8th star hall. If they got a chance, they could also quickly react and use the shortest amount of time to charge to the 8th star hall, and fish benefits from the messy situation. However, as they walked through this straight line, a bloody odor assailed their noses from ahead. Fang Yuan and He Lulan glanced at each other. The latter revealed a doubtful look as she used her divine sense to transmit. Strange, both the amount of investigative GU in this path and their types are increasing more and more. Let's take a look, Fang Yuan replied. The two cautiously evaded or deceived the investigative GU worms, and discovered further traces of battle. After a while, they finally reached the area where there was the most intense odor of blood. They saw a black leopard's corpse lying on the shattered and disordered pile of rocks. The black leopard was as large as an elephant. Its fur was glossy and shiny, full of wild charm. The remaining aura showed the black leopard's identity, a genuine desolate beast. This desolate beast is a vanishing shadow leopard, Fang Yuan said in a low voice. It is that someone killed this vanishing shadow leopard and yet left behind its corpse here. He Lulan revealed a trace of doubt. Fang Yuan squatted down near the ground, and used his hand to feel the gully beside his legs. He then took out a time path GU worm and carefully activated it. This GU worm had the appearance of a crystal sphere, and was an extremely rare rank 5 GU. Its name was Backtrack GU, an investigative GU under time path, which could backtrack to the past events within a specific range. Backtrack GU was activated. It displayed a blurry and mute battle scene. In the scene, 2 giant figures were in an intense battle while a small figure was standing far away to the side. Backtrack GU was only a rank 5 mortal GU, and whether it was Shi Lei, the vanishing shadow leopard or Star Lord Wan Shang, they were all rank 6 or above. Immortal bodies and desolate beast bodies had Dao marks, thus Backtrack GU's investigative ability was restrained greatly. He Lulan came closer and watched the battle. The mute battle scene was extremely blurry, but they could roughly guess that one of them was the vanishing shadow leopard from the approximate build. And the one battling with the vanishing shadow leopard did not seem to be a human but a tiger desolate beast. The one standing far away had a human shape and could be a GU immortal. But their appearance was blurry and they could not be sure. Not only this, the battle scene broken off intermittently and was not coherent. Fang Yuan and He Lulan observed the battle with all their attention. For a moment, other than the slight breeze in the mountains, there was no other sound. After a dozen breaths of time, scorching smoke started to curl up from the Backtrack GU and the battle scene suddenly disappeared. The Backtrack GU had died as a result of forcibly recreating the image of the GU Immortal level battle. Fang Yuan felt slight heartache, and put the scorched corpse of Backtrack GU back inside his immortal aperture to get rid of any traces. He had been gathering this Backtrack GU from Treasure Yellow Heaven recently, but even then, he only had a total of 50 to 60. This was still the case when the 5 regions were in peaceful times. During the chaotic war of the regions, Backtrack GU would be widely used and very hard to get. It would be a case where one would have to produce them for their own use. Treasure Yellow Heaven would simply have none for sale. He Lulan was very interested. This GU worm is quite ingenious. What is its name? Did you buy it in Treasure Yellow Heaven? The varieties of GU worms in existence were as vast as the ocean. Moreover, He Lu Lan cultivated strength path, not time path, and her understanding of other paths was only at the basics, limited to the typically used GU worms. GU worms like backtrack GU were classified as rare GU of another path. It was normal for her to not know of it. Fang Yuan did not reply, instead he took out another GU. He had refined this GU himself based to his memories. According to the course of history, this GU should have only appeared 300 years later. Its name was Thread Trace GU. Its appearance was quite special, resembling a small horsewhip which children from northern plains played with as toys. Fang Yuan used his enormous, monstrous zombie claws to grab it, making its small size even more apparent. Fang Yuan grabbed the handle of the horsewhip and softly whipped at the air in front of him. Crack! The empty air suddenly showed traces of marks. What is this? He Lu Lan gazed at the marks without blinking. Crack crack crack. Fang Yuan whipped the horsewhip like thread trace GU repeatedly. The marks in the air continued to increase. He Lu Lan watched the whole process and soon was able to sense that the space Fang Yuan was whipping at was the area where the fight in the battle scene had occurred, and also the area where that blurry GU Immortal had been standing. As various thoughts flashed past, He Lu Lan's pupils slightly enlarged, blurting, "Could these marks be Dao marks?" Fang Yuan gave a contented smile at this moment. Right, they are Dao marks. Whether it be GU Immortals or desolate beasts, they are filled with Dao marks, and any area they stop at will leave behind Dao marks for a short period of time. It is just that these Dao marks are extremely weak, that even GU Immortals paying close attention won't be able to sense them, that is, unless they use this thread trace GU that I researched. From observing these Dao marks, I can infer some information on them. Fang Yuan once again brazenly took on someone else's creation from his previous life as his own. Thread trace GU. He Lu Lan mumbled, her gaze towards Fang Yuan had changed a little. Fang Yuan pointed towards the area where Star Lord Wan Shang had stood previously. Look, the Dao marks have manifested and formed a human shape. The color is azure blue, which means a star path GU Immortal had been observing the battle. The greater portion of the Dao marks had stayed there, and although there are some Dao marks in the surroundings, they are mostly tightly enclosed around the greater portion. This means that Star Path GU Immortal had only been observing from the side during the whole battle. And looking at the concentration of the Dao marks, it seems to be a rank 6 GU Immortal. He Lu Lan looked at the direction Fang Yuan pointed towards and listened to him, paying full attention. Fang Yuan then pointed at the area where the vanishing shadow leopard died. There were remaining Dao marks of black color for dark path and red color for fire path. He continued. The dark path Dao marks clearly belong to the vanishing shadow leopard, while the red colored Dao marks belong to the existence that killed the vanishing shadow leopard. As for their identity, whether they are man or beast, that is still not certain. Look at how concentrated these Dao marks are and how they are intertwined with each other. This shows that the battle was very intense. The dark path Dao marks are sparse while the red-colored Dao marks are rather dense. We can deduce that the existence that killed the vanishing shadow leopard is also at least of rank 6 realm. He Lu Lan's mouth widened slightly as she listened to Fang Yuan. Her gaze towards the thread trace GU in Fang Yuan's hand became slightly burning. This thread trace GU was only a rank 5 mortal GU, but it was very useful. With just this GU, one could infer so much useful information. The key thing was the thoughts involved in refining it were very special, and it could even be said to have blazed an unexpected new trail that bypasses common logic. He Lu Lan might have just recently advanced into a GU Immortal, but she understood the importance of information and started to give more significance to Fang Yuan. Invention, thread trace GU. Had Shi Lei and Star Lord Wan Shang been here, they would probably be soaked in cold sweat. They had used mainstream investigative methods and counter-investigative methods, but thread trace GU just happened to pierce through the gap in them. Fang Yuan's methods were from the time of the chaotic war of the 5 regions. After all, the materialization of the intelligence of the whole 5 regions, it was like they were over half an era ahead of current GU Immortals. Naturally they had huge superiority. Crack crack crack. Fang Yuan lashed the horsewhip several times. Many more Dao marks appeared, but also many more disappeared. These Dao marks were very weak and were gathered together by thread trace GU, thus greatly shortening their already limited lifespan. Dao marks entangled mutually, getting more disorderly. Fang Yuan finally stopped lashing the horsewhip and sighed. This is more or less the ability of this thread trace GU. The manifestation of Dao marks lasts only for a period of time and requires the observer to have plenty of experience. Moreover, activating Immortal GU also leaves behind responding Dao marks. In an intense battle, many abilities and methods are used, causing the Dao marks to entangle and become extremely chaotic with no way to infer anything. However, Fortunately, few methods were used in this battle, so we are able to roughly understand the situation. He Lulan's eyelids twitched. Inferring so much useful information with a mere rank 5 mortal GU and still not satisfied. Her gaze firmly locked upon the thread trace GU until Fang Yuan stored it back in his immortal aperture. She keenly discovered that the formerly intact thread trace goose whip-like body was full of cracks now. Clearly, there was a price to pay for manifesting the Dao marks. He Lulan inwardly estimated, this thread trace GU could be used for 2 more times at the minimum. Immediately, her evaluation of thread trace GU increased by another level. It could be used for a total of 3 times. A mere rank 5 GU worm could be used 3 times to investigate into existences of rank 6 level and obtain so much information. Just as He Lulan was unable to endure and was about to ask if Fang Yuan was selling thread trace GU, Fang Yuan took out another investigative GU worm. This was only a chi path GU worm which Fang Yuan used to draw in the surrounding sense. Next, Fang Yuan stored this chi path GU worm and took out another GU worm. He moved everywhere around the battlefield and activated GU worms from time to time. He Lulan was only able to recognize a small portion of these GU worms, but it was also not to the extent where she was certain. The remaining greater portion, He Lulan simply had no idea, unable to recognize any of them. She subconsciously pursed her lips, as she for the first time felt that Fang Yuan had unfathomable depths. During the journey in northern plains, she only felt that Fang Yuan was experienced and astute, and a major enemy. When cooperating with Fang Yuan, she had no choice but to do so, and was very aware that it was asking for favors from a tiger. She got Fang Yuan's help to pass through her tribulation and become a GU immortal. She had thought she could suppress Fang Yuan a notch. But soon, Fang Yuan used her and Fairy Li Shan to scare even immortal crane sect's GU immortals away. The whole thing was won before engaging in battle, which gave no chance for He Lulan to make a move. Since there was no loss in battle, Fang Yuan did not have to pay twice the compensation. It was akin to him obtaining his objective without losing anything. In contrast, to coax Fang Yuan to make an effort, He Lulan had to give the precious true meaning infusion of reckless savage demon Venerable to him. Fang Yuan was also truly ruthless. He swallowed it whole without leaving behind anything to He Lulan. Later, Fang Yuan started the Guts GU business and took the initiative to share profits with He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan. Although he needed He Lulan's strength chi immortal GU in the process, He Lulan did not feel comfortable the whole time. It seemed as if she was being controlled. Now, He Lulan felt a shiver in her heart as she looked at Fang Yuan using these methods. These small methods all used mortal GU and were seemingly unremarkable, but He Lulan was a discerning person. How could she not understand the profound significance represented by these small methods? Chapter 720. Chapter 720. Picking them up one by one, a windfall of a great fortune. After He Lulan ascended to an immortal, she was taught by Fairy Li Shan, guided step by step. She was instructed in almost all aspects. Thus, in terms of investigative methods, He Lulan was not inferior to ordinary GU immortals. But Fang Yuan's foundation is so deep, he is evidently miles ahead of most GU immortals now. Although I have several immortal GU, can I be like Fang Yuan and create new GU independently, to modify and perfect my own killer moves? He Lulan shook her head internally. Her strength path killer move was given to her by her mother. To refine new GU, one had to create new GU recipes. This process not only required resources and ample foundation in that path, one also needed inspiration and luck. He Lulan was indeed a GU immortal, but she was too young. She was not a refinement path master, and not even skilled in refinement path. Foundation could only be attained after a long period of trial and error, of exploring and accumulating experiences slowly. At this point, Fang Yuan walked back. He hummed, summing up all of the clues. I mostly know the other parties' identities already. Oh, one is a rank 6-star path GU immortal. He has not made a move yet and is more mysterious. The other is an earth path GU immortal who cultivates transformation path as well. He has a powerful aura and using GU worms. I caught a trace of his voice. This is likely Shi Lei from Combat Immortal Sect in Central Continent. Fang Yuan said. That immortal monkey king. He Lulan and Fang Yuan had shared most of their information. She naturally knew who Shi Lei was. She started to frown, finding it a little troublesome. Shi Lei was a rank 7 GU immortal. He had outstanding battle strength. Even though He Lulan had several strength path immortal GU, Shi Lei had earth path immortal GU and had even created his own unique immortal killer moves long ago. In addition, he even cultivated transformation path. His battle talent was exceedingly rare. He Lulan had Immortal GU self-strength, using it to activate her former mortal killer move, forming a giant strength path phantom that could barely be considered an immortal killer move. Up to this point, He Lulan had been attempting to improve and modify it, but her progress was slow. Fang Yuan, if you use the myriad self-killer move, and cooperate with me, we might be able to resist the immortal Monkey King. But in that case, we will not be able to deal with the mysterious Star Path GU Immortal. He Lulan muttered. Fang Yuan laughed bitterly. I have not told you yet, but because the core Immortal GU is starving, myriad self cannot be used anymore. All I can use are mortal killer moves. He Lulan looked at Fang Yuan deeply, squinting. In other words, we should avoid fighting with the other party directly. Roar roar roar. High in the air, there was loud growling noises. Fang Yuan raised his head and looked. There are bound to be injuries when two sides fight, we should just go with the flow and observe the situation now. Although our battle strength is lower than them, if we find the chance, it is not necessarily the case that we can't have them killed. In the worst case, I still have fixed immortal travel, we can definitely resist them while we find the time to activate fixed immortal travel. He Lulan nodded in agreement. Fang Yuan's words were very similar to her own thoughts. The two decided to devour the loot in front of them first. The vanishing shadow leopard corpse was quite a fortune. Even though there were large numbers of investigative GU around, they could not stop the old demon Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan had methods that were ahead by half of an era, he made his moves, sealing or deceiving the investigative GU. A moment later, they obtained the vanishing shadow leopard's corpse without alerting Star-Lord Wan Shang. This vanishing shadow leopard's fur can be used to make many defensive GU. The bones can be made into shadow attachment GU, shadow tracing GU and others. The eyes are top-tier materials for making dark vision GU and dark fog GU. It is a pity its blood had already been lost completely. Otherwise, it would be even more valuable. He Lulan placed the vanishing shadow leopard corpse into her immortal aperture, her eyes shining with a joyful light. The other party seems to be letting it bleed on purpose. It seems that the Star Hall in the air is truly an important place. They even ignored the desolate beast corpse for now. Fang Yuan showed an interested expression as he pondered. His immortal aperture was filled with death energy, it was not good for keeping corpses fresh, thus he placed the vanishing shadow leopard in He Lulan's hands. The two were fearless and unscrupulous people. Even if the other party was strong, they dared to continue plotting against them. Next, they followed their original plan and secretly advanced, trying to get close to the 8th Star Hall in the air. But along the way, they quickly made a new discovery. The number of investigative GU ahead have increased. Does that mean? He Lulan's gaze shone with anticipation. After a while, the two avoided all of the investigative GU, passing a mountain ridge and into a valley. In the valley, there was a desolate beast corpse, resembling a small hill. It was like a colt, it had a huge, bright red body with thick legs, dark as steel, its body was strong, muscular and bulky. Its mane and tail were vibrant and golden in color. Blood was dripping from the holes all over its body. The blood was scalding hot, and the heat spread to the surrounding trees and plants, causing them to wilt. Fang Yuan and He Lulan gradually got closer, feeling a heat that was like a blisteringly hot summer day. This is the desolate beast blazing divine stallion, it has many fire path wild GU on it and can walk on fire. Its blood is extremely hot and is a top-tier material in refining fire path GU worms, it is very rare even in treasure yellow heaven. He Lulan's heart bled as she looked at the horse blood flowing out. The two worked for a while, getting their hands on the blazing divine stallion, while Star-Lord Wan Shang still had absolutely no idea. After leaving this valley, the two moved stealthily, but Fang Yuan slowed his footsteps. Our destination is up ahead. But towards the left, there are large numbers of investigative GU, should we go take a look? Fang Yuan looked at He Lulan, transmitting. Of course. He Lulan's reply was very curt. The two came to the area that was filled with investigative GU, they found a desolate beast corpse as expected. This was a yellow jade lion. Its body was like an elephant, lying on the ground with its eyes mostly closed, only opened by a slit. Large amounts of yellow blood flowed along the wound on its stomach, pouring out. Fang Yuan and He Lulan stealthily moved closer, but this yellow jade lion's body shook, it tried to open its eyes as its bloody mouth opened slightly, emitting a barely discernible growl, as if it wanted to continue battling. This yellow jade lion truly has a courageous nature. To be able to hurt the yellow jade lion to this extent, this Shilei's transformation path battle strength is greater than I thought. He Lulan praised. Fang Yuan was overjoyed. He quickly made his move. After deceiving many of the surrounding investigative methods, he stole the yellow jade lion. He patted with his hand, as large numbers of healing GU flew out of his aperture, landing on the yellow jade lion, rapidly stabilizing its injuries and keeping it alive. You intend to save it? He Lulan was slightly surprised. Fang Yuan nodded. Saving it is 100 times easier than capturing another desolate beast alive, why shouldn't we? You can keep this desolate beast in your immortal aperture for now, be careful and keep it safe, this will be part of my share. This way, as long as things progressed well, the mission that Fang Yuan agreed upon with Langya Land Spirit would be completed. He Lulan placed the yellow jade lion into her immortal aperture, her gaze was shining as she seemed to have made up her mind, saying, the 3 desolate beasts we had encountered had their blood drained for some reason. Very likely, Shilei's group is trying to complete some procedure. Maybe this was the reason why the star hall in the sky appeared. After all, when we first appeared in this place, the sky was still empty. How many desolate beast corpses do you think are around here now? Fang Yuan laughed upon hearing this. Even if you did not mention this, I was going to talk about it. Indeed, looking at this situation, there are definitely many desolate beast corpses around. One desolate beast corpse can be sold for around 40 immortal essence stones optimally. It is truly an effortless profit for us to pick up these desolate beast corpses. The benefits are huge, yet we are paying 0 costs. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, moreover, we might not have the opportunity again. We should secure these profits first, that is the safest measure. The two had the same plot in mind, they changed their tactics and started scouring for desolate beast corpses. They could not use investigative GU openly, but the clues were very obvious. Star Lord Wan Zhang's original plan was to keep these desolate beast corpses around first, and deal with them after taking down the 8th star hall. The aura of these desolate beasts was still around, with that to induce fear, he was not afraid of wild beasts devouring them. Shilei was in charge of fighting, while Star Lord Wan Shang was in charge of setting up investigative GU worms. Naturally, he would place more investigative GU around the corpses of the desolate beasts. But he would never have guessed that putting all of these investigative GU together was the biggest clue in itself, they were guides for Fang Yuan and He Lulan to find the corpses. This is the chestnut yak, its meat tastes like chestnut, it can be eaten raw. It has a mild nature and is a somewhat unusual desolate beast. Let's keep it, keep it. He Lulan was laughing happily. Oh, there is a golden pangolin. It is a pity its armor is tattered, otherwise, it could be sold for a higher price. Fang Yuan said with some disappointment. Flying bear, there is a flying bear corpse. Great, excellent, I want this corpse. He Lulan was overjoyed. Star demon bat. I knew this rotten poisonous swamp was very familiar. It is a pity that the bat wings are in bad shape, it would greatly affect my movement speed if I transplanted like this. I wonder if I can fix it first. Fang Yuan also stole the corpse of the star demon bat. He felt some regret, but he quickly got over it. After all, he did not battle the bat himself, why would Shilei care about his plans? Obtaining the corpse without any cost, this was already a huge gain. He had not felt such good luck in a long time. The two obtained nearly 10 desolate beast corpses, it was a windfall. After the two searched around and ensured that there was no lingering desolate beast corpses, they hurried towards the bottom of the 8th star hall. But when they arrived, a figure like a small hill crashed onto the ground. With a loud bang, it landed and caused the mountain rocks to shatter, dust and smoke was rising. This is the ancient desolate beast, astral wind flying heavenly boar. It is dead, this is the corpse of an ancient desolate beast. Fang Yuan and He Lulan made eye contact, after communicating through transmission, they were evidently moved.